2550 no limit hold'em. David
I
Tuckman, Alec Torelli in the booth with me, and well,
it is
absolutely a booth.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, this is awesome, man. This is like, it's not like quite a booth. We're like in a, I feel like a star actually. Like we're like in this like concert arena.
Yeah, this is like
overlooking the entire.
Arena. Clearly, you can see the section signs, and we're on top of the world.
Pretty sweet. We've got quite a final table, quite a table for you. So we're playing 2550.
You're quick.
We'll go through the table really quickly, but some of the highlights from this table: Joe McKeon, who is the massive chip leader, November 9er, World Series of Poker main event. Joe McKeon sitting in seat 3.
Nice try.
Don't interrupt.
If chips are in your hand, you have stories like that.
No, it's a chip drop.
Other names at this table: Sean Deeb, Samantha Abernathy, Jared Blesnick, Matt Glantz, Mike Dentale, Mike Siegel,
How many years
Stu McCallie,
still can't get it right.
and Steve Ruddock round out the table.
You can just bet 25.
Siegel, the pre-flop raiser here. Ruddock
Sam
checks. Ruddock quickly folds on a 10-6-4 two-spade board, and we move on. How are you, Alec?
Pretty well, thanks. Excited to be here. My first time doing the live commentary with you guys.
First part of the flop.
Fun time.
First part of the flop.
It's cool to be on the other side. It's easier when you can see everybody's cards.
You're in the 6th seat.
So I've done commentary a couple of times for these Poker Night in America broadcasts, usually from my house. But now we actually are in Verona, New York, at Turning Stone Resort and Casino.
Sao Paulo.
Not going to mention any name. That's only the first.
I made your next $25, Siegel.
If you want to join us and say hi via Twitch, you can.
Can I get a Red Bull? Is there?
I see that my name.
He looks like one.
Hey, Matt, you know,
Jill.
My name Enter.
These guys are thirsty.
Pesky Bugmug. Bugman. Peppucciano.
Mike's shy.
Flaxus.
Don't ever group
All
me
here?
in the same
As
thing as Mike, please. Yes.
Abernathy raising to 150, 3x.
Exactly.
Alec, by the way,
come out later that he has a cross.
travels the world playing poker, plays, I know you spend a lot of time in Macau. Alec plays some of the biggest cash games in the world right now over in Macau, specializes in no limit hold'em. And
that's still not your size, though.
is here
Double
to
XL.
join us. If you want to follow him on Twitter, you can, at Alec Torelli.
I've seen how you
can also follow him at YouTube. He does a lot of hand reviews over at YouTube. Has a channel.
No, I eat a lot.
Yeah, jump on in. You guys could even send me your hands too, and I'll select the best ones and put them on my channel and review them as well. That's part of the channel. I do a hand of the day twice a week, so that's a lot of fun. Jump on over, check it out.
Just awful.
You're doing with us, you got this.
So we're gonna see a check fold here.
Yeah, but that's different.
Well, actually, it was Abernathy was the pre-flop raiser, and she checks. Siegel check raises.
I got the black shirt and the white text.
Oh, she bet pre-flop. I didn't
Yeah,
even see that.
she
Okay.
raised pre-flop. She put the continuation.
Yeah,
bet
I
out
saw. Okay, I'm getting used to the graphics.
M. Bogdan 001 says, "Hey, Alec."
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, thanks, Human Sadness. Appreciate that. Get a more positive spin, man. That's sad.
You don't know my
That was good.
Just wait.
You gotta wait till the turn. I never show on the flop. I don't show on the flop. It's like a first date, you know. You gotta work your way into it.
Siegel's biggest win ever. No limit. Better pick up right now, Siegel.
Hey, can I have some water?
Sean,
Keep your
I
profits
keep
separate.
telling you, I'm as good as all poker as you think you are. So that's pretty good.
There's a look at
McKeenan
Joe
got a new
McKeon.
haircut. I don't think I've seen this.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I went down to the table beforehand, and I was like, I was introducing myself to the players.
Yeah, if I didn't see the last name with the fold, I would be like, wait, who's that guy?
Yeah, I didn't know who it was. I was like, oh, that's him. Deeb is Straddle, so the game now, it's a 25-50, 100 game.
I think you're going to see that a lot from Sean Deeb. I played with him last time when this was in Philly, and I think that was a regular part of the game. So expect that a lot from Deeb.
Now, while this is a high-stakes cash game, I mean, we're playing 25-50, 100.
Yeah.
These guys aren't that deep, though. I mean, you think about it, 3 or 4 of the players bought in for 5K. A couple of guys bought in for 8K. McKeon bought in for 10K. And
Right.
Deeb has 20K. So if you're playing 25-50, 100,
Yeah.
it's just not that deep.
Right, so it doesn't really matter that much what the size of the game is. It's more about the stack size relative to the size of the game that dictates how the game will play. And I think you made a great point here that given that the average player is 100 big blinds deep at the most, sometimes even 50 big blinds deep with the straddle, that's going to make the gameplay a lot tighter. You're not allowed to, you know, gamble pre-flop as much to chase with suited connectors and pocket pairs and ace-x suited hands like that. So the game might play a lot tighter. And if it doesn't, then, you know, people might be playing a little too loose pre-flop. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And of course, you got to expect the stack sizes to get bigger as the game goes on and people double up and stuff like that.
Got the open there with ace-jack. Blesnik decides to 3-bet with king-5 from the cutoff seat.
Yeah.
And the 3-bet gets through and he takes it down. Blesnik.
Sean wins. Give me $100.
Okay.
Blesnik in seat 5 in the checkered shirt. So to the left of the dealer is Mike Siegel. That's a look at McKeon. Guy in the red hat, that is Mike Dentale. The guy with the muscles. In the red hat.
We can have a math.
So who folded the ace-jack?
I like my chances.
I'll let you know that in a second.
Okay. I just like to keep up with how he's playing what, because it kind of it plays into stuff later on. So answer some questions. The straddle is not plus EV in almost any situation. I'd say 95% of the time it's not a good idea.
Let me throw this at you.
Even though it's fun and it's good for the game. If everyone's doing it, then it's neutral EV. But if you're the only one doing it, it's not directly profitable.
You're talking about straddling under the gun.
Yeah.
Because straddling a Mississippi straddle where you can straddle on the button.
Yeah.
That probably is positive EV.
It depends who's in the blinds and how the game and the table plays. But yeah, it's hard to say particularly. But yeah, absolutely. That's a much better use of your 2 big blinds than under the gun, of course.
Ace 10-10 flop. Blesnik had open on the button.
Check.
Deeb's got 2 pair. He's not going anywhere.
Monkey, you raised me 800 with ace 10.
It was like 9-5.
Where'd Blesnik open?
You were right, Sean.
Button.
Okay. I got it.
He knew that flop was coming.
I wish we could see that here somehow.
You can. Right
Oh, okay. No, I mean on the... All right. There we go.
Who's waiting for the go-ahead from the announcer?
I'll be one. I'll just be one.
I'll let you know all that. I promise. I will help you out with that stuff.
I'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, it's easy. I will let you know what positions and so forth, but you can see Deeb actually from the big blinds.
Yeah, of course.
Blesnik
obviously
on
not
the
going
button.
anywhere, just trying to make it seem like he's weaker than he is, or possibly trying to figure out how to win more money in this pot. Should I check raise here or check call?
I will. You got it.
I guess he figures in this spot by check calling, he would know that Blesnik is never going to bluff the river. So check raising maybe makes his range look a little weaker because he's only representing an ace or a bluff here. So figures it's the best way to get more money in the pot, and he's probably right. I don't think Blesnik would ever bluff this river here against 2 check calls from Deeb. So well played, Sean.
It's an interesting check raise play there because it's exactly to your point where most players, conventional wisdom would be like, well, just check call. You guys got the nuts.
Yeah.
But Deeb, realizes, okay, the only way I'm going to actually get more money in this pot is if I check raise, make Blesnik think that I'm bluffing.
Absolutely.
And get him to bluff back.
Yeah, that's great logic, and that's true. Maybe Blesnik would float the turn there, thinking that Sean is bluffing, and he could mistakenly put more money in the pot somehow. Maybe he 3-bets the turn, or who knows. But credit to Sean there. That's a great.
So as we have this view, I'll just let you know. So to the left of the dealer, we've got Mike Siegel. To the left of him, Stu McCallie, then Matt Glantz, then Steve Ruddock, then Jared Blesnik, who we saw earlier on, Samantha Abernathy right next to him, Sean Deeb in the blue shirt, November 9er Joe McKeon, just to the left of Sean Deeb, and then to the left of McKeon is Mike Dentale. Alongside me, Alec Torelli, I'm David Tuckman, and you are watching Poker Night in America, live from Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York. We're playing 25-50, no limit hold'em.
So Siegel limped here for 50,
Like a perfect 9 to a woman,
which is
2 with 7 million.
way too loose. I don't understand what
in a full ring game.
What he's intending to do here with the Queen 7 suit.
Dude, it's suited.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I think it's a little too loose.
Blesnik's going to raise.
My first choice would be to fold this. My second choice would be to raise with it.
I have a little bit of experience with Blesnik, by the way. I played day 1 of the World Series of Poker main event with Blesnik, and the one thing that we will see, at least I think, is you'll see some unconventional sizing from him.
Yeah,
he likes to use that. Sometimes 2x the pot. Sometimes he'll go 5x pre.
I think that's great. I think anything that puts people in situations where they don't have a blueprint for what to do, puts them outside their comfort zone. And not only do you get more physical tells from them because their expressions, their reaction, their subtleties give away a lot of, they're indicative of the strength of their hand, but you also put them outside their comfort zone, and if Blesnik has experience with this style of play, he can really take advantage of his opponents who simply don't. And here, you just saw it here, the 8X open after the limp just throws his opponent for a loop, and he could be setting up a big play later on.
I want to welcome the Twitch audience. I see Doherty91, thanks, Blaxus, Malek88,
And they can't agree on how the hand was played.
I agree.
among many others. Let your friends know about it. We are here all day long. McCallie raising to 125 with the Queen Jack suited.
Five, he said.
The black chips you see, those are 100.
Credit me because it's the most impressive thing I've done in like the last 2 months.
Those purple ones are 500.
He's about to be very rich.
Nah, not that
He's
rich.
about to be missing a tooth.
I think we're going to expect a call here in the big line, given what we've seen so far about his Queen 7.
What happened? What happened? I said he's probably going to.
You're going to see a defend here. I think this is a little too loose to defend unless you know something about your opponent. If you think your opponent's
I bet you would.
not a great post-flop player, then defending here is fine.
You mean with the ace-8?
Yeah, it depends what you know about your opponent.
Yeah, I think, tournament players, it's kind of funny. I think tournament players as opposed to cash game players, tournament players think, well, you're in the big blind. Of course you're going to defend with a hand like ace-8.
Yep.
But the one thing that I think tournament players make the mistake of doing when they go to cash games is they forget to realize two things. Number one, in tournaments, your opponents are more likely to be stealing with garbage.
Right.
So their range goes down.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the same time, in tournaments, there's antes involved usually.
So they have more incentive to steal with worse hands because they're
And you
getting
have
a better.
more incentive to defend also
Exactly.
because you have better odds.
Yeah.
In a cash game without antes, the price just isn't there.
And the game just plays differently because there's not as much pressure. Even if there are no antes in a tournament and there are no antes in a cash game, the tournament will still play more aggressive because there's incentive to accumulate chips so that you can bully stacks later on when they're short because it's an escalation process. Whereas in a cash game, it just simply doesn't happen. So people just play the same tight style throughout the whole game, and so it just changes how you should play. Also, in a cash game, when you're deeper, when you're 200 big blinds deep, you get in a lot more trouble defending with hands that play poorly post-flop.
No, I'm not running.
Glance opening at $200, 6-4 suited.
So thank you for that.
I think this is a good play from Glance. I think it's too loose to open this hand generally, but I think if players are cognizant of his image, they're going to expect him to have a lot stronger of a hand here than he does. And I think his thought is he could successfully rep Broadway cards post-flop because of his image. And if the flop comes high, I think he's going to get it through a lot. And if flop comes low, he might have connected. Although I still think the 4-6 is a little too loose to do that with. I prefer something like 6-7.
I was going to say he's also not very deep. He's only got 5K.
Right, which makes it really hard for people to call a 4x raise post pre-flop because they don't have any implied odds versus an early position opener that's likely to have a premium hand. So
that's how much he's paid for his shoes, isn't it?
Well, McKeon decided not to flat. He decided to 3-bet with the 10-9 offsuit and takes that one down. 3-bet was from the button. And McKeon absolutely dominated. Day 7 of the main event.
I got to rewatch that.
Yeah, day 7 of the main event. Well, and nobody watched it yet. It hasn't been aired yet.
There you go.
But yeah, so I have to watch it for the first time.
Yeah.
But he just dominated as he started building more and more chips, and building that chip lead. He was just crushing.
Wow.
And put on an absolute show. And he goes into this November 9 with an overwhelming chip lead.
I heard he has something like 35%, huh?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, I think his expectation is something like 4.2 million with that chip stack size. So
it's pretty good.
It's pretty impressive.
Well, you're going to show him
what he has.
Yeah, that's true.
I do think the November 9 will be interesting because everybody who made the final table earned $1 million.
Yeah.
The big pay jump was actually from 15 to,
This guy might
or 13 to 9.
Right, and then it's only again from 4th to 3rd.
Yeah, there's just not, from 9 to 6, there's not that big a jump.
Right, so I think you're going to see shorter stacks playing aggressive, playing more for the win. Because they know that chipping up another 80,000, even though 80,000 is a lot, in respect to what they can earn if they get a big chip stack, it's not a lot. So that might change the dynamic of how the final table is played. And that's part of the payout structure. They guaranteed everybody $1 million, which flattened it a little bit. It's going to be really interesting. You're right about that.
I think for TV purposes, and I know it will be live streamed, I think for TV purposes it actually makes it a lot more interesting and a lot more fun because, you can't blame players for playing tight. By the way, 10s were the open Blesnik just called, and Tally called as well. Then Tally flops a pair of threes here. Ace 8-3. Glance is going to bet, put a continuation bet out there with 10s.
And this should win unless Dentale has a plan with his pair of threes. I think it's just going to get through.
I mean, has Blesnik ever taken one off here?
No.
I guess not.
No, never. Not with a player behind him and Matt raising under the gun. I mean, it's just... He only beats, like, Broadway rundowns that C-bet. And I just think that... He doesn't even beat a lot of Matt's range that can't continue on the turn, like 10s. So unless he has a plan, I just don't think he's ever taking one off.
You play great, buddy. Yeah, you play great.
Adubonic says Alex Torelli is the man. Great poker and life advice. Take a look at chip counts here.
I appreciate that, man.
You just mentioned that the hand before that.
I have a question for you. Are you going to rebuy?
It says ranking, but obviously that's just chip stacks. Deep bought in for 20,000.
Hint, you could be at #1 if you buy in the most.
Yeah. Congratulations, man. You're #1.
Get lucky, Mikey.
So, Mike, what do you, Mike?
But I think from a TV perspective,
What did you tell the camera?
it could make some great TV November 9 because
There's going to be action.
yeah, the guys who are short stacked, there's really no incentive. I mean, a small incentive to just climb the pay ladder to go from 9 to 7.
Right. But then again, you know that because the other short stacks are going to be aggressive, there's going to be one short stack that does climb the play ladder because the other ones are going to be aggressive. So it's going to be really interesting to see this sort of dynamic. And like, as players are adjusting in real time, seeing the other ones going crazy, who decides to sit back, and then when people sit back, who decides to go bananas. It's going to be really, really interesting, I think, right?
He made it 200. This will make everybody else do it, and then I won't have to do it again. He just called everybody out.
That's next level stuff.
No, everyone's going to remember you straddle.
So Ruddock in the straddle here for 100. And, you know, he might get folded around too. Nobody has anything. I don't think anyone's going to be raising these cards.
It's just normal.
Sometimes straddling is profitable when
There
everybody
you go.
folds. Or when everybody gets dealt.
Button
The
slides in
bottom
front of seat
10% of hands.
Button slides in front of Drew McCallie. That's a guy in seat 2, just on the left side of your screen. Glance in seat number 3 is small blind. Steve Ruddock in seat number 4, wearing the 888 patch, is in the big blind. So first act will be Jared Blesnik. Once again, joining me, Alex Torelli here, as we
two people they put me near.
sit in this lounge.
I think I have a lawsuit coming.
Hey, Shouting, that's a good question.
What is it?
It said, does poker provide adequate fulfillment in your life? And you should answer this too, because we were just talking about this before the show, and I think you had you have a really good balance between
Yeah, I mean, I think
what you do with your poker and family, and I think that commentating, that's really cool.
Hang with each other all night, you know.
I mean, to each their own, really. It's like, you know, you could ask that question, I could answer that question, and
Right.
for some people, it does. For some people, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think there's like an answer that is particular about poker. You can't say yes or no for the game itself. It depends on the person. I think for me, it's more, I like doing other things. I have other businesses as well. I enjoy making YouTube videos for you guys and coaching, and I do a lot of private coaching, interacting with people, and so those things balance out just the playing part of poker that otherwise would be a little, it wouldn't be enough, I guess. You know, I like to do other things.
Abernathy raised with ace-queen, Deep called. Deep outflops her with top pair. Relatively dry board.
I think you're still going to see a C-bet from Abernathy here. She C-bet a board that was really coordinated with no equity, so I think she's always going to be C-betting this board. And of course, Sean's going to call 100% of the time.
I rated him a 5, but I was being nice. Everyone else would rate him like a 2.
Another question.
She shuts down on the turn unless she picks up equity, unless she picks up a spade. Which
That's what I was going to say. I was wondering, I mean, I think the flop is always going to play out that way on a dry board. It's the turn that makes it really interesting, because if she double barrels here, I mean, Deep
Sean's hand shrinks up a ton. He only beats a bluff. And something about the image of this woman, I know nothing about her, but you just got to think that she's tighter, on the tighter side. It just seems like she's not going to be the type to just double barrel here with nothing. So Sean can't love his hand.
I think he calls here.
I think he calls too, but he knows he only beats a bluff, and if she bets the river, she might get it through.
I'd actually love it, though.
She should bet 100% of rivers here,
I was going to say
what happens, because she doesn't have enough bluffs in her range here. She's not bluffing that often, so when she is bluffing, she needs to be continuing. Because Sean's hand is always a bluff catcher. This is a bad card for her, because Sean might not think she would bet a king now.
Same way you've changed over.
Well, I mean, if she bets this, she's representing ace-king, aces.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Pretty much.
Or a 9. A 9 with a flush draw.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Or a set of 6s or 4s.
Yeah. And I think it makes Deeb's call on the turn so much easier, because I don't think...
When you know she's never going to bluff the river.
and I don't know Samantha from a hole in the wall.
Yeah, neither.
That said, my guess is that she is not triple barreling that when she misses.
Even if it's not a 9, which is not a great card for her. Even if it was like a deuce or a jack.
Red deuce.
Yeah, or a jack even. She's probably not going to bet.
Right.
So it makes Sean's call on the turn so much easier, and that's why Sean's always going to call the turn. He's going to see him calling the turn is going to say, do you really have the balls to bet on a big bet on the river here and put me to the test? And now he knows that might not happen in the future, so he's going to be easier for him to make those calls going forward. So there's a lot more to consider than just the one hand you're playing. It's how you want to define your image as a player and what you want to let your opponents get away with. I think you need to be bluffing that river there.
And to your point, what you said before that, there aren't that many bluffs. When she fires a turn, I mean, she basically either has a king,
right,
aces,
right,
or
some big draw. Sort of she doesn't have an air ball.
Like she's got, I mean,
Jack,
could have had
Jack,
10 of spades.
Exactly. We're on the same page.
Right. Ace, queen of spades.
But those hands have equity. They're good hands. I mean, she's not like on a stone cold bluff. So the hands with equity and the made hands, you know, they're leaning towards made hands. So she should be betting the river there, and Sean should be folding because of that, right? Because she's not bluffing. She's a girl with a tight image.
I know which hand's best right now.
Bogdan, about the coaching question, go to alexrelli.com. You could inquire there, and I'll send you all the information. I don't work with that many people. I don't ever work with more than 4 people at a time, just because I spend a lot of time with each of my clients.
Can I ask you a dumb question?
Get to me on the site, and I'll
Can I ask
get
you a
back to
dumb financial? By the way, somebody on Twitch is asking Alex Torelli about coaching, which is great. You can also tweet at him. You get on the site, whatever you want to do.
I answer every comment, by the way. So if you tweet at me, I will get back to you.
Alex a really good follow, by the way. Has some really good stuff. You can check him out at YouTube as well. Has some really good hand reviews. Highly recommend it.
Thank you.
Question for you. This is just a stupid financial question.
All right.
You play some of the biggest no-limit cash games in the world. Why do you coach?
I mean, it's touched on what that guy said earlier. I like actually enjoy it. Like, I mean,
you must.
At some point, you don't only spend your time doing things for financial interest, and so coaching is cool. I do charge a decent amount, but there has to be a way to filter out some people that I can only work with a certain amount of people.
The minimum wage is being moved up to $15 an hour. Do you charge more than that?
Slightly, but I mean, I like doing it. I really enjoy like being able to impact someone positively, and I think one of the things about poker that people might not find fulfilling is that you're not really contributing to someone else's life. You're not contributing to society. You're not like making a positive impact in someone else's world, and with coaching I get to do that. I get to like actually help people out, and it's really cool. I enjoy it. That's why I do YouTube. I mean, I do it for free.
Double barrel here from Blasnik.
Yep.
So he bet the flop, got called in 3 spots, double barrels, and takes that one down with a nice big bet on the turn.
Good for him. Good bet.
I have $39 in my wallet. How many hours will I get for that?
Well, you're getting 10 right here. I mean,
score.
10
Look
for
at
free.
this. Who's a winner? 2 thumbs pointed at this guy.
Don't say when a multi-way. Don't do that. Thursday.
We are live, Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York. It's beautiful up here during the summer. I have been spending the last 3 weeks on a lake drinking copious amounts of beer.
Working hard.
Hey, I'm on vacation.
People know when they're unethical.
This is Horn Pubs. This is 25.50 with an occasional 100 straddle. I think you'll see the straddle probably, I don't know, 25% of the time. Yeah, 25.50 no limit with.
Pretty much when Deeb or Tally is in the straddle's position.
No, you just did it in an interview.
Right.
Before the game.
Or Rudolph was straddling.
Did he? Okay.
Blesnik might jump in there too. Blesnik's style is prone to straddle. Dentale with a 250 race here with 4s from early position.
What do you think about early position pocket pairs in a full ring game?
It depends on how big they are. I think people overrate small pairs in deep stack hold'em games. I just think that, like, it might not appear this way on televised games or games where people are playing looser, but if you start to play some of the bigger games, like, people are just playing so fit or fold post flop, and their hands are going to flop huge equity when they hit, and that most of the time means they're going to be playing big pairs. So when you put yourself in a spot with 4s, if you're 100 big blinds deep, it's fine because you could justify getting all the money in post flop. But if you're playing like 300 big blinds deep, a lot of the time you find yourself in a massive pot. You're not even going to be loving your middle or bottom set.
He's probably going to like his set here.
Yeah, of course. And he's short enough that it doesn't really matter. But if you start to play in this hand and you're 400 big blinds deep, if you have bottom set here of 3s, you're not loving your hand when there's a ton of action against you. So I just think playing bottom really low pairs is just too overrated in big deep stack cash games.
This actually was a check bet call, and this turn is going to get Blesnik in trouble. So this was check bet call.
Oh yeah, Blesnik's going to possibly get stacked here. Like, to be honest, if you see a check raise from Dentale. And now Blesnik. Oh, I get it. I get it. He check called the flop. Now he's going to check call the turn for sure.
Well, no, he check called the flop, but then let out, and Dentale raised.
I get
so he
it.
did a check call lead out play.
That's not even a terrible line with ace jack here, just because your opponent's going to check back so much. And I mean, but at the same time, when you do get raised, you're in a super precarious spot because he's never going to fold ace jack now because he doesn't know how this Dentale guy plays. Dentale has the image of being a little loose, maybe a little unsure of how to play certain hands.
Watch the top left corner of your screen, by the way, 3150. And Rivers is 7 of diamonds.
And now he should be getting stacked here. I think he's going to check call any bet size.
Yeah, I don't think Dentale is going to put him to the test for
Dentale is not going to bet enough. He should be betting like 2,800 here, even though he's only going to bet like 1,500. But he should be betting way more than whatever he's probably going to bet.
I mean, is he going to be bluffing with that?
Yeah, I told you he bet 800. Yeah. No, but he's always going to get checked.
No, okay, I was going to say he bet 1,600 actually.
Oh, Blesnik let out for 800 again. Blesnik, he block bet 800. That's kind of sick. That's kind of cool to do against a player that's unlikely to exploit your block bet.
I don't like Dentale's raising this, his size.
No, he should be shoving.
Because, I mean, the whole thing is, yeah, I mean, if your opponent's going to put a blocker bet out, what is obviously a blocker bet, what would you do if you actually had missed clubs here? You might move all in. Right?
I think Blesnik's only block betting. That's a great point. And I think Blesnik's only block betting because he thinks his opponent isn't going to exploit it. So it's not a great play to do against like someone like you that understands what hand he has here in this spot. But he probably assumes that Dentale isn't going to take advantage of him block betting often enough. So that's why he did it.
A little young black. I'll show you my hand.
Show it then. Okay, that is a big hand.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not. My hand's never good.
And Blesnik mucked.
Yeah, good fold. I mean, he's never good. I don't think for 2 min raises in that spot.
Mike is in
he's never good
when he's in the pot, guys. You can't mess with
My hand's never good. I fold.
Show him.
Can I call with that hand?
He folds.
My hand's never good.
Mikey, please show
Hand is never good. Your hand is always
And I apologize for the mix-up on who was betting there. It got a little bit confusing as our camera went back and forth. And
it's my fault. I'm a little green to the being on this side of the poker table, so I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So Dentale now at 7,000. He bought in for 5.
Can I bet 100 that hand was no good? You gotta
So I believe he is our big winner so far.
I'll lay your price on a hand.
What was it? He was getting like 5.
Yeah, through the window. I mean, that's sort of giving credence to what I was saying. Like,
That's what the price he was getting.
if you're going to be in a really tough spot post-flop with small pairs, it's better just to fold than pre-flop. I mean, I'm not saying like in every situation you should never call with a raise with small pairs. I'm just saying early position with deuces. Unless you have a really easy table or someone bad is in the blinds or something.
I mean, if you're at a table that's not 3-betting much,
Yeah.
are you happy to play that kind of hand?
For sure. And also if the players are not great or they're 100 big blinds deep, sure. But if you're at a table with, 4 or 5 good players who are playing 300 big blinds deep, it's just a really tough hand to play.
So McKeon straddles here.
I think you're going to get the straddle more and more as more and more people do it as the day goes on.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, I mean, obviously, it's never, from a mathematical point of view, it's never positive EV to put more money in blinds in bad position, which is under the gun. That said, are there times where metagame reasons you'll want to straddle where, let's say you're a really tight player, but by straddling, you can make it look like you're more of a gambler?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people try and do as well. And I think also like the other reason that I would advocate straddling more, even that, but even more than that, is just to like keep the game going when the game doesn't have a lot of action and it's obvious that the 1 or 2 players in the game that are keeping the game going are going to quit. And I think that's really important too.
This is interesting. This folded around to the blinds, and we're going to get an all-in on the call here. And it's going to be ace-queen versus ace-king, and Samantha Abernathy all in and against it here. So small blind, big blind, and a straddle pot. Abernathy raised to 275. Deep 3-bet from the big blind. Abernathy shoved.
Yeah.
Deep.
Pretty standard spot. I mean, when you're 3,700 on 25, 50, 100 blinds, right? So it doesn't have enough chips to do anything else.
Yeah, they're going to run 2 boards, I believe.
Who isn't rooting for a queen right now?
Thanks for the faith.
That That is not a king queen. King high flop. Abernathy basically drawing dead on this first run out. And now she is drawing dead on this run out. So they'll run it one more time.
One board, sorry.
Yeah, we're running it twice.
You're running it twice?
Yeah.
Get all your dimes on the first one.
They're asking about Phil Hellmuth and Jason Somerville. Maybe you want to...
Yeah, we'll get that in a second.
Okay.
Now we want a queen.
So in cash games, if you're new to cash games, most casinos allow you to run, especially in the bigger games, they'll allow you to run the turn in the river more than once. They'll allow you to run the whole board more than once when the players are all in. It's a way to decrease variance. Doesn't change the odds, though, at all.
That was in the pot.
So now you do another 5 here.
A lot of players like to do it because when they're in a 50-50 situation with
There's a queen.
a big pair versus a flush draw, you know, they can reduce their variance. Wow, so Abernathy got super lucky here to chop this.
Run the turn in the river.
That's no good
And
either.
she is going to chop it up.
How many jacks are in the mud?
No jack.
Obviously, Deep could have caught a jack or a king there in the river, but 7 of clubs does nothing for him. They chop that one up when we move on.
Wow.
So what was the question about Jason Somerville and
Just
Phil Hellmuth?
are they going to be on later and where they are in this?
Yeah, very exciting news here. So Poker Night The Tour is a new TV show that will air in early February, early of 2016. And just announced Maria Ho and myself will be doing play-by-play for that. And I can't tell you how excited I am that Jason Somerville and Phil Hellmuth have been signed on as analysts.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Should be really exciting.
They're both great, and Jason's done so much in poker recently. So that's going to be really, really exciting. I think that's going to be great for the game.
And so that'll be, they are not going to be on today, but you can watch them on TV in early 2016.
Yeah, it almost doesn't even matter who's at the final table. When you have that strong commentation, it's just going to make it so interesting because the simple analysis is going to be awesome with coming from all different perspectives. I think that's going to be great.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another straddle pot here, this one from Dentali.
So I think straddle might just become the norm, and I think quickly you're going to see more and more all-ins like this, and stacks just becoming bigger. I think very quickly we're going to move up to a lot of 10K stacks. Kind of have to, otherwise
No, he's from Philly.
it's just going to be too much gambling, too much forced action.
Do you have any opinion on running it more than once?
Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about Joe's career in the last 8 months before he finally was able to make
I would say that if you're playing a bigger game where the money matters to you, you should run it as many times as possible because it reduces your variance, and that's sort of the enemy of the poker player. You don't want to be in a spot where you lose a pot that is important to you,
He was right.
and so running it more than once is good. I mean, can't really see it hurting.
Glance at the original Razor, 7-high flop, rainbow board. Nobody with anything, and you can see
He should be betting here. I think that, well, I think that the only hands that call him on the flop are like big pairs, and I think that even if someone has, the problem is he doesn't have 2 overcards. He probably has 2 overcards against a pair, even if someone has 7-8, and so with that he's going to have 20-something% equity against those hands. So there's a lot of scare cards he could double barrel on the turn, and enough of the time he improves to better hands. I don't think any, he also gets bigger aces to fold, so he can't really win at showdown, and I think he should be c-betting there. But he has to be c-betting with a plan. I think you have to be c-betting, planning on betting.
what, any king, any queen.
Yeah,
any
something
ace,
like
any-
exactly. And I think the good thing about that is you just touched on it. The scare cards that come that he could successfully bluff don't help his hand. So he can still bluff. Like, he has more outs to bluff the scare cards because he doesn't have those cards in his hand. And if he hits an ace or a 10, he's probably still good. So there's a lot of room for improvement. I think he's going to have trouble bluffing a jack, but bluffing a king is pretty easy in his spot there. And there's 4 kings and 4 queens he could bluff, and 3 aces. So I think he should be betting.
Alec Torelli joining me in the booth. Alec plays some of the biggest cash games in the world, plays in Macau. Thrilled to have him alongside me right
Thanks,
now.
Alex. I'm getting some love here on Twitch. Thank you, guys.
Trying to memorize a 5-digit PIN number.
Siegel raises to 100.
Spent 3 months.
I could tell from the Twitch chat that
That's not a straddle?
having this woman
raise,
on the
huh?
show is a lot of the reason people they like having her.
No, it's not a straddle.
The Twitch chat is giving her love. All right, so
She's actually good. By the way, she's actually a funny, if you follow Samantha Abernathy on Twitter, she's actually, she's kind of a musician as well. She does some rap.
I believe that she's really talented at whatever.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
So Siegel
Cool,
raises.
I gotta check her out.
Siegel raises. Blesnik seems to love the king 5 suited because the last time he had king 5 suited, he 3-bet as well. McCallie just flats with ace queen. Blesnik 3-bets here. Back over to McCallie.
I think people are just letting him get away with a little too much here, and I think that's why he's just making these over raises. I think he knows that if he 3-bet to 400, even though that's more of a standard size, that it wouldn't get through. And so if he's going to 3-bet that hand, he has to make it big, because these types of players are just going to be the people that are going to say, I'm just going to wait till this loose kid has, you know, I have a huge hand against him and then I'm going to stack him. But he's going to get away with it a lot.
How do you counter his play? Because he's sizing it to a point where it makes it very difficult to call.
Exactly, and that's his skill here, is he knows that those players are going to just push with ace-king and jacks plus, and they're going to fold everything else, and they don't have that often enough, especially when there's the flat caller in there who has dead money. He's just going to be folding, you know, almost 100% of his range. I think you counter that by, you know, you have to make a stand with certain hands, and you also just open less. I mean, when you open a smaller range of hands, if he 3-bets you 8x your open and you have a stronger range opening, then he's not going to get it through enough of the time. The key is not letting him know that, though, so you can't just, like, make it seem like you're adjusting. And I
so you shouldn't tell him you're going to do that.
Obviously, yeah, and you shouldn't. Yeah, exactly. You should just give the illusion that you're still opening a lot, because you want him to be 3-betting there.
Right.
Once you know his game, then you know how to adjust to it. You just want to make sure he's not adjusting before you are.
Well, I mean, that's poker at its core.
Right. There you go.
Out adjusting your opponent.
Exactly.
Staying one step ahead of them.
Yeah, exactly. So I
just
think
wonder,
he's going to continue doing this, and if I could, like, whisper to that guy what to do, I would say just open less, because he's not going to know that that guy's opening less. He's going to assume that guy's opening the same, and that guy's just going to wait until he has aces and stick it in against him. By that time, he would have won 10 3-bets in a row.
Well, I'm just wondering, I mean, are the stacks deep enough to 4-bet bluff?
Not with an 800 open. I mean, the guy has 5K, so if he 4-bets to like 1700, by the time the guy shoves, he's going to be getting 2-1. And any hand he opens with, you know, I mean, against, it's just going to be too hard, you know. I mean, you could almost 4-bet jam there against that sizing. Like, you only have 5K, the pot's already 1100, 1200 at that point, with the dead money in there.
And that's kind of, but that's kind of the strength of that sizing, in the sense that
it's money.
You're forcing your opponent. And Blesnik is forcing his opponents to be at the brink. They're the ones that decide if they want to play for stacks.
Exactly. It's kind of like how you see people play in tournaments when someone has 30 big blinds, someone opens, and someone 3-bets them, and they basically can't call. They have to either like shove or fold, and it makes it such a profitable spot to 3-bet. And you're seeing that here on a cash game, even though the guy's, you know, 50 big blinds deep. By his sizing, he puts them in the same position. So credit to him for adjusting and thinking outside the box here. You don't have to only 3-bet to 400 there and then play a big hand post-flop. You could just take down that money pre-flop every time, and good for him, he's doing it. As long as he could get away with it, I don't see any reason to stop. You know.
I mean, can you
until he's seen signs of adjustment from his opponents. If they shove all in and show a 7, then, you know, maybe they picked up on it. But until he sees that, I would think he should keep doing it.
Can you afford to straddle?
I mean, I wonder if he should. I wonder if there's any value in just flatting.
From his point of view.
No, from the guy who had ace queen, or.
Oh yeah.
But I'm also flatting with. I don't have a 4-bet range. What if I didn't have a 4-bet range there, because I don't want to. Basically, I don't want to let him off the hook. If he's 3-betting with like garbage like king 5, I'm flatting with jacks.
Yeah, you got to have a plan post flop. Yeah, you gotta be flatting but committed to the pot post flop. But I think that's a good plan. You're just going to check raise all in on and try and win his c-bet post flop. That's not a bad idea if you have a really strong hand that could withstand giving him his free equity. Because if he has king 5 and you have jacks, you know, you're still letting him draw to his flush draw and his overcard against you for free by flat calling. But take a risk and maybe even win more money post flop. So mixing it up is good there for sure. And sounds like you got a great strategy for that.
Blesnik raises to 250.
So Glance is in the straddle now. So yep. I think we're going to see straddles become very common here when almost
I would say
new players are doing it all the time.
6 of the 9 players are straddling.
So McKean calls here, which I think is too loose against Blesnik, who's not a bad player. I guess
9-6-5.
I guess he knows that he's never going to get 3-bet from the blind. I think Matt's never going to 3-bet here in the big blind, so he knows he's going to play this hand in position. But I guess how deep are they? I don't know if I love this.
Well, Blesnik's got about 7,500.
Yeah, so Blesnik has like 65 big blinds, and it's a little loose of a call, but it could work. I mean, he's going to c-bet the flop and win every time here.
Well, and he didn't even. And the funny thing is, he didn't have to c-bet it. It was actually McKeon flatted pre-flop, and it was checked to him, and he just bet
exactly. Yeah. So I mean, that's the power of position there. It almost doesn't matter what you have, because situationally, if you're in a dominant position, you could win the pot. And when it goes check, you know that you don't know that Matt Glantz has nothing because he's going to be checking his whole range. But Blesnik is almost never checking a strong hand to the button there, given his propensity to play how he's been playing before. So when he checks his range there, you know he has nothing, and the button could bet half the pot and win almost always.
Are you playing in this tomorrow?
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm going to play tomorrow.
Great. It'll be interesting. I want to. I love the fact that I'm talking to you now.
Tear me apart tomorrow.
And then I want to see. I love that. I mean, I love poker. I'm so passionate about this game. I think it's a great game. And it's funny, you and I were talking about, sometimes it's really important for poker players to have a nice balance and make sure that you're still doing it for the love. The reason we all got into this game in the first place. And I point to like you and I point to like Brian Rass, two guys who play very, very high stakes, yet still want to do commentary. And I mean, we're literally giving this guy a 4-piece of chicken McNuggets for this. That's all he's getting. And you get one sauce, that's it. Yeah, one sauce.
No refill on the Coke. It's fun. I mean, I love doing this sort of thing. It's cool.
That's what I mean. And the fact that, you play 2,000, 4,000 no limit hold'em in Macau.
Yeah, but this is fun. I mean, it's a totally different. It's a totally different game, I guess. And like I sort of look at every endeavor I do in life as a game, and business is one, and poker is one, and this thing on YouTube and is another, and the commentating. It's fun to do, and it's like challenging you and stimulating in a different way. And sometimes you want more than just making decisions at the poker table, as you know, and that's why you love doing it too. I mean, you do so much stuff. You do commentating for other sports. You told me NFL, World Series. I mean, it's what it's about. It's cool.
I enjoy it. If you're just joining us, welcome. You're listening to the voices of David Tuckman and Alec Torelli, and we are in Turning Stone up in Verona, New York, upstate New York. It's beautiful this time of year up here. A little bit humid. Probably part of the reason why Joe McKeon, who called Turning Stone his home for many years. This is a place where he played, where he honed his game. Joe McKeon, of course, the chip leader in the November 9th, the main event at the World Series of Poker.
Crusher.
Get a raise here for McKeon, up to 350.
So Blesnik min raised under the gun? I don't think so. He straddled, right?
My guess is that's a straddle.
Yeah, exactly. And then McKeon raised here in the blind. McKeon's where on the button? 350? McKeon's on the button.
No, McKeon is not on the button. McKeon is 3 to the left.
Oh, okay, I get it. Oh, yeah, so totally standard. I think raising a little bigger here on Blesnik's button. Blesnik's big blind is good because you don't really want Blesnik in the pot. He's a tough player post-flop, so you're going to want to raise a little bigger here. I think making it 250 would be a mistake.
Well, he gets called by 3 players. Flop of 4-3-3.
And just based on aces and seeing the other hands here, aces is not in a good spot in this hand. Because even though he's going to win the pot most of the time, against 5s and 6s, he's never going to win a big pot against those hands. So you don't want players in the pot when they have 5s and 6s. You want someone like Glantz's hand in the hand when he has Queen 10. So aces is really vulnerable here against knowing what these other guys have, because they're only going to play when they flop a set pretty much. Unless the board comes 4-3-3. I mean, maybe they're going to continue with 5s, but most of the time, it's going to be in a tough spot.
McKeon bets 1,050. So pot's now 2,550. You can see that in the top left corner of your screen. Bottom left corner of your screen, you can see what the bet size is. And then Tally, not a believer, he's going to make the call.
Yeah, of course, on this board, he's in a great spot with aces now. Pre-flop, it's a little different because the boards don't come this low most of the time, where your opponent can continue.
Well, and the board is paired. I mean, you love having somebody could be in there with king, queen, and take one off and hit a queen and be drawing dead almost.
Of course. Yeah, and on this board, your hand's great, but...
Now, this is an interesting card. This is a card where if McKeon had a hand like ace, jack, or ace, queen, he'd probably use that king and rep it, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
So would you be... I mean, you'd be barreling this, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
even with your value hands too. Then.
Yeah, you should be against the type of opponent. I mean, from a game theory standpoint, you should be to have a balanced range here. That the key is like more than that is how is this particular opponent going to react in this particular spot. And if he's going to fold every time on the king, even though I should be balanced by betting here, I might check. But I think that this guy's not going to fold enough with his pairs, so I would be betting here with aces. I think he's going to call me again with whatever he called the flop with.
Well, I was playing against a good player, and I know obviously Joe McKeon is a very good player.
Right.
I know he may have me beat, but I know he's going to use that king. Like, I know if he had a hand like ace-queen, a lot of times he would bet this to try to get me to fold.
So you have to call again with your pairs, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to, but I definitely might.
Yeah. Again, this is another spot where if he is bluffing and you're in the opponent's spot on the turn, you really want to call once and just see if he's willing to barrel again on the river, because that really is the defining statement. Like, if he's willing to bluff again on the river, then it makes your turn call so much harder, but the guy did fold. So I think he also just bet a little big on the flop and turn. I think it was too much of a percentage of the guy's stack. I would have bet, I mean, even though this makes me maybe a little too polarized, I might have bet 1,000 on the turn there just to get him to call and then bet again on the river. I think that you might be a little imbalanced when you do that, but I don't think your opponent's going to know that, and that's really the only thing that matters.
No offense to Samantha Abernathy, I wonder if Dentale calls her thinking she won't bluff the river.
You mean Deeb when he had king 10?
Yeah, earlier on we saw Deeb call, but I wonder if let's say that was Samantha Abernathy betting and it was Dentale, and I wonder if Dentale calls her
knowing she's going to shut down.
Knowing she's going to shut down her bluffs.
Absolutely. That's an excellent, excellent point you made, and I think that's so important, which is why she should have bluffed. If she's ever going to pick a time to bluff, it should be the first round, because then you kind of set the tone for the table that, like, you're willing to make plays that are challenging to your opponents, because now, you know, for the next 10 hours, her opponents might be calling her in spots and really forcing her to make hands or taking advantage of something that she showed that she has a imbalance, a weakness for. And so it's a great observation.
Well, if you know that a player is not going to double barrel, it's really easy to call one time.
Absolutely.
If you know your opponent's not going to put you to the test, it's easy to make those calls. We know Joe McKeon can put any of these players to the test.
And I think that guy knew that.
Right. I mean, you got to realize Joe McKeon's in here for $10,000. I'm not saying the money doesn't mean anything to him. He just banked $1 million.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's probably going to make somewhere between $3 and $5 million at least in the World Series.
And his confidence is high. He's playing great poker. I mean, he's going to be going with his reads, you know, regardless of the money. That's a great observation. If you are going to be debating between putting someone to the test, it should be in the early part of the session, because you don't want people to just think they could just take advantage of you the whole time. You're just setting yourself up for image disaster.
Blesnik raises to 900. I told you the sizing.
Well, it's not. Oh my God, he got it through.
Is a possibility.
What happened to Ace King?
Ace King folded.
No way.
Ace King folded.
Who had Ace King?
Yeah,
that's insane.
He has to walk around with the paycheck on his forehead. The payout.
Those big trophy checks.
Big giant check. I'm the best looking guy in the club.
We're trying to figure out who had Ace King. I'm sorry, guys. We were talking too much. Whoever had Ace King folded there. I mean, that gives a lot more credence to Blesnik's raises, because if people are going to be folding even, you know, a top 10% hand to his 6x raises, I mean, that's just, then he should be doing that all the time. I think these people are going to be waiting for Jacks plus or something, but that's crazy.
Now I'm really curious. Now we're on a 30-minute delay.
Yeah.
Everybody at the table knows that.
Joe really thinks it's more.
I'm wondering who will adjust first. Blesnik's a smart guy.
Who will get the updates, you mean?
Well, no, I assume a lot of them are going to have updates. They'll go on a break. They'll get the updates.
Absolutely.
And I wonder if coming back, Blesnik will then be one step ahead of the guys. Or will he continue to do what he's doing?
I think when you're Blesnik, if Blesnik's getting updates, let's assume everybody has perfect information. If Blesnik's getting updates and he sees these people folding Ace King, I think he has to hammer all day until he sees them adjust. I mean, if they're folding that hand, I mean, even if they open up and adjust, they might be opening up with Ace Queen or something, which is still a super premium hand. I think he has to just keep bombing until he sees that they're making an adjustment. That's crazy. I can't believe it.
I literally adjusted my mic and I looked down. I saw the Ace King, but I didn't see who it was, and then it was gone. If somebody on Twitch wants to let me know who that was, we're curious ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I
think it was McCallie.
That's crazy. I can't get over that one.
It might have been Siegel, but I think it was McCallie.
It's unbelievable fold.
He and him.
Queen 10-4. And by the way, if you're gonna 3-bet and squeeze, 8-3-3. What a great board.
Oh, I know.
What a great flop.
I mean, he got a little bit lucky in the sense that, you know, he could rep a big hand post flop, and it's so unlikely his opponent's connected. It's so unlikely they have a pair pre-flop. They're probably going to shove with that. So
Ruddock wins that one. That's Steve Ruddock. Seat number 4. He's wearing the black shirt with the 888 patch, stacking the chips right now, just to the left of Glance. Blesnik, by the way, wearing the kind of plaid blue shirt. Samantha Abernathy next to him. Sean Deeb, our November 9er, Joe McKeon. Seat 1, we haven't heard much from him at all. That's Mike Siegel. That is not Mike Siegel. That's Mike Dentale. Another straddle pod here. This is McKeon with the straddle.
No one getting any hands.
No,
and unless you accidentally get a hand.
Because I know Siegel's not getting open. Siegel's never opened up a computer. There's no way he has.
Dentale opens to 250.
90s flip phone still.
Yeah, that's, you got me clocked.
Do you still have a pager, Siegel?
I'm definitely not going on the sites that he's going on, that's for sure. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It looks like Blesnik is going to 3-bet this or just call. I just calls. He loves playing his button.
No, Blesnik folded. Blesnik had.
No, Blesnik called. Blesnik loves playing his buttons. I'm telling you, this guy does not fold his buttons. He just loves them. He either 3-bet or he called, and I think he just called. He did just call. King, Queen, 4, 2 hearts out there.
I think that's just too loose. I think especially like. I think Blesnik's not the player to do this. I mean, with his image, he has to know that eventually his opponents aren't going to give him credit. And so when you put yourself in a spot where you have to make an aggressive play to win the hand, I think it's just way too loose, especially with McKean in the pot. That just seems way too ambitious.
Well, it's also, I mean, Dentale's raise was under the gun in a straddled pot. It's a full ring game. There's no antes.
Yeah, Dentale just has a big hand. I guess he's thinking, well, Dentale either has a premium hand or he's going to check fold the flop, but... And he might think Dentale is a weak player, but I just think that Dentale is going to hang on with any equity he flops against Blesnik here because Blesnik's been so aggressive. I just think it's way too loose to call there with Jack-6.
Take a look at the chip counts
That's
here.
Just crazy.
I mean, Mikey, it'll be. You can like it's on YouTube afterwards normally.
Yeah, like you'll get it. You don't need to get it immediately. You'll get it later tonight.
I never watched one. I don't care about that. It was just one.
You do care though because you brought it up.
I know Sean and Joe and these guys. They're not going to.
What are their names?
I
By the way,
haven't
do you even
asked
know any of their
anybody
names, Jared?
What?
Whose names over there do you know? And that's other two.
Okay, so we have a limp.
That's Andrew.
Do we have a limp here?
I know Siegel's name. Mike.
No, it's a straddle.
Dentale
Okay,
straddle.
and then Siegel calls. So Siegel's really loose passive. Based on how he's been playing before. Hasn't really
McCallie as well. I mean,
McCallie as well, which I think credit to Blesnik figured that out super early. Maybe he has some history with them and he knows that they're, you know, I think Blesnik's going to raise here 100% because he just senses weakness in the pot. He's just going to plummet on people.
Yep, that's what he does. Jack 9.
Jack 9 off is like okay enough to raise here, but yeah, you have to raise big. 525 is fine. I think eventually people are going to just start calling. And even if they have hands they shouldn't call with, like 5-6 of diamonds isn't great to limp call, but I think people are just going to get frustrated and start limp calling. So he's going to have to start pushing people off the hands post-flop very soon. But that's never going to happen with Deeb having ace-king in the small blind. And I think regardless of Deeb's hand here, this is a great spot to 3-bet. So Blesnik might not believe Deeb here because it's a great spot for Deeb to 3-bet on a bluff because Deeb is aware now that Blesnik is just pummeling everybody. So he might.
And you say it's a great spot because you've got the two passive players limping in. Blesnik's almost always going to be raising here.
Exactly.
He's going to raise large. So Deeb, I mean, because of that, he could be 3-betting with anything. It turns out he's at the top of his range.
Right, but Blesnik might not know. Blesnik might not believe that, and so you might see Blesnik get out of line here. I'm not sure. Deeb.
Is there anything to...
But he raised so big, he made it 1,700 that it's hard for Blesnik to 4-bet here, so he might just give it out.
Is there anything to just...
looking at everyone's hand. Have you noticed?
Blesnik looking at the table going, you know what? There's easier spots than Deeb.
Absolutely.
I'll just give this one up.
Which is why it makes it such a great spot to 3-bet for Deeb, because Blesnik knows he's not going to have an easy... Blesnik knows Deeb is balanced enough that he's not going to be able to 4-bet light. You know, he's not just going to be able to take advantage of Deeb 3-betting. So he's just going to give it up enough of the time, and he has air so often that, you know, I think you would have seen a 3-bet from Deeb there, or McKinney maybe, with weaker hands than ace-king, even though he happened to have that.
I would never bluff you, Jared.
25-50, no limit hold'em cash.
As long as I know
Alec Torelli, David Tuckman here in the booth. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can at Alec Torelli. I'm at Tuck on Sports. We are live from Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York. Some big names here, including November 9er, Joe McKeon, the overwhelming chip leader heading into the World Series of Poker main event final table. Sean Deeb, of course, at this table. Matt Glantz, Jared Blesnik, some big names. And of course, a lot of money at the table as well. Deeb bought in for the most. He bought in for $20,000. Minimum buy-in in this game is $5,000.
I'm putting on Queen 8 suited.
Am I the only one straddling like?
Oh yeah, I'm not.
So we have a raise with Ace-9, which I think is way too loose to raise with Ace-9 off here, especially with Deeb on the button, who's going to 3-bet a lot. I just don't like opening there, especially with Blesnik behind you. Like I don't see opening with Ace-9 off to be good in any position except for maybe the cutoff if the button's weak, the hijack if they're both weak. But that's just too loose. Abernathy calls with deuces.
And there's the squeeze from Deeb.
Yeah.
And it's going to get through.
Yeah. One of the things about live poker that I find is that people just feel like compelled to do things that they would never consider doing online just because it seems like so long has gone by, so much time has gone by, and they feel compelled to take action, whereas in reality it's only been 30 hands of poker, which you could play in 15 minutes online, but it seems like you've been patient for so long that you have to take action, whereas sometimes patience.
Straddle pot once again. This is McCallie.
Be an instigator.
Glance raises from under the gun with 6-7 suited.
I still think this is good by Glance. This is a great hand to have because it plays so much better than 4-6 like he had last time. Post flop 6-7 plays really well, and I still think people, even though he's been active, people are still going to give him credit for a strong hand.
This is a tough spot here. Blesnik's now going to 3-bet, and now he doesn't give his opponent much room to 4-bet fold.
And that's partly because of the straddle.
Right, but
I think it's
as active as Blesnik has been, would you ever, now we can see the cards, but let's not be results oriented. If you were Glance and you had a hand that with like 6-7 suited, might this be the hand you make a stand with?
You might consider 4-betting here, but what you also have to consider is that Blesnik knows that Glance isn't the type of player that the other players are. So if I'm Glance with that image, I know what Blesnik is doing against the other players because I know that he's exploiting their weaknesses. But I also know that he's aware that I'm a tight, solid pro that's not raising a lot under the gun. And so I don't think he's going to be just barreling me as much as he's going to be barreling them. And I think he's trying to show aces here to kind of give the image that he's been tighter than he actually has been so he can continue running over the table, which him showing aces there is probably smarter than someone like Matt showing aces.
The only reason I don't like him showing aces is because, did you notice the sizing?
Yeah,
Earlier
I totally
on,
agree here.
His sizing when he's got King 5 would have been like 1,400.
Exactly.
But his sizing with the aces was just 3x.
I think that's really, really smart observation by you, and I think that
trying to make the cut, Mikey. Don't take anything personally.
he has to weigh that if he's really thinking about showing against. He has to weigh, you know, the premiumness of his hand versus are his opponents that he's exploiting picking up on his sizing differential tells, and I don't want to be too hard on him, but I just don't think they are.
No, I mean, hey, as of now, everything he's doing is working.
And he's also had the right cards at the right time to make him look like a genius too, but he has been playing the best at the table so far too, so credit to him.
I'm interested to see, I mean,
how this develops. I want to be like 6 hours ahead. And
that's what I was going to say. I mean, we're basically an hour into the broadcast and an hour into this game. And I'm really interested to see, because look at the table right now. Sean Deeb in seat number 7, Joe McKeon in seat 8. They both have position on Blesnik. And I'm curious to see 4 or 5 hours from now how those two players specifically adjust to Blesnik's sizing.
Absolutely. And I would be... We would almost be a little... We're almost hoping that they do something about it. You know, you'd almost be a little upset if they just let Blesnik pound on everyone without kind of jumping into that fight, you know?
Hey, I'm objective. I don't really care. I'm just curious. To be honest, I'm more just really interested to see how this one works out. Jack 9-5 is the flop. We got a very multi-way pot. Nobody with a jack. The best hand right now is Blesnik with 10-9. Glance also has a 9 in his hand, albeit a smaller kicker. Siegel's got a gut shot. McKeon's got an overcard with a gut shot.
What are you scared of?
McKeon's got some equity, obviously. He can catch a king.
For sure.
Or a queen.
Play cash on them, then. It happens a lot.
Glance is going to bet 400.
You said you bought in small to get it in. You're doing a great job.
It's a pot that's so coordinated that
I like to get all in. It's more exciting to get all in.
it's hard to get this bet through.
It got,
Siegel
almost
called.
got through.
That's insane. It's a
The
crazy
interesting-
hand and spot to call with for Siegel. He's been so tight, and he finally just makes a stand against the other tightest player at the table, betting into 7 people.
Wow, though. Look at this, though. So Siegel check calls and then leads out on the heart.
Good for him. Good play.
And he wins it.
Guys like actually a great play. I mean, like with his image against that type of player, I mean, you're just gonna think he has a flush there based on like how he plays in that turn or a straight. I don't think people are gonna think he's bluffing. I mean, what bluff could he have? So, sorry guys, I'm not answering all these questions. I see all these questions here, but
yeah, it's a difficult balance.
I feel like I should be doing more of the commentary than answering personal questions.
Well, no, it's a difficult. We're going to obviously get to as many questions as we can, but we do want to hear the table talk, and you know, if there's an interesting conversation going on, we want to let them go.
Absolutely.
We're on television. I can't lie.
So, but do please keep the questions coming in, and we'll address as many as we possibly can.
And guys, if I don't get to you, just shoot me a message on social media, and I will answer all your questions later. Personally,
well, we're also here all day.
Yeah, I'm also here for 12 hours. So if like I don't answer, it's not because your question is stupid. Just repeat it in like a half hour, and maybe there'll be a bigger pause. Or maybe you know what I'll do is I can't promise, but maybe I'll stay here on breaks and answer your guys' questions when they have a break, and you guys can ask me whatever you want. So hang around till the first break. I'll stay with you guys. All right.
He's making jokes that I don't get.
Thanks for that.
You can't insult me if I don't know what's going on.
Is it 25-50?
I'll get the beers during break.
You get the beers and.
Yeah. Blesnik raising to 100, or is that a straddle? No, I think that's actually a raise. He does this sometimes. He'll do this. Abernathy calling.
A min raise under the gun, kind of like a blocking bet to get a cheaper flop with a hand that he wants to see a flop with, but he doesn't want to pay 400. Smart hand to do it with too. Plays well post flop. It could also withstand a 3-bet. So if someone 3-bets to 400, he could still call and see a flop.
So this is called like in 5 different ways. Flop is ace, king, 7, rainbow. And nobody with much of anything. McCallie just called with 10s. McCallie, by the way, was on the button. Could have easily 3-bet when you get a raise and call by 4 spots.
Yeah, although I don't mind calling here because your hand plays so well in a multi-way pot. You can flop set over set, and if you do flop a set, you're just so set up to win a big pot in position that I almost don't want to give away my hand pre-flop.
And looks like 10s are going to win this unless somebody takes a shot at it.
I don't think so. I think the ace. I just don't think anyone's taking a shot here.
Not at this point.
No.
And in fact, actually, McCallie bets at 300.
Drew, I'm going to call your hand after I fold and everybody else the hand is finished, okay? Drew?
And actually, McCallie was actually in the small blind, pardon me.
Okay.
My mistake. There's McCallie, by the way, in the black shirt.
I almost like 3-betting more in the small blind there with 2 10s than I do
At least you
on the button.
And he shows the 10s.
There's really no reason to bet the river with 2 10s there. Any better hand is probably going to call. Any ace is going to call. But maybe he gets a king to fold. But it's just his hand has enough showdown value that he doesn't need to quite bet there. So I don't really like. Not in love with the bet.
Deeb up $3,000. McKeon up almost $2,000 already. Our big losers so far, Glantz and Abernathy, both started with $5,000. So you can see they're down $2,000 and $2,300 respectively. Blesnik started with $8,000. So for all the movement and all the talk we've had about him, he's basically even.
Right. And that's weird because I don't even remember him losing any hand. I guess he lost that hand with the ace-jack. But you would expect him to be up. I think in EV he's up a lot, even though he's even in his actual chip stack. He's played really well here.
He's just saying you're not very good.
And give him credit. I mean, he folded to a min-raise on the river with the ace-jack. I think he played pretty well.
McKeon with the ace-king. This is straddle pot. This is Blesnik with the straddle.
He should be raising big here, I hope, because Blesnik is so loose. You don't want Blesnik to defend for cheap in the big line. 300 is fine.
But why not? I mean, you've got him dominated. Why don't you want him to defend cheap?
Yeah, or just as a general rule, given that you're playing this hand mainly to play against Siegel and the button, you're going to be playing this hand out of position, and you don't want. You much rather play the hand heads up with the cutoff for the button than you would play the hand 3-way with Blesnik in the pot. Because Blesnik has so much incentive to defend the big blind when the cutoff for the button call. And you'd much rather play it heads up with a weaker player than allow Blesnik in when he has getting a good price to call pre-flop.
Really interesting flop here, Dentale. Open-ended with backdoor diamonds. McKeon with top pair, top kicker. He bets 450 into about 800. Dentale quickly calls. Pot is now 1,700.
Yeah.
If I bet you're going to fold.
So I would, yeah. Pretty standard C-bet call here. Be interesting to see how this develops on a my rate of turns.
Oh, wow. Now Dentale picks up a diamond draw to go along with the open-ended straight draw. Needs a 5, a 10, or any diamond to win it. Will he play the turn aggressively? And it looks like McKeon is going to fire another bullet. What's your sizing?
1,200. You got to bet on the bigger side here. I mean, you want to get value from a king, and you could be double barreling with a lot of draws. I think 1,000's a little too small.
Again, I want to raise you, but you have a monster.
Pretty sure somebody just fell out of a barrel.
That's what Dan said in the main.
So McKeon bets 1,000 into 1675. Dentale.
Because
What's the play here? I mean, could you ever shove this, or do you just call? I mean, you've got no showdown value, obviously, with a pair of 8s. I mean, sorry, with 8 high.
yeah, you don't, but you have. I mean, you have enough equity to call. Like you're not getting enough direct odds, especially with implied odds, just to call. So you're getting direct odds to call. It's fine just to call. You could shove if you think your opponent is weak, but then again, if you think he's weak and he's going to check fold the river, then you could just call and bet the river when he checks and have a lot more information about his hand. I would probably just call here against a player like McKeon, who's balanced enough to be bet calling the turn with strong hands. I don't think I have enough information about him to warrant shoving here. But I think McKeon should be betting a little bigger because all 9s are going to be folding to 1,000, but they're also going to be folding to 1,300, but you just don't want him to draw as cheaply. You want him to get punished with a king, too. Well, this is
he hits a straight.
A brutal card because I think McKeon is always going to be betting to get value from King Jack or King Queen. So
McKeon might move all in here.
I think he is.
Yep, there's the all in. There's the quick call.
I don't blame him at all. I think this is a standard all in against a player who could have a worse king most of the time. You're only really worried about King 10 and 7-8 on the river. I guess a slow played set, but I don't think he has that often. I think he would have shoved the turn probably with a set more often than not.
I want to throw something at you, Alec. If, let's say we reverse the positions and Dentale was out of position against with the 7-8 of diamonds, are you more apt to check raise the turn with a draw on the turn rather than, because obviously in position you can get the information and bet your opponent off it.
Yeah, great observation. Whereas out of position, you might be getting direct odds or you might have some implied odds when you check call, but the point is that you made a great point there, and I think that's great for the viewers to think about, is you can't win the pot at showdown if you miss your hand when you're out of position if you check call.
So you'd be more apt to check raise?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Because you can't really check call and then win the pot at showdown. You're not going to lead into your opponent when you miss. That's too obvious. So your only hope of winning the hand is when you hit your offsuit 10, and if you hit a diamond, he's going to shut down. So check raising has a lot more merit out of position. Great observation.
By the way, that's the first hand McKeon lost since day 2 of the main event.
Well, to be honest, Joe would never do that against me.
He could afford it.
Guy's been on just an absolute crush.
It's amazing how much confidence does for someone's poker game. If you watch some of the players that have historically made big main event final tables and watch what's happened to them shortly afterwards, it's amazing how the positive results that they've had.
No, I think Scott Siebel will mess up too many people's game. I think he's the best no-limit tournament player, but I think you're better off getting Timex or Dan Smith, who has a style that's easier to adapt to.
Pretty excited, actually. Not only are you playing tomorrow, but my good buddy Bart Hansen from Crush Live Poker is playing tomorrow as well. So I actually think the lineup tomorrow is significantly tougher. No slight on the lineup we see today, but I think tomorrow's lineup is going to be a little tougher from a poker point of view.
Oh, wow.
From specifically a no-limit hold'em background.
Right. That's a big difference when you have a specialty in one game as opposed to just poker in general.
But Blesnik, I talked to Blesnik for a while. I actually interviewed Blesnik for a podcast, and he goes, no limit's not my game. He actually told me during the main event, he goes, the last time I played any no limit was last year's main event.
Wow.
He plays PLO.
Oh, wow.
Matt Glantz plays all the mixed games. He doesn't really play no limit cash.
Maybe that explains
Sean
Blesnik's
Deeb
style.
now, Sean Deeb plays more mixed games than anything else.
More Chinese.
He's obviously a great no limit player also, but you're talking about guys that don't necessarily play no limit. Now you, for example, that's all you play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Queen 5-3, 2 clubs out there.
Oh, it's great for the game.
And McCallie starting to feel a little bit of confidence. He won a hand earlier on, and he's going to bet here with his deuces, and that'll get through.
He's tweeting about beating Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, it will.
For sure. 500? Did he get stacked? 2 hours?
It's not a bad board to see bet. It's hard for people to continue unless they hit a queen. I think maybe other pairs call once, but it's a pretty good board to see bet.
Dan O'Brien joining the Twitch stream. I love it. Hey, Dan, what's going on, buddy? Dan had a great run in the main event as well, so congratulations to him.
Yeah, congrats.
Would have been great if he had made the November 9. I was rooting for him. He is
everybody.
An often overused term in poker, but he is one of the good guys. He's just a really, really great guy.
card. I must press the exit. I did all those
Go broke. He has to lose that.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, Dan, but thank you.
Like if he gets on 1,000 and adds 5K, we're gonna. He has to just lose 1,000.
He's never going to reload.
He'll play all
sit with 400 bucks.
He's never going to reload.
You. If you have 400, you're not going to add chips. You'll wait to go broke.
Got a straddle.
Do you like the shove? And they're actually discussing this in the chat. Let's go to that.
Sure.
Sorry about, I'll call the action here, but get a raise here from McKeon with the ace-10. Deeb was the straddle. Do you like the sizing? Do you like the shove? You mentioned you didn't like the $1,000 sizing in the turn.
Yeah.
But do you like the shove on the river? I mean, because there aren't that many. I mean, you're basically getting value from King, Queen, and King, Jack. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Although, at the same time, the flip side of the coin is you're only beat by 7-8 that called the flop in the turn, which he's probably going to call with all his 7-8 suited combos on the turn, so there's 4 possibilities of those. You could have King 10 suited, which there's 2 possibilities, so now you're at 6. I think he raises most sets. So
Abernathy folded a 4, by the way. She had Jack 4. Siegel might get himself in a little bit of trouble. It's not necessarily a terrible board for 6s.
absolutely not, no.
And he's going to raise.
Oh, we usually like have people sweat along for sure.
And this is just one of those. It's kind of, this is old school. This is a raise to find out where you're at.
Yeah, and it's also just a raise that, finding out where you're at, but aside from that, it's also just knowing that, you know, you don't let your opponent catch up with his free equity. You don't let him outplay you in the hand. You don't let him double barrel you when a Jack, Queen, or King comes. You kind of take the lead away from the hand, and it's
What's your plan?
It's not even a bad spot to do it with 6s, to be honest. The only bad part about it is that your range looks pretty weak. You never really have 4s that often, so your opponent could 3-bet bluff you on the flop.
That's what I mean.
That's the bad part about it. But with ace-10, he's never going to 3-bet because he has enough showdown value to just call and see what happens. So I think ace-10 should bet here because he's always good when his opponent check-backs the turn. So
Siegel's hand looks like 6s, 5s.
Yeah.
A bad
or
10.
a bad 10. So I think you're always going to see McKean bet here. I think McKean would check with Jack 10. But he's got to bet, you know, 2,700 with.
Is that a fold or a call?
I think when you say you win, it means you win.
So back to the the hand with Ace King. I think the other reason to bet there is that you want to be able to be bluffing often enough that you can value bet Ace King. You know, so that's the other side of the coin from a game theory standpoint. It helps to be value betting there because you're going to be bluffing there a decent amount of the time. So you want to have value betting hands, so your opponent can't just hero call you every time with King Jack.
Okay, so I want to throw this at you then.
Not that that matters against an opponent that doesn't know that, by the way, but just like from a theory standpoint, you want to be at least able to be value.
Right, on a. I mean, obviously 7-8 got there.
Yeah.
That was the obvious.
But there's only 4 combos of 7-8. You know, I mean,
4 7-8 suited, right?
Yeah, and he never has 7-8 off, so there's only 4 combos of that.
Good point.
There's more combos of King Jack and King Queen, so.
Yes, obviously. I guess my thought is though is King Queen
gonna call?
Yeah, that's the question. Are you getting value from King Queen or King Jack when you move all in the river?
I think that if you're Blesnik, you are for sure. McKean might be able to have the image that he pulls it off, especially against this opponent who's been maybe a little folding a lot of his hands throughout the day so far, and he might be ready to make a stand. I mean, he got there with top pair, top kicker. Let's face it, the draw missed on the river. It's hard to talk yourself. Top pair, second kicker. It's hard to talk yourself into a fold for a pot-sized bet. It depends a lot on the person. I mean, does he have 1 bullet? Does this money matter to him? I mean, all those things are factors when you're playing in this game. You know, does he not want to look like an idiot on TV? I mean, like all these things sort of come into play.
By the way, I give McKean a lot of credit for playing here. I'm not sure if I would from a.
Oh yeah.
He's now playing. I mean, he is now giving the other November Niners.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
8 to 10 hours of footage.
Yeah, I'm watching this all day if I'm another November Niner. But I also think McKean, A, it's a cash game, not a tournament, and B, he should be aware of that, and he might have a plan. So I think, again, from like, you know, he should be aware enough to know that the other players might be watching, and he should be maybe doing something that, you know, he might have a different game plan for the final table. But that's a great observation too. I'm not sure how I would feel about it.
Yes, I think you're one of the best.
Get another straddle here.
I think you don't have to cheat to win, but you still choose to cheat.
And a dealer change. Take a look at the chip counts once again. Deeb and Dentale are big winners so far.
Yeah.
I'm honestly.
Well, Deeb not as much as Dentale. Dentale started with
5,000.
5K. Yeah, Deeb is up 2,700. Yeah. And then Blesnik's down a little bit. McKeon's down 1,000. McCallie down a couple hundred. No, McCallie's up a couple hundred.
There's nothing to prove.
Yeah, but you might
There's nothing to
You want to beat the shit out of me on TV, kid. How can you say, oh, this guy has a big hand, this guy has a big hand, and then you see what he said about you? Like, never lived with you.
He doesn't agree with your ethics at the table.
I always have a big hand. It's not hard to read the kid that always has.
So we have a straddle from Dentale.
Siegel said about Sean.
Siegel doesn't like slow rolling.
Yeah, he doesn't think slow rolling is good at.
Never had an issue with Sean. If he doesn't like me, that's fine.
The thing is, I like you personally. I just hate when you're doing poker.
Alright,
I think
let's
you're
not
nice.
get first.
No, I'm saying, I actually give him a compliment. I think
Let
personally,
this go.
I like
This
him.
is fun.
I
This is
partied
good
with him
for the
away from the
game.
table. I like hanging out with Jared. But just unfortunately, some of the things he's done.
Look to Jared to be raising here a lot. I don't know if this hand is in his raising range, but it gives credence to the fact he's going to be raising a lot when he's throwing it up with the 10-5 offsuit. But also notice the sizing. I think that
wasn't a raise.
he's really wanting to apply a lot of pressure on people. Deeb is never going to be folding here. The question is, what's he going to do?
He knows it's on him.
Yes, 1 at 1.
I think that Deeb should be 3-betting here, and I think that Blesnik might
The funniest things you've ever said in your life.
think Deeb is weak because Deeb 3-bet last time in the same situation. Blesnik doesn't know that Deeb had ace-king, and so it's a little bit of metagame here going on. Blesnik could easily talk himself into a 4-bet. He knows that Deeb is going to be taking advantage of the fact that he's opening way too big and way too wide in the cutoff there against weaker blinds. So credit to Deeb for 3-betting. And like I said before, I think you might see Deeb 3-betting there with
that's why we're all
weaker hands than he actually had. He happened to have it in that spot, but the position is great to 3-bet for Deeb, regardless of his cards. It'll be interesting to see what he does going forward in those situations now that he's 3-bet twice, even though he had it both times, because now there's a little bit of history built up between him and Blesnik. So stay tuned for that. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Deeb adjusts to playing with Blesnik being so loose.
He's out here. He's out partying with Drew's kids right now. Apparently your kids...
Kishku, your opinion is important. Don't say that. That's silly. Your opinion's really important. I'm not saying 10-5 is in my 4-betting range, if you're talking about me. I'm sorry I haven't been following the chat that much. But your opinion's important. That's the most important thing. Don't forget that.
He's teaching them well.
So we got a normal hand here, and Glance has a raise to 200. We got a call from Ruddock, call from Blesnik, Abernathy. Blesnik's call with Queen 10 is a little loose, even though he feels like he's going to be in position. But with Deeb on the button here, I don't like calling in the hijack with Queen 10. I don't think you're going to get in position enough this hand. Glance is open. It's a little loose. I think he's been opening a little too much to be justified opening with King 10 from early position here, or mid position. I guess there's some weaker player in the big blind, but I don't know. A little too loose. So we got Ace King 10. Glance still ahead, but Blesnik might decide to have a plan here. I mean, he called with a weak hand pre-flop. I feel like he's going to float if Glance bets and just try and pick up the pot on the turn when Glance checks.
I owe you guys a lot of...
Odds Jared wins this pot.
So what happened here?
It's on Samantha, or it's on Jared, or
It's on me, you both checked? 300?
Blesnik's probably not going to be able to resist here. Yep, bets 300, which is really small relative to the pot, but on a dry board like this, you can get opponents to fold hands like Ruddock's, which is 9s. I mean, you don't need to bet bigger to get those types of hands to fold. Abernathy calls here. She should have a plan. I don't think... I think she has to be betting the turn when it gets checked to her.
The problem with her hand is I think her relative position is awful. She still had, I mean, while she's got direct position on Blesnik, she had 2 players left to act.
Yeah.
Who could have very easily check raised.
Glance especially.
She also doesn't have, because of the pre-flop action, she doesn't have a huge hand here very often.
Exactly.
The best hand she could possibly have is like Ace-5 suited.
Yeah.
And Blesnik is just too good post-flop and too aggressive. And he's too good a hand reader where it's very easy to put her on a hand like King 10 suited, double barrel her off at every single time.
Yeah.
Especially because of her stack.
And she's not, doesn't seem like, even though Blesnik's been super loose, She doesn't seem like she's ready to make a big hero call on the turn in the river. She seems like she's going to play fit or fold there.
I actually think he bet that turn to get a hand like King 10.
Yeah, or even like
Ace 3.
Ace 3 to fold. I mean, or even to get Ace 3 to fold by the river. So he might not expect Ace 3 to fold on the turn, but he has a lot of equity. He could win with a Jack for sure, a Queen for sure, and possibly a 10. And if not, he could bluff the river. I mean, so credit to him. He plays really well post-flop. For being a PLO player, he plays no limit pretty damn well.
His strength, and having played 10 hours with him, I saw it, his strength is I think, reading players.
Yeah.
Considering he's an online player, it's pretty impressive because he's very good at reading his opponents and knowing how to size bets. I think too often, especially in no-limit hold'em, people don't use one of the weapons we have. One of the weapons we have is sizing.
Absolutely.
That's the big thing. Do you want to bet differently against different opponents? You want to do different things. What will this bet accomplish? What will that bet accomplish? So forth and so on. And that's something that we see him do. Now, is it exploitable? Of course it is. In a vacuum, it's exploitable.
Right.
But
no one's taking advantage of it, so it's the best option.
Right.
And that's how No Limit Hold'em is played, and that's how you win money.
Well, oftentimes, playing an exploitable style is actually going to win you the most money.
Right, of course, almost always, unless you're playing against excellent
robots.
Players online, yeah, which you're never doing. So,
well, not necessarily. There are robots out there. But
yeah. Definitely never in a live game. In a live game, you should always be playing exploitable poker. So, credit to him. He plays really well.
Some players joining us after dinner, by the way, the alternate players. Rhett Porter, the original David Baker, David ODB, and Dominic Christian, who was the winner on 8888. I'm sorry, 888, qualified on 888, and is going to be joining us after dinner. So that should be fun.
This is the highest I've ever played.
Yeah,
I haven't played higher than 5 times before.
Of course, I want to thank our sponsors, 888 Poker, DraftKings, Giants, and Crush Live Poker.
I was playing in a Mayfair in 1986.
I played smaller.
Apparently that's Giants sunflower seeds.
I know the real Kate.
Cool. I'm a big fan. I like the sunflower seeds.
Yeah. Ate them all the time growing up.
Did you call?
I can't believe it.
The real Joey Knish this time.
Anytime you offer something, I know.
So I see Dan O'Brien in the chat room. You can join us as well. A lot of guys sitting there and kind of talking poker strategy.
So McKean raised in the cutoff here, 175. Dentale calls on the button, and Mikale in the big blind, I think.
Yeah. 2.5.
Yep. Great spot to see bet for McKean. It's going to get through a lot here.
And it does. Very dry board. King 4-3 rainbow.
He also knows that
I got it.
aside from them not hitting anything, the important thing is knowing that they're probably just going to play ABC post-flop. And you could see they didn't even consider the fact that McKean might be c-betting too often. They didn't even consider check calling or check raising or anything other than just playing their hand straightforward. So it gives McKean even more reason to just c-bet there 100% of the time on that spot.
David Tuckman, Alec Torelli here at Turning Stone, playing 25-50, no limit cash. Just when you thought you were sick of my voice from the World Series of Poker, I'm back. My apologies.
We were at the Stars party, went down there, and we met on the floor.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay, no.
You remember.
She pretended on Twitter that she remembered.
Blesnick in a straddle. So we're basically playing 25-50, 100, which means this game is actually playing pretty shallow.
Right.
I don't believe anybody has rebought yet,
No.
unless McKean has. Yeah, and a couple of guys, I mean, you might see some rebuys later on, but so far we haven't seen any, so not a ton of money on the table. And I know you're probably watching
relative to the blind.
Right, I was going to say, I mean, some people at home might be sitting there going, are you crazy? There's,
$50,000.
There's more than that.
Yeah.
There's a ton of money on the table, but relative, if we're playing 25-50, 100,
right,
there's just not that much.
Absolutely. That's the important thing. It's
good role model.
So we get a raise here from Ruddock. Ruddock has played it pretty... he's picked his spots. I kind of like his game so far.
Ruddock's been really pretty tight.
Yeah.
Except for the ace-9 open. But I think that people think he's been really tight. And so... But if Siegel's not aware of that, then he has to be cognizant of who his opponents are here. And
yeah, and Ruddock's going to take advantage of this. I mean, he raised out of the straddle. Sorry, he raised out of the big blind.
Right.
And he's going to represent, and he's going to take this one down. And he's picking
it's so
his
easy
spots.
to pick up on weakness there.
Right, he's picking his spots
Doesn't
against
matter
the right
what your cards
opponents.
are. Right. And he knows that Siegel's just going to call most of the time pre-flop. I don't think he thinks his raise is going to get through pre-flop, but he knows that post-flop, unless his opponent flops a pair, which is unlikely, that he's going to win the pot.
McKeon back up to 9,300, considering he has already doubled up and tallied. Pretty impressive.
Right.
Abernathy started with 5,000. She's down 2,100. Glance, by the way, is still there, but you can kind of see a stack in seat 3, just to the left of McCallie. So what's the next stop for you, man?
Back to New York City, and then I'm going to Florida for Poker Night in America. I'll be there for that, doing commentating and playing as well. And then I have no plans after that. I don't always plan too far ahead. Sometimes it just depends where the wind takes me. My wife and I were talking about going back to Asia. I just saw a question if I've been to Macau recently.
Do you like Macau?
I was there in April. Was the last time I was there.
You like Macau?
Yeah, I love it there. I've been there. It's been a base for the last 3 years. It's awesome. It takes some getting used to Asia, but it's so cool. There's so many amazing places you could travel to right from there.
Do you speak Mandarin?
Badly. I could speak a little bit, but
Ruddock had just raised.
Very, very badly.
And this time he picks up king, so we get an open from Siegel. And this is, I always love dynamic. Okay, so
right.
just 3 hands ago, Siegel limped in, Ruddock raised out of the big blind.
And Siegel called, and
Siegel
Ruddock c-bet the flop. Yeah.
Now it looks like Ruddock 3-bets him.
Oh, wow.
And while Siegel does give up, if you're in Siegel's seat,
you
it
feel
might start
like
looking like, it might start feeling like this guy's picking on me.
Right. Absolutely. And I think Ruddock has to be aware of that versus Siegel in future hands, that Siegel might hang on post-flop whenever he flops something against Ruddock if he feels like he's starting to bully him around. That being said, Ruddock has been so tight otherwise, and he hasn't been picking on other players, that I think you're going to see that more from players against Blesnik, who's been picking on everybody, whereas Ruddock, just been those last 2 hands, he's still been pretty tight. But Siegel doesn't look like he's been adjusting to Blesnik or Ruddock's.
Right, but to your point, live poker, it's such an interesting animal where
any of you over me in shape.
The ebb and the flow of the game can change so quickly, even though it's like the sample size is very, very small.
Right.
But we've all been there where, a guy raises me out of the blind, then c-bets, gets me to fold, then he 3-bets me.
Yeah.
Even though it's only 2 or 3 hands, it's just like you start looking at the guy like, are you picking on me?
I know.
Does this guy pick it? Does he think I'm a spot?
There's so much more metagame going on in live poker than there is. And that's why, like you said, the game does change so quickly because people are reacting so much.
I'll bet a lot of my bets.
Appreciate all the comments on Twitter, guys, and of course in the chat room here on Twitch. If you're just joining us, we're playing 25-50, basically 25-50-100. Every hand has been straddled pretty much.
This is all I have left, so if you raise and I fold, you win that much.
Now those orange chips you kind of see, like kind of orange-green ones.
Siegel's kind of just getting run over here, kind of bleeding away slowly.
Those orange-green ones you see, those are $25 each. The black ones are $100 each. And if you see any purple ones, they're $500 each. You can see that Samantha Abernathy in seat number 6, relatively short right now. I mean, she's probably got, as long as we're playing 25-50-100, she's
got
basically
35
got
big blinds.
Less than that, 27.
Yeah. Oh, she's 2,700 now.
Yeah, 2,800.
Wow.
I bet on how much money Matt
That being said, she does play
over 10
pretty tight, so I don't think that it's going to go in lightly. I don't think she's going to just re-shove on people and stuff like that. I think she's waiting for premium hands, so I think she could hang on a lot with that stack and even find some good spots and take advantage of the fact that other people are raising and re-raising too lightly.
I get to play with you every week for a decade.
I lose a lot.
How to turn 20 million into 10 million.
Yeah, how to turn 20 million.
Take up poker.
I thought the joke was that you'd
I
get
don't
married.
know where you're getting your information, but I should tell you about the day I almost lost.
That's the other one?
Really?
I think that's how you turn 20 million into 2 million.
That's actually a very, the answer to that is the poker answer. It depends.
It's that easy, right?
That's how rich he is.
You must be really rich.
If you really
had some
want to
good
blow
lines
through
to my wife.
If you really want to blow through money, have a couple kids.
Yeah. Those ways she's better start.
I have 3.
Taking in the backyard. I think he's got millions.
Are they kicking him out?
Sure.
Come on, you can't let him hit and run.
She did tell me, why are you even playing poker? You can retire with all the money you have buried in the backyard.
For sure. I don't doubt it.
You keep playing live, there's going to be a lot of holes in the backyard.
You can't use the same jokes that you use on CC.
Those tournaments. Thank God for Claude.
We can make a bet who wins more money cash
350,
games
right?
in the year.
Yeah, 350.
But that will not be a bet. I'll bet you don't. You guys don't bet that.
Who will be the one to not bet it?
take out CC.
You can play with CC. He plays games you like.
He's not playing high.
He still has red chips.
Do they play?
Okay.
What'd you have? Did you show a deuce?
Obviously. What else could I have with a 6 when I raised?
Probably like another 6.
Did he say no grabbing the cards? Did he just say that?
He's done that 3
He just
times
said no grabbing the cards. You know what's funny? When I do it,
See, the
everybody
rules
gets all
don't
bent
apply
out of
to him.
shape, but then everybody else does it. And they're like, oh, it's okay. He just told you no doing that, right?
No, look at the
what did
last.
you have?
Ooh,
6
6s.
Just pocket 6? Yeah.
So Curbster and Oli asked me the same question. How do you label players with very limited information? Online, it's a lot tougher. I mean, that's really hard to do because you just don't have a big sample. You can't see them. And that's one of the things about live poker, that the more you play and the more you have experience, it's easier to kind of gather how people are thinking psychologically. I mean, their image has a huge impact on what you think about them, and just how they everything from how they stack their chips to how they act to their demeanor to their personality. I mean, all those things should be affecting how you're thinking about how people are acting. And I think if you're really paying attention to 1 or 2 hands will give you a lot of information about how people are likely to play. I mean, we talked about that earlier in the session. Just seeing whether people are likely to bluff you in a certain spot gives you a lot of information about how they think about the game and the world in general.
McCallie with the ladies. Siegel limps in with 6-3 of diamonds. We've seen that earlier on from him.
Siegel. And then he limps.
McCallie raises. Blesnik decides to call with Jack-10 suited.
It's a great hand to call with here. McCallie doesn't raise often, and so I think Blesnik is cognizant of that, and he doesn't want to 3-bet here and get blown out of the pot. He knows that McCallie probably has something, and he wants to try and win. Wow, this is a massive flop.
Massive flop for many players. Glance here with the nut flush draw. He's not very deep. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he got it in somehow. McCallie with top set. Blesnik open-ended. No backdoor spade possibility here, though. So McCallie bets 300. Glance calls. Blesnik calls.
Too small of a bet from McCallie here on this coordinated of a board.
Obviously, with top set, doesn't want to blow anybody out of the water. A 10 on the turn. Blesnik picks up a pair. Obviously, we can see that's not helping him at all. He's still open-ended. Glance still with the nut flush draw. And McCallie with top set.
The problem with top set here is that your opponents aren't likely to have value hands because you block all the queens. So the hands that they're calling with on the flop are much more likely to be draws, whether they're straight draws or flush draws. So it's much more important to protect with that hand than it is with like middle set with 9s where they could easily have a queen. When you have 3 queens, it's much more likely the action you're getting is from draws.
McCallie bets 1,000. Glance
you gotta
calls.
bomb it here.
Blesnik folds.
Yeah.
Blesnik realizing he probably won't get much value even if he hits a straight.
Right, the 10's a brutal card for him. Even though he picks up equity, he knows that he doesn't have any implied odds. And there's 2 flush draws now, so if he hits his straight, it has to be a non-club or non-heart.
Glance hits an ace.
You're worse than I am.
Obviously, McCallie still loves his hand.
He only beats a bluff here.
And McCallie bets 1,000.
But for 1,000, I think I'm calling here with an ace all day. I mean, I'm 100% sure I'm calling all day here. It's just way too small of a bet. You only have to be right 20% of the time.
Well, the problem is, I don't mind the call either.
Call.
The problem is, let's go back to that blocker bet earlier on that we saw from Jared Blesnik. It wouldn't shock me if McCallie was like putting a blocker bet out there with King Queen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Scared of the ace.
Yeah. It wouldn't even be like a terrible bet. So I would call with an ace all day. Wouldn't be upset about it. I think Matt played the hand perfectly. He got priced in the whole time. I mean, he had to call.
McCallie, by the way, started that hand with started the day with 9,000. He's now up to 12,800, so he's up almost $4,000. Deeb has quietly added $3,400 to his stack. And by the way, that was with he got Ace King against Ace Queen with Abernathy
and chopped it.
And chopped it up. So he could be up either $6,000 or $7,000 at this point.
He's been picking on Blesnik a little bit, even though he's had big hands. Been taking advantage of Blesnik being a little too loose. He's had big hands every time. Just been playing some solid poker, 3-betting in good spots on the button. I think with 2 queens there, though, you got to be betting close to the pot size on the turn against 2 opponents on that draw heavy on the turn. I mean, betting 1,000 there is asking to get stacked on the river. You could check raise all in. I just don't think your opponents are going to bet the turn enough because they have draws that are going to peel for free.
I think Sean did It's the best at the table.
Blesnik finally with a real hand. It's probably the best hand he's actually had all day.
Yeah, he had aces once, but you're right.
Right. Oh, you're right.
Hasn't had many big hands here, and he decides to raise. He's going to raise it pretty big, too. This is not a straddle pot. And Blesnik makes it 4. Blesnik just raised it 8x.
Yeah, and I think that he's trying to kind of balance his range a little bit, but I think most importantly, his thought process in this hand is that the big blind is loose and might get frustrated and call, and he wants to get it heads up with the big blind, and he doesn't really want to make it 150 and have Sean Deeb call on the button. That doesn't help him at all, nor does it help him if McKinney calls on the small blind. So it's so important to him to get this pot heads up that I think an 8x open here is not even that bad, given the table size.
And Dentale calls.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a bad play at all. I mean, I think it's actually probably the best play.
Well,
I might not do 8x, I might do 6x, but I think it's the best play.
He accomplishes exactly what he wants to accomplish. He gets the call just from Dentale.
Absolutely, that was his thinking, though, and that's why the play was so good. And he's playing really, really well.
The other guy that you told us on dinner. Matt, would you like to hear? Do you think the table would benefit from hearing his story and his perspective on his buddy's story that he told us on dinner the other day?
What's he talking
No,
about?
they won't understand it. He's so nuts about Winston.
I don't want to.
Well, you could tell Sean the story, and we could bet $1,000 on him if he agrees with me.
Sean,
Can I have?
you
Can I have
guys
a
think
bet too?
differently than I think.
You owe me $20 now, don't you?
We have a stand-up agreement.
No,
Didn't he pay it?
By the way,
I have a feeling I'm more likely to agree with. I would probably agree with Dentale.
I'll bet you too. I'll bet you also that
I
you
will
won't
bet.
agree
I
with
will
him.
bet against you as well.
Okay, how much?
I bet you 500.
500.
Can I have the bet too?
Yeah,
There's a bet going on.
I agree with him.
Oh, that's good.
The only one that will agree with you is Drew.
Listen, money
And
is.
I'll bet that he'll agree with
Money's
you.
more important to you guys. Me, it's more of a code stand-up type of a guy thing.
His buddy stacked him.
Oh, what do you agree with?
His buddy stacked him in a cash game.
No, it wasn't that. They're taking way out of context.
That's the short.
I was going to say that earlier. You know, I thought for 6 months he called a pair of twos. I was going to say that.
No, because he lost the
go
hand.
crazy on the thing.
All right, tell Sean the story, and we can
I don't want to talk
Sean,
about
you get him a
it.
free
I
roll.
don't wanna-
I'll gamble with you 500.
I heard Joe gave me the summary. I will not bet that.
It's not what he just said.
It is though. That's the.
Mike, you owe me $20. You had 2 guys.
DJ fucking
No, Scott.
Scott went against you. I give
No,
you
he didn't.
20
He
bucks.
was
Hey, you
kidding.
want a quarter here?
Whoa, that's
Hey, you just doubled his
tip
stack.
money, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
That's tip money.
You
For
gotta-
Alec and I are still here. If a big hand develops, we will we'll jump in. Otherwise, we'll let them tell a
All
story.
the odds.
I don't even come close to that.
Yeah, Matt has seen me
Not
stack
too
my
exciting of a
grandmother's
flop,
floor while my
given what
grandmother's-
everybody has.
It has nothing to do with it. It's just like it's so preposterous. It's funny.
But he's gonna make it as exaggerated towards his favor as.
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you the.
I'm well.
No,
tell you
let
the
Mike
story
tell
the
the
way
story
I
because it's even better if he tells it.
That's true.
It's not good if you tell me tell it.
No, I'm gonna tell it off camera.
What?
I'll tell him off camera.
No, I'm saying, but it's just better coming from Mike so you can see how. Like,
Yeah, I want to hear
that's
Mike's
true.
logic, like,
Like-
yeah, what he
like
expects.
how emotional he is about it. And
Like he's very emotional.
He's never
about it.
emotional.
Ace Mike.
Yeah, I know. Nice hand, brother.
All right, Mike, tell him the story. Tell Samantha might agree with you.
He
I don't
doesn't
know.
want to tell the story on
It's not on
camera.
camera, bro.
Yeah,
It's
he
not
already
cool.
said he doesn't want.
Well, don't say the
Listen.
person's name.
Yeah, we already said it.
Yeah,
we did say it.
It's
Well,
fine.
we'll erase that.
Hey, I put it in a
Well,
nutshell.
don't worry, because he didn't do anything
You-
wrong,
if
so there's
you-
nothing
if
to
you-
be upset.
And you do the right thing by him, you know, you let him stay in the room, you lend him money, you're friends with him, it's your boy, whatever. You
Yeah.
take care of him, you consider him a friend. And then you're in a game and you're playing, and obviously no one plays soft. You play your game, you're playing cards, you're here to take each other's money, but you won't take their heart out on the river. You know, you're not looking to stick it in. You're gonna
That's
be like,
not true.
No, you
know,
can't agree. But me, and you
Sean
only
is
two
the
would agree
last
with this.
person that would agree
There's
with
nobody
you.
else. He's definitely
Sean
not agree.
is
He's not
almost
agree. Matt certainly agree. I promise you
These
that.
kids will fucking stab you in the back
Yeah.
for $1.
Well, sometimes they don't understand.
No, it's not even about the
Sean
money.
is-
It's all about the enjoyment.
Sean
So,
is literally the last person in the world
Long
that would
story
agree
short,
with
the
you.
kid's running bad, he's getting destroyed, and I'm in a bunch of hands where I have big draws, and I fold it. It's whatever, I don't care. I'm up, he's
Because you
down.
don't make draws.
He folded to him.
So
is what he's trying to
rolls
say.
are reversed. He's up like 10K. I'm down like 5K. I'm getting reamed out, and he gets in a hand. He had 300 in. He has to put another 700 in, and he's like, "Give me the 300 back, and I'll fold." I'm like, "What are you nuts, bro? You know, I just expect him to fold." He's like, "I call," and gets there, makes a better 2K. That couldn't be a club. I'm like,
It
"Nice."
was a yellow game. He called with the draw.
So I was kind of pissed off.
The draw.
What?
Can you believe it?
Let me tell you a story back.
That was he also
Tell you a story.
anticipated short.
I can't listen. You guys like.
Sean has told me he wants to see me cry. He wants to make me
Boom.
cry.
Well, this is what you're waiting for. I gotta tell you, you got 2 short stacks. One player with a set, one player open-ended. You gotta imagine the chips are going in, right?
Like, I'll just give you your money back later. I was like, how would I know you're going to do that?
Get a bet from Siegel.
Oh, and a call in the middle. Yeah. So now, you know, Abernathy has so much more. Oh, she just called behind.
She
too.
just called.
Oh wow! Now she boated up. That's great. So now she could slow play further, because she has no fear of whatever card is going to come on the river. She can let him just keep barreling away.
Now you always talk about fear and protection. I want to go to the other side of it though. Isn't there fear that you might, if you don't raise, there might be a card that could come off that can kill your action?
Right. But in this spot, when you have a set, there's not really,
She has a full house.
like, if he's bluffing, he's going to bluff any card, and if he has a value betting hand, there's not that many scare cards.
Well,
maybe like an ace, but she had so little chips left here that she had to shove.
This is great. Deep's making fun of him. Why are you calling with 8 high?
Wait, hold on. How many times do you want to run?
See if he wants to run it twice.
Hold on, let's hear this.
Run it twice.
We put Michael Glass. Hey, by the way, hey, Matt, he's in the top 4 now for sure.
How many times? So we have to once or twice?
Yeah. Run it 10 times.
By the way, Siegel bet 1,100. Abernathy raised all in for like 2,300.
Yeah,
Siegel called, and Deep is just sitting there ripping him.
Yeah. What's it, like 13 cards on average? Still, like.
And Abernathy now up $950.
50-50.
Did they run it twice for fun? That would be great. I think they ran it twice. Just because. And he hit on the last one.
I wish you didn't tell him he was dead. Like, he thought he won. He pulled it out and then we're just looking at him like, this is
They're having fun at your expense. Huh?
Hey, Mike, you thought I couldn't solo because you're a better no limit player than me. You came and read the board.
At least Sean thought you had a good hand.
You'd realize how
He liked
close
your
you
hand,
are.
he said,
Yeah.
Close. I was close.
Dealer, can you change seats with him? He needs to be right in the center. Now do you believe he's 75?
Does anybody want a beverage? The waitress.
It wasn't you. Tea? They give me a coffee. Not you. It was Howie.
Does anyone want a drink?
Yeah.
I'd like a drink.
Yeah, you want to get some wine? Like wine?
Wine?
You want some wine?
Yeah.
Jared, wine?
White.
You have one?
Yeah.
No.
Can I get a beer?
You want white wine?
Yeah.
You have cake bread, white. Cake bread. Get us a bottle from Pino.
Somebody get her a
this is
Zinfandel.
a different bottle. Cake bread sellers.
She made that out 6
Sean,
Can I get a bottle beer?
behind now? Or
Yeah, so you're behind. Yeah.
What's your drink of choice?
One outer.
Okay, guys, I'm
behind.
On this hand?
Can I get a crown?
Yeah, you didn't look at your hand.
Probably red wine.
Red
I
wine?
don't drink that
Any
often.
particular red wine? You don't drink that often?
No, I maybe drink
Just when I thought you and I could be friends.
2-3 glasses a week.
He'll get 5 more for you.
Okay.
Fuck.
I had a period though where I would have held my own.
Should be under 100.
I like big reds, like Barolos and stuff. What about you? Beer? I remember you talking
I
about.
I drink. I am a drinker. Beer, wine. I like wine.
Who you are. You remember
I
this.
kind of got into Malbecs.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I went down to Mendoza and I kind of got into Malbecs.
You look like a rapper.
Let him borrow the chain. Let's see how it looks.
Sunglasses and the chain.
See
There's
how
no
the chain
fucking
looks like.
Merlot.
Come on, Joe.
No, I'm
Yo,
kidding.
that's a nice
Joe, that's a nice
Abernathy
try,
raising
buddy.
here.
Come on, Sam. Tell him he needs to try the chain.
Yeah.
Probably gonna get a
Come
call
on.
from Siegel with his hand.
No,
No,
put it on. Put it
Come on.
Oh. And try it.
you said this. You just told me to put on my chips. No, put it on. Ow. Ow. He says.
I like scotch too. If I'm gonna drink.
You like scotch?
Scotch
Okay.
on the rocks.
Oh, you gotta get loose photo. Don't throw it down.
Do some McKellen.
I'm sorry. You just
Always good.
disrespects the jewelry.
Hey, give it back to me.
998.
Wow, boom.
Yeah, Dentali flops the boat.
Oh, you're in a hand.
It's unfortunate nobody. Well, Siegel has a pair. Might get some action there.
I don't think Siegel's going
I
anywhere
mean,
yet.
he's never gonna go. I mean, it's a
Mike, it's on you.
pair. I mean, 2 pair on
Siegel's
this
got no
board
money.
is
He might
pretty
get-
good. Yeah, I
He
mean,
might get felted here.
and he might try and protect his 2 pair and get interesting.
Just so you know, he's like 40-something. We got 40.
Oh, he's gonna bet for sure when it gets checked. To
He
him.
already did, yeah.
There you
Bet
go.
400.
It's on you, Mike.
I'm the whitest person you know, Travell. Why are you trying to change that?
You gotta meet in the middle. buddy.
There's Nolan Dowell in the background. You can see him
I'm very white.
shaking everybody's hands.
Do you see my weight compared to your weight? I know. You're very white.
Check, check on the turn.
I was in the friggin' Rio all day.
Tough card to get action from.
That looks like a winner.
He tried to trap him, which
Does it?
I don't blame him.
Seagull, you need a 5 or a 10.
I think he's trying to trap the wrong player, though.
Yeah, that's a great observation. I think based on how he plays, he's so likely to just check it back and not even take a stab at it, even if he has a bluff. Whereas he might have called there with an 8 or something.
I mean, the funny thing is that he actually should be. I'm betting Jack 8 on the river. When it's checked to me again, I'm betting Jack 8 for value.
Yeah.
I mean,
you might have the best hand a lot. It's hard for your opponent to call with the worst, but it depends. Against Dentalia, might call with ace high or something. Who knows?
What was the run out? 9, 8, 8, 5, 7?
6. So there's a 1-card straight,
yeah,
which makes it really hard to value bet there.
Yeah.
He's done a great
But I mean, the river's a deuce.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can bet there, get called by 8, 7, 8, 6.
Yeah, or even ace high, maybe. I mean,
yeah, possibly.
Dentalia could, or even like pocket 5s, or something, you know.
Some weird hand, yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
Straddle here from Blesnik. Playing 25-50. We're in Turning Stone, New York. That's Verona. I actually went to college right around the corner from here.
Syracuse?
No, I went to Hamilton College.
Okay.
I saw the way you threw it. You know, you gave the lollipop.
Kind of my old stomping grounds. Haven't been back up here. Before I met my wife, I hadn't been back upstate New York in many years. And but my wife is from Saratoga area, so now I'm up here every summer.
Yeah, you were just telling me you guys
It's gorgeous. It's
awesome time on the lake this month. That sounds like a dream.
So nice. I've tweeted some pictures, not too many, but it's awesome. Get a raise here from Siegel. He's just getting punished.
Yeah, just too loose passive for this game.
He just bought out.
Ace queen or 2-10. So now, is this ethical that I give you my word? Coaxing me to fold?
Ruddock with a small 3-bet here.
We figured that out. You literally haven't played a pot with anyone in here.
Guess he just wants to get a heads up with Siegel, which he's going to do. But this is that dynamic we talked about earlier, where Ruddock and Siegel going back at it again. I think this is the 3rd time that Ruddock has raised or 3-bet Siegel, and even though he's had premium hands every time, Siegel might just get fed up, and if an ace comes, he might be losing a lot. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if Siegel is deep enough for Ruddock to put a C-bet out there and get away from it. Not sure. It looks like Siegel's really short.
Yeah, so I think Ruddock's going to have to bet call the flop here, probably.
I would imagine so.
I don't know how much Siegel has, but if he has something like 2 or 3K, then it's all going in.
I don't think he has that much.
Oh, okay.
Do you have 800?
Here, I'll give him 5,000. Here you go.
No, but because if it goes,
here you go. It's 5 grand.
Yeah. It's, okay.
Oh,
so Ruddock,
he's gonna call.
He's got less than 1,000. And obviously, you're not calling pre-flop with ace 3 diamonds to fold.
Right. And nor are you playing ace king this way to bet fold.
Wait a second though. It looks like he has some money behind.
No, he shoved all in.
Right, but he just got a bunch of chips. Those purple chips he got. So I'm wondering if he announced. I'm wondering if he announced more all in behind, more money backing, because he just got handed a bunch of cash. So I'm assuming
the graphic must have been wrong because it said all in here. So
right.
He just called the flop, and now Ruddock's going to have to check fold the turn here.
Obviously, the hand plays out much differently.
The 8's a brutal card too because he could have 7-8 or 8-9 or something like that. The 8 could have hit him.
Well, he's checking back 7-8 though.
Yeah, well, you would think he is, but he might decide to bet. I mean, you should be checking back 7-8, but sometimes people in this spot just bet for no reason.
Well, I mean, against different opponents, you might want to bet. I just don't think this guy, the guy we're looking at here, is betting 7-8 there.
Right.
From what we've seen.
From what we've seen, you're probably right.
I don't know.
That's where that history comes into play, where he might be getting frustrated and carried away against Ruddock there.
So anyway, so apparently, and this has not been confirmed to us yet, but apparently Mike Siegel had announced behind before that hand.
Okay.
He had lost that hand previously with the Jack 8. Probably said, "Okay, I got 3,000 more, 5,000 more behind." And the chips hadn't come yet.
I think Ruddock might not have known that because he probably would have 3-bet a lot bigger if he did. I mean, he went from 300 to 750, and if he knew that the guy was, 5-7K deep, he probably would have made it 1,000 out of position there because the guy's going to call regardless. Why would you make it so shallow?
Turning Stone's kind of special for Poker Night in America. I think this is where it all started.
Really?
Yeah, this is the 3rd year we've been here for Poker Night in America. It's a great spot. Like I said, I came to Poker Night. I came to Turning Stone many years ago, and it is turning into quite the resort. Golf course here, some good restaurants.
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah, it is a really nice casino. I went
Yeah.
down to the gym. They have a beautiful gym, nice restaurants, 7, 8 restaurants here.
I text my wife. My wife is still at the lake, and I just texted her when I got here, and I was like,
doing tip pots.
"Yeah, you should have come."
Yeah.
I was like, "You missed."
Yeah, my wife's here
you
too.
rank the table there.
Well, my wife didn't come, but she should have.
No, but I mean, she's here. She's like,
Then we can go to other
the
people
lake.
and
I don't
compare
blame you
lists.
though.
Yeah, you cannot get out of that.
If you think it's awkward, then everyone else is
Sucks
gonna.
without
Tell them to watch you.
I can follow.
When you watching the show.
6 different people text me and said, the place sucks without me.
Get one of those cardboard life-size.
The guy used to carry the De Niro. The guy from Fox was. You ever see that guy used to carry the De Niro?
A lot of different
He
styles.
looked like De Niro. He used to carry.
I know. Well, it is
Basement.
East Coast. I'm East
They
Coast
do pay for
basement.
playing with that.
Where's your girl, Sean?
If you guys just noticed that, by the way, live poker tells. You see how quickly McCallie like already had his hands in like pitch his cards and his hand in like pitching motion. And I think if you if you're playing live poker, it makes a lot of sense to pay attention to the players behind you, because a lot of times inexperienced players will give away a lot of what they are going to do. And obviously, you know, in a game of incomplete information, knowing the player behind you has no intention of playing helps.
Or just knowing that he doesn't have a deliberation between raising or calling. It's an automatic call. Changes so much about his range post-flop that he never is, you know, he doesn't even have something like ace-king. He would maybe deliberate with that type of hand. So you could just, you know.
Blesnik back to his attacking ways.
He just did it a second ago.
Picks up some dead money. By the way, Blesnik went to the same high school I went to.
Really?
Yeah, just randomly. I had no idea. Sit next to him at the World Series. We start talking. Went to the same exact high school I went
We're in
to.
a big pot. I'd really rather.
That's a small world.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll give him his 5. Hold on. Yeah, I'll give him yours. You want black? What do you want?
He's fine.
I mean, that wasn't right.
I think I can handle that. No, he's not work it out between us. Yeah, he's gonna. I'm gonna give his chips.
I'm very.
You're going to give me the ones on the table and what's left in your pocket.
Friends, but we have to play. We have to play hard.
Well, it ain't going anywhere for a while.
You know that, right? We have to play hard.
I don't play soft with anyone.
You see those cards?
I almost could if I was looking.
Play soft with everyone. You show them.
That's not playing soft.
Jared, would you win a big pot?
I'm buried in the game.
No, he just bought 10,000.
Oh, you reloaded? You reloaded?
Did you not know that?
No, I wasn't watching.
When you didn't know when
To be
DJ
honest with you,
tweeted
it's
you
pretty stupid of me
and
to reload the
CC'd
best
me,
player
he
on
was
the table
completely
and
aware.
take
Just in case you couldn't figure that out. He said,
Matt, are
he
you
said,
all in? What? Are you all in?
he said he wanted to get it in.
So by the way, Siegel did reload for $5,000. Blesnik reloaded for $10,000. So a little more money on the table now.
He said you started it with him if we're out.
No, he started.
Oh, he started with
Those of you who are wondering where the Poker Brad is, where Phil Helmuth is, very excited. Poker Night The Tour, a new TV show that will air in early 2016. Will feature myself and Maria Ho doing play-by-play, and Jason Somerville, who I'm a huge fan of, and Phil Helmuth.
That's
how you know he's not.
Yeah, he's insane.
As analysts. Deeb all in. I'm sorry, Glance all in for $12.75. Deeb considering it with $11.75.
Please raise, Sean.
He's in the straddle.
I hope Sean raised with 6 high.
Blesnik called. We do not see what his cards are.
Yeah, baby. Flat City.
1275.
Looks like Deeb wants to call this. He's in the straddle spot. And he does make the call. Pot now 38.75. That's top left corner of your screen.
Yeah, I like Matt. I like Matt.
I think Sean would read great.
I like Matt.
I'm rooting for Matt, but I would have to
I'm
let
rooting
you
for Matt, but I think
I'm rooting for Sean. Screw you guys.
There will be a side pot between Blesnik and Deeb. Main pot is 3,800.
Let this wait. Just wait 1 second.
Matt. Matt.
What's this guy? Deal.
So Blesnik just gambling here with 10-9. And flops top pair. Glance open-ended.
Why don't you just get up and walk around the table?
Well, he's not getting away from it now. He got this far.
Joe, I hope. Joe, you have female dealers coming in too, right? Eventually. Well, you're good, but you want to get.
D-bet's super small.
Keep up with the guys all day.
First time I met Joe, she was a dealer.
And I think this bet from Deeb is just wanting to get rid of overcards that have equity.
Yeah, and if you, in all fairness, I mean, if Blesnik had made the call with a hand like
King,
you
queen.
know, ace queen.
Yeah, there you go.
What do you do?
You got. I mean, it's tough. You almost got to fold.
Yeah, obviously Blesnik's not going to fold top pair though.
No, definitely not. I mean, not with this hand.
And now we've got a side pot. So the main pot's about 3,800. Side pot is 1,600. Turns the king of clubs. Glance still open-ended. 10-9 still the best hand. You can see the percentages next to the player's cards. Glance is the all-in player.
This is an interesting spot for D because betting has so much less value here because you're only trying to get the side pot to fold, even though you're going not to be winning the main pot a decent amount of the time, given your equity against Glance's hand.
Check, check.
So I think you're going to see check, check a lot.
And the river's a 9. Blesnik, river's 2 pair. Backdoor clubs get there. Obviously, nobody has that. By the way, notice how differently Blesnik plays this hand against Deeb, as opposed to earlier on against Dentali.
Right.
You know, he doesn't put that little blocker bet out there. He doesn't do, you know,
you just
weird
can't
sizing.
do those things against really talented players because they're just too smart. They're just going to figure it out. And so I think you got to give credit to Blesnik to know which types of players he's going to get involved with. And you saw earlier he folded twice to 3-bets against Deeb. Deeb had it both times, but just gives you an idea for what his overall strategy is at the table.
Glance just bought in for another $5,000. So we've got 3 players who have rebought here. It was Siegel bought in for an extra $5,000. Glance bought in for $5,000, and Blesnik has re-upped another $10,000. So an extra $20,000 on the table.
And for Blesnik, I don't really see strategically why, where that helps him. I guess
he actually made fun of himself. He bought in for $10,000 extra and then said, I don't know why I did that, since now the only player. Now
exactly.
He actually said, he goes, now the most talented player table can stack me.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think buying in, I mean, you might do it for other reasons, but just from a strategic standpoint, buying in deeper when the only player to which you're effectively playing deeper with is one of the best players at the table, and he's to your left. But credit, I mean, he made fun of himself there, but that's just sort of some of the things to consider when you guys are deciding what stack size to buy in with. In your own games. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate that.
Sometimes people will ask me, you know, hey, do I like the short buy? Do I like? Generally speaking, if I know the players I'm playing against and I think I have an edge, I'm gonna play real. I want to play as deep as I possibly can.
Absolutely.
You know, so
no question.
The normal game I play is 5-10 in Los Angeles, and I'll buy in for maybe $2,500, $3,000, somewhere in that range. So I've got a nice stack. The only time I will short buy is if I am in a casino that I don't normally play in, and I'm playing against players that I don't necessarily know. What I'll sometimes do is I'll buy short, and I will basically make a decision within about 45 minutes where I will either buy in for a lot more,
right,
or just get up and leave.
Right, and that's amazing.
Since you can't go south. But you know, if I sit down and I sit down at a table, let's say I'm going to Maryland Live or something like that, and I sit down and I don't know anybody at the table, I don't want to buy in for 4,000. I don't want to buy in for 400 bigs and be exposed against really, really good players who I don't know.
Especially, right.
But 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, if I've got to feel like I've got a good feel for the table, okay, I might put $2,000 more on the table or $3,000 more, and if I don't, well, then I'll just get up and go get some beers.
And I think that having that sort of removing yourself from the equation, removing the ego from the equation, and just trying to figure out what the best decision is an obstacle. And I think that's a great way to approach it. That's really smart, and that's winning poker right there. So much of it's aside from the strategy at the game, but it's what to do off the table before you get to the table, and that's part of that decision-making process that affects every decision you make going forward. So
ego is a huge deterrent to winning at the poker table, and with my apologies to women, sometimes it just becomes like who has the bigger penis contest,
right?
And it's just so stupid. And if you can remove that from the equation, it can really help your poker game.
Absolutely, and it's hard to do because sometimes there's so much to prove when you're getting 3-bet.
By the way, what's
3-betting you?
What is the? I'll throw this out to the Twitch audience. What is the? I don't even know. If it's for guys, it's like who has the bigger penis contest. For what's the equivalent for women?
Who can get the guy with the bigger penis? I don't know.
I don't know.
I
don't know where I'm going with that. But
yeah, what's like the comparative thing for women to like be more? Or the guys, it's like bigger car.
Or is there not? Is there not? That's what I mean. Is there not
car or whatever?
What's the female equivalent to the ego? thing. We get a raise here from Ruddock.
Probably the answer is women don't have that battle as much
Maybe
as
not.
men.
Maybe
That's the answer.
Maybe hey, it's better. Maybe that's a great if you're able to take the ego out of it, it's great. Straddle pot, Dentale is the straddle. Ruddock raises. D with ace king. We have seen him play ace king fairly aggressively pre-flop so far.
But against Ruddock, who's a really good player and tight, it's gonna be interesting to see what he decides to do here.
He decides just to call.
Right, and I think you got to give credit to Deeb here for
adjusting.
But I still think it might be a 3-bet here. I think 3-betting is probably a little better.
Actually, he did 3-bet.
Okay, I was going to say, I was like, ah.
He does 3-bet to 1100.
I mean, the guy, you're not even 100 big blinds deep. The guy could be tight, but you still have ace king. And he has been 3-betting so much before that even though this player is tight, Deeb knows that this player might decide to rep a big hand here, and I don't think Deeb's ever going to fold. And he knows that that's part of his strategy. So
Ruddock does give it up, and Deeb picks that up.
He also did raise in late position after a limper, so his raising range is a lot wider there. He's going to be trying to exploit weakness quite a bit. That being said, I think that particular spot was not a spot where Deeb would be 3-betting light. Whereas the other spots against Blesnik, I think he would have 3-bet almost regardless of his cards.
Button slides in front of Deeb. Once again, those black chips you see, those are 100. The purple ones are 500. Kind of the orangish chips, those are $25 each. This is Poker Night in America. We are live from Turning Stone in Verona, New York, upstate New York. If you've never been up here, it is beautiful in the summertime.
Oh yeah,
just hundreds of lakes. I went to Lake George yesterday.
Yeah, I mean you lost the max. But
hung out there.
I didn't lose the max. Got a 3-bet.
Very beautiful part of the country. Been to Saratoga already this summer.
This is spooky shit, isn't it? Like,
Awesome.
I'm
actually pretty excited. There's a rumor, not confirmed yet, but they're trying to persuade Triple Crown winner American Pharaoh to race at Saratoga.
Oh wow!
I would love to see that.
So Blesnik punishing weakness again. Has the best hand this time, but I think that the hand is inconsequential. It's the position that he's playing here that's the most important. But McKean is cognizant of that, and he's seen this happen time and time again. He also does have a playable hand, so he's 3-betting with an appropriate range here. But it's like we said, we were wondering earlier, what are Deeb and McKean going to do about Blesnik being too loose? And we're starting to see McKean start to take advantage of Blesnik being too loose here. And Blesnik just keeps giving it up to these good players because he doesn't want to get involved with them. They are not his target. And so I think look to Deeb and McKean to keep taking advantage of Blesnik as long as Blesnik doesn't react and possibly 4-bet them. So should be interesting to watch going forward as well.
I had ace-9. I'm not going to lie to you.
Suited?
What?
Suited ace-9?
No, I'm not going to lie to you. I had ace-9 offsuit.
I love how poker players have to actually think about that.
No, I had ace-9
I
offsuit.
believe
no, he was thinking about whether to tell you the truth.
That's what I'm talking about.
He was thinking about whether to tell you the truth.
That's what I was doing.
I'm not ashamed of it. I had ace-9 offsuit.
Don't ever be ashamed of who you are, Jared.
Does anyone want to bet if you had the best hand or not?
Yeah, you could be like the post. What did you do, Matt?
Straddle. In the dark.
9-10 off.
Fold. I'm just so afraid of your straddles.
He's afraid of your straddle.
The dark.
I'm just afraid of his face. So, nice hand, Sean.
Showing deep.
300.
Sean's like, I have no hands. I got to do something. Let me raise 300 and cut off.
Watch Mikey fold his small blind after the speech.
Not shit.
No, really? I can't believe it, guys. Mike didn't have a hand here.
Look at this three-way pot growing.
I'd have a lot of my bad play for guys in this game.
Deeb's the raiser. Flops 9 high, 2 spades out there. Big flop for Siegel. Siegel with a gut shot, straight flush draw.
I mean, I'm going to vote for anyone but Sean, but that doesn't...
Does not have the best hand right now, but if Siegel plays this the right way, you imagine he'll figure out a way to win the hand. At least he should. And sure enough, Siegel bet 600.
Mikey!
He had it.
Wow, look at that hand, Mikey. Button's good.
Nice hand.
And Siegel takes it.
No?
No, it's only under the gun. Kind of silly.
See, like when you see that hand in hold with ace-3 spades, you probably run because stud has
Siegel decides to lead out on that pop, by the way.
Yeah.
Opting not to go for the check raise. Just decided to lead out. Ended up getting no money post-flop, but did take it down with what actually was the third best hand.
Would you take?
Wait, you got to Straddle twice in a row.
Shows the power of aggression.
Alec Torelli, David Tuckman here. If you want to follow Alec, you can at Alec Torelli on Twitter. He's also got a YouTube channel where he reviews hands.
It's a cross.
So you can check that out over at YouTube. Some cool stuff over there. You can follow me at Tuck on Sports. I don't do anything on YouTube. Well, nothing you'd want to watch, at least.
They got their own
But an awesome Twitter feed from what I've seen. Some cool updates.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you like pictures of my kid and stuff like that, yeah. Or beer. It's usually beer or my kid.
Some outdoor stuff.
Some outdoor stuff, yeah.
Just about tree fitting.
Glance in the straddle. Ruddock raising.
Usually you represent some.
He's wearing a shirt, pants, and shoes.
No, usually you wear like a whole.
Why keep you folding out of turn?
Poker tracker, like for
Sorry, man. I can't see that you have cards, so I'm sitting back and I can't.
You stay as comfortable as you want, okay?
Oh, that's your family business?
I gotta hold this head up, you know. I gotta hold this big head up.
So do I. I feel your pain.
Joe McKeon just looks so comfortable, and you can see it. You said it earlier. The confidence, how well he's been playing, how well he's been running, obviously. Chip leader at the November 9. He's at the top of the world right now, and you can see it. He's just so comfortable at this table.
A lot of playing winning poker isn't necessarily knowing the right decision to make. It's actually being able to translate that into action and going with your reads. And a lot of times that takes confidence to execute.
I mean, I've been hearing people throw the term table presence around.
Right.
And people saying, like, you know, Phil Hellmuth has such a great table presence. He just owns the table when he sits there. Dan Coleman, for example.
Dan Coleman, great.
Just owns the table. He just and you can see it here. Ruddock catches up to Glance and passes him as he makes Broadway in the river.
I'm not big on the ups.
And Glance quickly gives it up. But you can see that in Joe right now. Joe just chatting up the table, having fun, throwing some bets out there.
I think it's intimidating to a lot of people, and they play worse against you because of it. They play ABC poker against you, and if you're aware of that, you have such a dominating position. I mean, Ivy has that better than anyone.
No. My parents got me to school without lockers. They were looking out for me.
Cubby hole. Just cubby hole.
The cubby hole. I couldn't fit in the cubby hole.
Your head couldn't even fit in the cubby hole.
No, I was taller when I was younger.
I was one of the bigger kids. I'm like, I grew faster.
You guys want to let me restraddle or no? For 200?
You can do whatever you want.
You guys want to make? Is that okay?
You can do whatever you want.
All right.
It's not gonna be live, but
No, is it not live?
Someone's gonna raise anyway.
Forget it.
Can't be live.
Come on. No, I'm not doing it.
I'll
do it. No,
I didn't do it.
no one's gonna limp into you.
Yeah.
That's what you think.
no. If it's not live, I'm not going to do
But
it.
no one's gonna limp into it.
So they're trying to decide if they can do a restraddle. I don't know.
Fold.
I'm fairly certain that's not a Poker Night in America has no problem with a restraddle, a live restraddle that is, but it might be specific to this casino. You've got to realize that no matter where we go, whether it be Pittsburgh or whether we go Florida or whether we're here in New York, we are we have to go by whatever the gaming regulations that are present in that particular state and in that casino. So there's a good chance that Turning Stone and New York do not allow a live restraddle or a straddle on the button.
Also, with these stack sizes, it would be tough for the game because it would make the game so shallow.
Yeah, let's do it. Gamble, gamble. No gamble, no future.
Bones is a good kid. I like Bones.
Good kid. He's here. He's a great guy.
Great guy. I like him. He's always happy.
All right, just the 6 of us?
5 of us. Check. Check.
Yeah, and obviously, as we saw just a couple of weeks ago, obviously, when they were in Vegas, there we saw not only a straddle, a restraddle, but a third and fourth straddle, and they were all live. So clearly, we have no problem with it here at Poker Night in America, but like I said, we do have to play by the rules of whatever state we are in and whatever casino we are in.
You gotta give him the option. It's only fair.
Once again, Alec Torelli joining me. We'll be here all day.
We will. 7 more hours.
600.
Got breaks in there, too.
Yeah.
There should be a tape break sometime in the next hour.
I had that beat.
Ruddick bets. Figures, hey, nobody else wants the pot. I'll take it down.
If he would have bet 200 less, I was going to bluff him, but he bet just enough. Right.
Take a look at the chip counts here. So Deeb, who came into the action with 20,000, is up about $1,200 in a day. I think Dentale is actually our big winner, as he came into the, with 5,000. So he's up 5,400. Glance, by the way, bought in for 5,000, but he's rebought, so he's now in the game for 10,000. I want to say he's probably our biggest loser as of now.
Right.
Blesnik basically even. Not a ton of movement, but we're only about an hour and a half into play.
Night in America. Right, Matt? So far, I'm having a blast, and I'm up.
2 all-ins so far.
Weird correlation.
You're a legend, sir. You're a legend.
Who's impressed you the most so far?
Blesnik.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
I mean, I think he's the only one that's actually really playing
the players.
Yeah, he's actually really playing things other than his cards. And I think that's going to gain you the most edge. I think he's playing the players in the situation much more, and he's adjusted perfectly to the times when he's faced resistance against the better players at the table, and he's just been running over the weaker ones, and it's been working every time.
Okay, I'll ask you a different question then.
Sure.
It's a similar question, but definitely different. If you had $10,000 in your pocket and you had to back one of these players, who would it be? In this game, in this exact where they are sitting.
Ace-Jack is no good,
Where they're sitting?
Yep.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think it is different than the former question. Because the most impressing player might not have the highest DV.
Yes, it is. It's 300 more. It's a re-raise.
Yeah, he made it 700, didn't he? It's got to be 1,100.
Yeah.
With the positions, I'm taking McKinney.
McKeon.
McKeon, yeah.
It's 400 more.
Because you made it 3, you made it 7,
It's fine.
you made it 11.
He's never played big bet in his life.
That's a great question. So what about you?
What
What about you for both? Who's impressed you the most, and who?
I'm similarly impressed by Blesnik. I think any time that you use all the weapons that are at your disposal, Siegel turns, trip 8s, Deeb still with the straight draw. He's got the gut shot. You can see he's got a 10% chance of winning this pot. He needs a 9.
By the way, I just want to. I'm surprised that Matt Glantz was the first person here that got felted.
I love the fact that he's using that. I love the fact that he's playing players.
Yeah,
he's attacking weakness. That said, I mean, I think Deeb has played very, very well.
That was the other player.
He's quietly adding chips to his stack, not really making any mistakes, picking spots. And Joe McKeon, I mean, those 3 players in particular have impressed me the most. If I had to back one of the players,
But you always had chips in Matt Glantz did, I think.
I got it in with the best.
I'm always drinking the Deeb Kool-Aid. It's hard for me to go against that guy.
I totally agree. I only picked McKeon just because he's in position on.
Well, he's got position on Deeb, exactly.
Yeah, I think that just gives him a big advantage because he has position on Blesnik, so he could wait to see what Deeb does against Blesnik.
Yeah.
And then take advantage of that. But if the positions are reversed, I'm taking Deeb.
Yeah,
so
you know what?
It just goes to show you how important position is and how good both of these players are.
I'll put it this way: I'd happily have a piece of either one.
Oh, there you go, for sure.
Who was a head pre-flop? Who was a favorite pre-flop?
Yeah, I'd pay markup for both their actions. In this game.
I'm not paying markup for anybody, but
well, out of principle maybe, but from EV perspective, yeah, probably gonna do.
Right.
So I play off like a donkey. I told him.
Oh, look at that! Pay off like a donkey.
Show him one card.
How could I have caught up?
Let's hear it.
I let you catch up. Huh?
Show him one card.
Siegel's been so tight here that
Always helps.
it's hard to make a hero call on this board.
Oh, baby. That is confusing, actually. I did not expect to see that card.
Wow. I already thought of so quick. I know exactly what he has, like, instantly.
Can Dentale tell him?
You know I have a 5 in all?
I'm not going to say it until after the show makes his decision.
Can Dentale tell him what you have?
Instantly.
You let Dentale help him.
I don't have aces.
I'm not,
You don't have aces.
You do not have aces.
I do not have aces.
Wow,
I will not lie.
I have 2 clubs in the hole, so that changes.
He's never bluffing with
I
this
don't have
action, though.
aces
That's the
if
thing.
I have
That's
aces.
such a bad show, though, Mikey. God forbid if you had something
Wait, you think Mikey's ever made a good show in his life?
Horrible show.
Look, just paid off like
You know
a
what the
donkey
secret
with no
is?
pair.
That's
Let's
good.
go.
The hand you have right now is good.
No pair. I can't call you no pair. You have ace high.
I know we can see the cards, and I try not to be results oriented because I know it's hard sometimes. We see it, we know exactly what he has. That said, you and I have played a lot of live poker in our lives.
It's just not a spot where
But not even just a spot.
his
How
demeanor.
comfortable is he?
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's
for a guy who's not a pro. Siegel's not a pro. We see this.
Right.
For a guy who's not a pro, he's just way too comfortable to have nothing.
And that's what one of the people on Twitch alluded to earlier. How do you get these live tells? It's just a spot where he's never going to show a weak card and encourage a call.
He just showed an ace.
Yeah, a card that doesn't have any connection to the board. And when Deeb's hemming and hawing, he's so confident, he's trying to talk him into a call. It just seems like that so much.
Yo, what about what he's saying after the show? Yeah, that's getting a little sicker right now.
Come on, Doctor, just pay it off.
Game's really easy from the booth, though, isn't it? Where we can see the cards.
Although I have to say, if Deeb didn't, Hollywood, like if Deeb didn't make it obvious he didn't have something, and this guy showed his cards, Deeb could have shoved here, knowing that the best hand he could have is trips. So I think that's would have been a mistake if Deeb didn't make it obvious he didn't have a strong hand.
So just show the other card.
All right, we need a clock.
I don't think we need a clock.
We need a clock.
Why?
Jill, we need a clock.
Clock. This is ridiculous.
99.9%.
$1,200. You're a multi-millionaire.
What do we think? Does he call or not?
No.
He's going like this.
I don't think he calls.
Right?
Yeah.
No, Jill's coming.
The bet is really small relative to the pot, though. That's the thing. He's getting a great price. Usually, in my experience, when people talk this much, and him and Hall over a decision verbally, and they talk at the table, they don't end up calling.
Ace 8 all day long. Ace 8 all day long. Ace 8 all day long.
Ace queen or queen. Ace queen.
Ace queen probably. I had an 8. That's the only hand he has is ace 8.
I had an 8.
That's the other
I checked the turn and let him try to get there with the jack.
Yo, the sick thing about it is when he shows the ace, you're all in, he can't call.
He's calling.
Good fold.
I'm not the best player in the world, but I will say if I'm Sean and he shows.
How do we get that waitress up here?
I know, right?
Like, give him money for me.
That would be brilliant.
He's not folding 3/8.
I brought a tea and 2 waters. Marty, my website's being redone. It'll be up later today. In the meantime,
it's being redone today. Wow, it's being redone. It's gonna be later up today.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty.
Well, I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 days.
Oh, okay. I was like just randomly, like yeah.
No, it just happened. Marty was asking, but thanks for your patience on that, man. In the meantime, social media or YouTube, get in touch with me there. But hang tight. It's gonna be new redesign. I'm excited for it.
Does anybody want a Dunkin' Donut?
I'd love a
Good
Dunkin'
fold
Donut.
by Deeb. You'd love a what?
Somebody asked if anybody wanted a Dunkin' Donut. Dude, who doesn't like Dunkin' Donuts?
There's a whole table of them down there.
Anyone else want
I'm pretty sure there's a whole table of food on that.
Is that a straddle or is that?
She's so happy.
Deeb opens to 150. No straddle here.
No, she was for
First standard size open with 25-50 blinds we've seen in a long time.
I think Abernathy is the one player at the table not straddling. And frankly, I got to tell you, if you can get away with it and be the only player not straddling, good for you.
Still have the whole table straddle, yeah, why not?
And still get action.
That also says a lot about her image. Like another person asked, how do you define people's images and stuff? This is an example where you see the whole table straddling and gambling. She's the one person not doing it. What does that tell you about how she's likely to think about the game in general? So you should be using that information to help make big decisions later on about the types of players you're playing against.
Deeb with top pair. Very dry board. Kind of one of those way ahead, way behind situations.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Flex fit are perfect. I love it. I have a small head.
Blesnick's going to call, and this is a question I have for you.
Sure.
Against a really good player who opened in early position on a board this dry, when you've got no backdoor draw whatsoever, how likely are you to call here? Now, I know 9-8 is going to be the best hand some of the time. Because I know Deeb is betting king-queen, and the problem is, though, you're playing against a player who's going to put you a lot of pressure on you. How often are you just folding it, and how often are you defending?
Yeah.
Against a player like Deeb.
I think against Deeb, it's not. It's the real question you have to ask yourself is how does he react on the turn? So, what percentage of the time is he going to bluff me, and what percentage of the time is he going to have a balanced checking range on the turn? So, if he checks the turn, a lot of players here will just check fold 100% of the time. So I'll call the flop, and I'll be betting the turn to get him to check fold kings or something like that. But so many players like Deeb are capable of checking with strong hands on the turn, which makes calling here on the flop so much more difficult to show a profit, especially with someone behind you. I might peel once. I would probably, the defining factor for me would be, do I have a backdoor draw? And I think you just need that extra equity to justify calling.
Right, I mean, it was ace-8 and deuce with no heart.
You need a 6 on there or a heart on there to justify calling so that you can make a premium hand. Especially if the ace is a heart, you block your opponent from having the nut flush draw and getting stacked on the river if the nut flush backdoor comes. And I think that's important.
I had a friend, we were playing
But when the decisions are really close, you need that extra oomph, you know, and that's what it is for me.
Something that I talked to a lot of the pros this summer about was not just the absolute value of a hand,
right,
but the playability of the hand, specifically against certain opponents and in certain spots, where I'm like, yeah, 9-8 of hearts there is going to be the best hand when Deeb c-bets enough of the time to probably make a call profitable if there was no more bets ever going in.
And if he played how he's supposed to play on the turn in the river, but the fact that he's such a tough opponent, he's capable of barreling so many cards, you're playing a guessing game for a lot of big blinds on the turn and river. Sometimes easier just to fold, even though you know you have the best hand a decent amount of the time. And that's why what we, coming full circle, what we talked about earlier, being able to be capable of bluffing in certain spots makes you so much more of a threat that your flop c-bets can get through in spots where they otherwise won't. If your opponents know you're just going to give up on the turn and the river, you're too easy to play against.
9-8s.
Great observation.
9s and 8s are cheap. Ruddock's in great spot. He's got the blockers for the straights.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And
could have a firework flop though with 10s and 9s and 8s on here. I mean,
yeah, no, for sure.
There's some interesting flops.
1-10 was dead and 1-7's dead. I saw that.
Well, there I didn't see that.
Blesnik, of course, being the player to raise here with just complete garbage. I don't think Ruddock's going anywhere though. Deeb lets the 9-8 go.
And notice how Blesnik has selective aggression. He raises in spots where Ruddock's range is capped. Ruddock can never have a huge hand because he flat called behind a raise, unless he was trapping Blesnik.
Yeah, I was going to say, to play devil's advocate.
With Ruddock's hand here, I would flat call with 2 aces here if I'm Ruddock a lot of the time. Like a lot of the time I would flat call here. I might not even have a 3-betting range if I'm Resnick.
I was going to say, I was about to play devil's advocate and say, like, you say Ruddock's range is capped, but I think with specifically Blesnik behind him.
Blesnik thinks his range is capped, I think.
Okay.
More than his range probably is actually capped. But if Ruddock is flat calling here with big hands, it shows a lot of, I think, depth of understanding about how the game is actually being played in this spot. And if he's calling with 2 10s here, he's insane to fold to a 3-bet. I think like folding is just would be a very bad play.
Dentale calls. That brings in Ruddock as well.
Changes Ruddock's decision, obviously.
Now this is an interesting spot because this is the first time that Blesnik has put in that 3-bet. Oh wow, sorry. Ruddock now.
I would probably jam if I'm Ruddock here.
He does.
I might call too.
He actually 4-bet.
Yeah.
So Dentale just called. Ruddock now 4-bets. Blesnik quickly gets rid of it. Back over to Dentale, and you imagine he folds as well.
Yeah, it depends how big the size is. With this size, probably out of position. The thing about 10s is that you're not necessarily like loving your hand, but you just can't. The question is, you have 2 difficult decisions. You could either call or raise, and it's so much harder to win the pot when you call. I mean, because you're up against 4 cards, so you can't really effectively trap Blesnik post flop now that Dentale's in the pot.
Well, Dentale's range is capped. When he raises pre, there's a call and then a 3-bet, and then he just calls the 3-bet.
Yeah.
We can probably dismiss aces and kings from his range.
For sure, because he's a type player, he'd probably shove with those. But that being said, he could still have 2 overs on your 10s, and Blesnik could have a lot of equity with anything against 2 10s. So you just can't afford to see a flop because you just don't know where you're at, and you don't want to let him in for free.
He said to me not to say anything.
You didn't have the worst hand, by the way. I saw Mike.
How much you down right now?
What?
How much you down right now?
He's even.
7,000? 7,000. Keep going. You're going to be down more.
It's his last 10,000.
Great play by Ruddock.
You just got Mike Dentale. How's that feel?
weird thing is,
so bad. You have no clue about what's going on in the game besides just like clicking buttons, right?
no.
This
What
is
do
easy.
you think he just flatted too?
Do you think he's a clown?
How often have you been to like the Northeast Coast?
It's so horrible, this game.
Well, there you go. You got this in the
He's like one of the most famous great hand to see a flop.
Yeah, you couldn't even let him see a flop. You had to cost him money.
It's so bad.
Some of us are normal.
It's good he raised.
He's like, he's half as bad outside of it.
Really bad.
But he's still
Good
pretty
job,
good.
Ace Jack.
It's much worse.
Oh, really? They want a photo
Of course
of
he had a
us.
bad
My
hand.
backers will not approve of my play there.
Oh, do your hair.
My backer will not approve of that play.
They want to get a picture of Sean as a girl. So.
You think I'm gonna miss every flop? You're gonna get buried. Don't worry. One I'm gonna hit, and then you just bet until I stack you, and then you're gonna be down another 10 grand.
If I smile, my wife gets mad. She gets worried.
Oh my God! You have to shut the TV down.
So I threatened to kill
If they
people.
lose 2 hands, it's over.
Oh, that's happened?
3-bet. Look, I'm
Guys, that
cool.
happened a few weeks ago?
Mike, I saw your hand. I would have 3-bet against you too.
I'm not
You have a great image, by the way.
Messing with you. I'm trying to get you going.
You have a good image.
not
Because
seeing
everyone's going to fold to you. I fold.
What'd you have that? I'm gonna see it on the live stream. But
Advanced.
10.
So another battle
Mike
with
had
Siegel and
200,
Resnick here.
They put 4 unders between them.
I had 8, 9 of diamonds.
I had 8, 9 of clubs that hand.
Just
500?
I had 8, 9 of diamonds.
So then I actually had him beat.
Interesting, Blesnick would say that to Ruddock. He said, you have a great image.
5-card game.
Everybody just folds to you. I'm going to fold here, too. Sure enough, Ruddock raises to $500. Abernathy calls. Even though she doubled up, she's still not that deep.
And I don't like this call out of position here. I mean,
Siegel calls as well.
Out of
Flop
position
comes out
against a-
King 7 deuce.
You're the only one.
out of position against a great player with a hand that doesn't play well post flop is not a good spot to be. And I think that's why,
He's like a 1.5.
going back to being really impressed by Lesnick, is he understands deeply the difference between positions and players and then what hands play well in different spots, not just the absolute value of his hand. And that's really where money is won in poker.
For this game.
Really dry board. Ruddock bets 1,100. That's a pretty big bet, considering what a dry board it is. Turns a king, and now Siegel's going to bet, it looks like.
Siegel is better, actually, yeah. That's not saying anything, but yes, he is better.
No, I think that's saying a lot.
How much did he bet?
Unless I'm missing
I
something.
don't know, but if he's betting, if you're Ruddock, you just love life.
Yeah, I think I'm just
I hear what you say.
always calling here.
You can say it. You don't
Well, yeah,
have
it's
to
like if
say
your
it.
opponent's got a king, you can get all your money. You can get all his money on the river.
gonna go
and
all
if
in
he's
on the river.
bluffing,
Yeah.
give him enough rope to hang himself.
No,
There
you're
you go.
supposed to say that out loud.
I mean, the board is so dry. I mean, unless he picked up some sort of club draw, but I mean,
Can't really have a club draw. It
ace
also
deuce
makes
of clubs.
Also makes you a lot tougher to play against when you flat call here, because if you raise, you sort of divide your range between kings and bluffs, and it's just doesn't make sense as much as calling. Makes your hand look a little,
You can't snap ball.
could have a weaker hand.
If I can't go all in, I should fold.
That's true.
Once again, Alec Torelli, David Tuckman in the booth here for Poker Night in America. We're at Turning Stone. And Ruddock, who we're looking at right now in the 888 shirt, that's Siegel. Siegel led out for 1,900 on the turn with his 2 pair. He's drawing dead.
Why did it take so long?
Yeah, I don't like the shove at all. Because you're always getting called by a king, yes.
But you're always stacking a king on the river, so it doesn't make any sense to me. I think that's
both cards in this situation.
The thing, though, that he is thinking probably is that Siegel bet called it off with 7-8 against her, so he's probably thinking Siegel's going to call with...
Well, he bet called up with 7-8 because he had a straight draw and he was getting like 5-1.
But I'm just trying to think about what he's thinking, but I think this is a mistake here.
I mean, this board is so dry.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Siegel specifically has ace deuce of clubs.
Yeah. Right, exactly, that one hand.
It's just like, if he's got a king, you're going to get his money in on the river.
Otherwise,
if he's got a set, you've already you're obviously the money's going in, but you're behind.
Yeah, he might have 2 outs with like pocket 8s, but I mean, I don't know. I just take that chance. Yeah.
So you live in Vegas. Yeah. You love like a lightweight.
But if he didn't,
He might just go all in on the river with 7-8, not knowing what to do, and just make a mistake. It doesn't make any sense, but he's the type of player that it doesn't make any sense to bet 7-8 on the turn either. So he might just go all in with that on the river, trying to get you to fold 2 10s or something. Who knows what he's going to do?
I mean, I guess in a theoretical world where you think he always has a pocket pair, and he's never bluffing or paying off on the river, well, then you might as well just end the hand and not give him a 42 out.
Yeah.
But we don't live in that world.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't always have those hands, so.
That might last me all night, guys.
I just think you got to call.
He played it perfectly. He bet the pot. Done out. He's getting
I mean, I kind of wonder, I don't know if Siegel has it in him, But I kind of wonder
He's playing against the one guy on this
if Ruddock kind of painfully calls that, and I don't want him to act. I'm just saying, but if he calls, if I'm in Siegel's spot, I might think he's got like 210.
Exactly, that's why I said it.
And I might actually bluff. And maybe I turn, I mean, I don't know if I do or not, but does Siegel ever say, wow, do I turn my 2-pair into a bluff now to try to get him to fold 7s?
Exactly.
I mean, to try to get him to fold 10s.
Yeah, rep a king. I mean, or the club comes on the river and he tries to bluff it, you know, like, who knows? But you got to kind of let him hang himself, I feel like.
You were hoping he had a king, too.
Yeah, Chris.
Bunch of garbage out there right now. Pot $600. And, well, McKeon has now turned an open-ended straight draw. Glance has turned to pair.
It'll be on the live stream, I'm not going to lie.
450.
I'm always like that.
Really?
Yeah, my left hand always shakes. It's a family thing. I usually use that to throw people off when I used to play because I can just shake my hand.
Oh, man.
Get a conversation. Don't be so shy.
River's a 7 of clubs. Doesn't change anything. Glance still with the best of it. And McKeon says I have 5 high. That's probably not going to be good.
Probably not.
Yeah.
The nut low is tough to win.
No, he turned a 4. He played it great.
Poker cards.
He got the setup card because it gave me the open ender.
You had.
I had the 5 3 hearts.
Maybe you did have to explain to him what you had when you said 5 high.
Oh yeah. Well, I had to explain to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
obviously,
Maybe you
but
did. I had you beat.
I couldn't win that hand.
Ask him if he knows what 2 cards he has.
Do you know what 2 cards I have?
It's kind of funny. Not a lot of movement.
He didn't answer.
Right.
Why?
I mean, the one person who's missing from this equation right now is Dentali. We only had 8 players up there. Dentali, I believe, is our big winner. I think he's up 5,000.
He's up 5,000. He doubled up with a straight against McKenny.
And everybody else is like, you know, down 3, up 500, up 600.
Right, which relative to the game, is, especially with the straddles, is nothing.
I mean, in a game of this size, if you win or lose $1,000 or less, it's not it's like basically breaking even. Yeah. Glance raised to 200. So Glance has consistently made it 4x pre with his 4-6 suited and his ace-kings.
I think that's not bad with his image and given how tight he's been and his stack size. I mean, also depends who's in the blind, but with a loose defender in the blind who defended with 5-4 offsuit to his 8x open, you know, it's not bad.
There you go. Nice spot to be a man.
Blesnik is going to 3-bet this.
He's getting 4-bet 100%.
There's the 4-bet shove. Don't know if Glance is all in for 3,900. This is a pretty easy fold for Blesnik.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's unreal, bro. His fold.
Do we get to see this one, man? I want to show that I've been raising real hand.
Oh, yeah, you have a great hand, Mike. You played that hand perfect.
So what? Let me see.
So going back to what I said earlier, I was saying, okay, strategy against a guy like Blesnik who's playing it, who's putting people into tough decisions. You basically let him off the hook. When you 4-bet with ace-king there, he just folds and the hand moves on.
Yeah.
But when you don't have a hand like ace-king or 10s plus or something like that, you end up folding and he ends up winning.
If you're going to play that way, yeah, that's a great strategy.
Would you ever, I mean, would you ever be an advocate for just flatting with ace-king then and kind of, you know, in the same way, give Blesnik a little, you know, don't let him off the hook?
Maybe. Or maybe 4-betting smaller, if you're capable of doing that on a bluff, maybe he try and convince him to shove light.
Okay.
You know, you can make it 1,100 or something, and maybe he gets carried away. Or maybe, you know, you have to just open up a little bit and not be only willing to put it in with premium hands when he keeps 3-betting you.
I mean, I'd love to see Glance. I'd love to see either Glance or Siegel or McCallie. I'd love to see one of those guys 4-bet Blesnik with like 6-8 suited.
Right.
Something like that.
Because Blesnik's going to give him credit the first time they do it. But the sad thing is, I think that it's not going to happen, which is going to let Blesnik continue to keep 3-betting this strategy. And even though he's incurring a bit of variance, he's winning a lot of expectation.
Glance raises to 300. This is a straddle pot, so he makes it 3x this time.
Which is reasonable given the stack depth. He doesn't have to 4x it when he's a lot shallower. He's cutting down on implied odds already.
Deeb has picked up ace-king like 7 times.
And even though he has a really premium hand here, I think that Glance is going to think Deeb is likely to 3-bet him. Well, Deeb's capable of bluffing here too, so I think this is a tough spot for Glance.
What? Mike, you fold that out of turn again, I fold.
Gabe with the 3-bet.
And especially being 40 big blinds deep here, you might shove. I don't blame him at all.
I think Lance just moved all in, right?
I think I would move all in with
Sure,
Lance too. Lance's hand too.
Can't show you a king.
Yeah.
How much is it?
I mean, this is an auto call for deep, so I don't know what he's thinking. I think he's slow rolling here for fun.
If I had king queen, I would have called him already.
No.
Yeah, he would.
No,
He just said if I had king queen, I would have called already.
Yeah, he's slow rolling for fun. Deeb loves that.
Yeah. I did ask him, by the way.
At this.
I specifically asked him to do one.
If I had king queen, I'd call already.
Let's hear him.
45.
That's too high. That's too high.
Yeah, it's 5,000. 49.50.
Can you show me a card?
What's that?
Can you show me a card?
There's no Cheryl showing.
Maybe. Yeah. That was not a rhetorical
You know what?
question.
Maybe.
I can't give you that kind of information.
What do I have to do to get you to show a card?
500. Take your shirt off.
Like 500 from the pot, like, or 500 off the table?
I don't understand the
Cash.
difference. You
off
give
the
me
table.
500.
Off the table, you want to.
So, like, do I have to call for 500 more? Like, do I give it to you?
If you pay me 500, I'll put it in this. You can match it and you can win it back.
Matt, I'm going to take a shot.
Okay, I want to see a card.
Oh my God, this is brilliant.
Which card should I show him?
That's up to you.
Show him the ace. Show him the ace.
He's putting more money in the pot,
One on the
getting him
right.
to show
Show him
cards.
the ace.
Right?
Definitely the one.
Show
No,
me
no,
the
no,
ace.
no.
That's his
All right.
Oh my God.
Okay, call.
He's got king. Shove ace king.
No, I said it's not rolling. But now I got an extra 500 on my side, so that's great, right? He's calling anyway.
You got a 10%.
You win 1,000 if you get there.
Why are you all in for?
What do you mean? This is great. I got an extra 500.
What do you guys do? Once or
He
twice?
didn't win. Matt only does it once, I know.
Mike was the only person that didn't realize you were slow rolling, by the way.
No, I knew there was a big chance.
Well, you, but I mean, Mike. No, I said he's the only one that didn't realize it.
Lance can catch a queen or a running hearts. Oh, and there's the queen of hearts.
And an extra 500.
Justice on.
That's just a really bad card for Deeb.
Please no jack or
Deeb
king.
needs a jack or a
No, I'm
king.
saying Mike was the only one that didn't.
Can't be a
realize
heart.
Jack of king hearts, you win it.
What?
Jack or king of hearts, you win.
Yeah, thanks.
He's new to poker. Seagull, you can't read a board, so don't even act like you
just
can.
said he's got a heart redraw.
Oh, nuts. I have an extra 500. How do you like the extra 500?
How good do you run?
What do you mean? You got to work for that 500.
Deeb's ace king has done very, very poorly against ace queens today.
Yeah.
He's never folding ace king.
just made 1,000.
Takes it like a champion too. Doesn't seem to care, but he should definitely.
And Lance made an extra $1,000.
Yeah.
You have seen him on this show before.
He got the $500 from Deeb, and then Deeb had to pay up the $500 as well.
Some would say it's justice for the slow roll.
40, I think it's 54.
49.50.
Plus 500, right?
Lance now suddenly, well, he was down about 7,000 earlier. He's now up
Give him 50 bucks.
And he just starts looking at everyone.
very slightly.
Oh, yeah, you got to 500.
Yeah, everybody at Twitch, you can see him. Slow roll karma.
If I'm going to put it in as a match, and win it back. But he did it for just for the good of the game, for the slow roll.
I can't believe he's slow rolling.
You can't? I think you're the only person on this table, then.
What?
That doesn't believe that he's slow rolled?
He didn't slow roll. He showed ace queen. He immediately turned on ace king.
You're doing so good.
Sushi like
that happened like the
bringing up
35K
Blesnik and possible allegations of multi-accounting.
How about the one where we got it in ace? You had ace 5. I had
I'm very aware of that. In fact, if you're interested, I actually did an interview with Blesnik just a few weeks ago. You can check it out over crushlivepoker.com. And I interviewed Blesnik for about an hour where he addressed the allegations. So feel free to check that out.
Matt tried to slow roll.
Podcast is free
Yeah, that makes sense.
at crushlivepoker.com.
Yeah, Malcolm didn't know that I knew that Matt was slow rolling me.
By the way, those guys said that's going to be one of the best shows with all the banter on that.
Oh, that was a really good one. Yeah, that AC one.
It's not on yet.
This one's got some potential.
So this one's going to be the best one.
It's on a solid pace.
Race. Raise. 650.
That's 100 is dead in the middle. I have to attack it.
You made it 650?
I made it 650.
Are you going to re-raise if I call? Because I don't want to
It's an
call.
odd raise by Blesnik here, a min raise.
I do care.
To your point, I mean, he
Maybe he didn't know that there was a straddle, but I think that his raise sizing depends dramatically on who's in the blinds.
Oh, yeah, he's constantly changing up here. McKeon has raised, has 3-bet at the 650.
I don't like this 3-bet at all. I think you have to make it way bigger with your stack sizes against Blesnik in position. I think that's a terrible 3-bet size. I think you should make it
Jared, if I bet any
900
folds, are you going to call?
when there's 3 people in the pot.
Hang on, let's hear.
I'm going to bet
5-6 suited for Jared.
You didn't ask if he's going to raise. He tells if he's
I
going to raise.
just asked for a call. I'm not picking.
How much?
1,050.
Wow, why do you
Nice
bet
hand,
so
Joe.
much? You're so bad. You
I had a wheel draw.
You win.
Thank you. You know there's like 2,000 in there, right?
Yeah,
I bet
but
half
you
of
have to
it.
stay in with a set of aces.
I don't have a set of aces.
I had a wheel draw.
Why'd you fold?
You got a wheel draw? And you folded? What?
It's a turn, Jared. Grab the turn.
You act like I had something.
Made a set of
there.
10s actually though.
I guess he's in position, so 650 is fine. I didn't. I guess.
I mean, he's in position. He's also got a great presence at the table.
I guess that's fine. I didn't
He's gonna
realize
win
he
the.
was in
He's gonna
position.
win the pot so often without the best hand.
Yeah, 650 is fine in position there for sure.
Look at how much Joe has drank of his beer.
It's also a question. I mean, just to go off what you said earlier, Blesnik hasn't been calling 3-bets or 4-bets very often, especially from McKeon.
Especially out of position.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never going to get out of line there, I don't think. He's never going to 4-bet McKeon there. So McKeon just totally dominates that hand, both with his range and position.
Yeah, but I had the ace of hearts.
I want to welcome everybody who found us via Twitch.
I got lead odds, 500 extra.
Streaming here at Twitch, and I see a lot of guys in the chat room. Welcome. Alec Torelli, David Tuckman.
Hello, everybody.
I really thought you had ace king. Because when you said, I really thought you had kings, but then you said you didn't have kings, so I figured you had ace king.
Jared, everybody.
Are you the type of guy that says I don't have kings?
75 in the middle,
No,
right?
no, he'll just have ace king.
Yeah. A worse hand for him to be against.
Using 25s to try to look like what? 500. What is your mind saying? I hope I haven't taken it right.
I'm trying to look weak.
Flip your ass so bad. I'm going to shave it.
Blesnik just opened the $500.
Shave that ass.
Is Joe allowed to watch?
Am I allowed to watch? I'm
not
going
I don't know,
to.
someone like him.
Oh, I should probably let you guys
Does the
know.
live stream see this hand?
Blesnik just opened the $500
This is live. What's live?
in an unstraddled pot. He opened 10x.
Actually, guys.
Is that cool?
Yeah, who's in the blinds?
If I get lucky,
Glance,
Glance and
Matt's in there?
Do McCallie.
Yeah,
Really-
boy. 3-way.
Then Tally just calls with kings.
I'm suited.
I was suited connect.
5 high flop, 1 chain.
I check dark. I check dark. I can't take it.
Glance is in there. Siegel is not.
Wow, do I have a diamond? Yes, I
Pot's
do.
1,500. Flop comes out ace, queen, 8.
Who's always betting here with a backdoor flush draw
Like, why, bro?
and a pair.
I don't know. Like, he's got a
Mike,
bet. Why?
you have nothing. You're folding, right?
Why does he got a
He has
bet?
Then Tally thought he was trapping,
Does he have any?
and now hates life.
Board off?
I can't answer that question.
I don't know
But he's going to call.
Oh, I guess not. Oh boy.
I'll let you guys
Oh
What
boy.
are you saying?
I like Mike's. We all, Jared. Just so you know, we over here we all like Mike's hands. We all like Mike's hand. Be careful.
Guys.
Come on, bro. Stop it. This fucking guy just whipped the queen on me.
Well, he picks up the flush draw.
Listen, it's one thing to joke
So
around.
Blesnik with 2 pair and a flush draw. Then Tally can't really beat anything except the bluff.
Guys, seriously, this is a big pot. The kid just got
100 bigs of it.
Hey, Sushi Like wants to know if you could do one activity for 6 days straight with minimal break time, say 1 hour per every 8 hours. What would you do, yoga or poker?
Poker.
Are you a yoga guy?
Yeah, I love yoga. I do yoga a lot. I think it's great for poker. Just for overall health and wellness too, but I'd play poker. I think it's easier to do for that time.
Oh my God.
I like yoga, but not
Not that much.
8 hours a day.
Well, no, based on what he's saying, that would be like 22 hours a day.
Yeah.
Ace? Even ace?
You win a 10 on the river.
That's just such a
You said you were going to show a card.
He said he was going to show
Blesnik stays aggressive, and then Tally
Ends
ends up giving the kings.
Sure thing, buddy. I think it's a great card.
You can't show a bluff. You're horrible.
Jared, you can show bluff.
He can't show a bluff. He's not capable of showing a bluff. They run so good against me. See how I play? They run
Yeah,
so
you played
good.
this hand great.
They're so
That's a fold, I
You
believe.
run so good. It's disgusting. What do you have, like Queen Jack?
Worse.
Did you fold yet?
Queen
course I
9.
fold. He has me
Please
crossed.
show the bluff. Please show the
He
bluff.
can't show a bluff.
I can't.
Queen
Can
9.
you show one card that doesn't have king's beat?
He can't show a
can't.
bluff.
Both of my cards.
I don't think I'd show here.
Yeah, right.
Why not? He's going to know in 30 minutes anyway.
Grab it, Mikey.
Grab it, Mikey. He's done it like 4 times.
Right up.
Yeah, he got it. He got it.
I didn't want to.
How does that happen, bro?
That wasn't one of his cards.
How does that happen? Just whips an 8 on me.
Yeah, of course he did.
I'm going to watch that one on the live
I would
stream.
have bet 20,000.
Great if he does.
You think he bluffed?
Why do you show
Yes,
it
you
if you did?
too.
I bet you $100.
What?
Can I take the same bet?
When he make him full
Hey,
kills, you have
Deep just made $100.
Jared, we're betting. Did you bluff him?
$100 I'm betting. You bet?
I bet 100.
$100
Person will
on
vouch for me when I say this. I'm an honest person.
Yeah, I believe you.
I'm not gonna lie.
$100.
So I'm not gonna answer.
people say.
No, to answer
Is
the
that fair?
Listen,
I'm not gonna answer
I
the
can
question.
find out in 2
we can find out from the
We're
stream.
betting
Find out from the
$100.
stream.
I bet you
We
sure
can find
think
out
I
from the
was
live
bluffing?
stream.
Yeah, but we want to settle the bet now.
Well, what's
You guys
bluffing
you
though?
want to settle.
Having the worst
I'll just
hand
take
on
it.
that
Give
beat?
him 100. This kid's
I think,
whatever. Don't talk
you did not have that beat. I don't think you were, and I don't think you were turning a weak ace into a bluff. So.
Oh God, whatever.
If you had an ace, it's not a bluff. You actually had to.
That's what
have a hand
I'm-
worse.
But he could have had like ace deuce
Yo,
and be
guys,
bluffing.
guys,
Yeah, that doesn't count. That's
No,
not
we
a
have
bluff.
$100 straddle. We have $100 bet. You want to talk or not?
Great bet by
He's won two.
I
I
have
expect
$100
that.
bet. He didn't bluff. These two are saying he bluffed.
I'll be honest with you. I don't care if you guys bet 1,000. I'm not gonna say what I had. I'm
It's
just
going to show in a half an hour anyway.
It's gonna be in a half hour.
It's going to be on the TV.
bro.
You know that, right?
Hey, by the way, I'm really glad you bought out of your bet.
So I don't understand why you just went double.
He would have had like 30 minutes.
I think he had 2 8s.
Of course he had 2 8s.
The card he flipped over was not his card.
Matt,
Oh, really?
he's
Oh,
hoping
well,
to have
then I
an
don't think he had
ace.
2 8s then.
He's hoping to have an ace.
If he had an 8 in his hand, I think he had 2
God, he
8s.
would have, instead of that queen, it would have been a king. I would have just.
I'm not going to criticize Dentale because he's bigger than me. And I was taught a long time ago not to criticize people that are bigger than me.
Classic New Yorker.
But he just looks like an absolute. I mean, he folds the best hand. He's sitting here criticizing Blesnik left and right. He's going to lose another $100 to Deeb because he's going to bet on it. And we just saw, obviously, that Blesnik was bluffing him.
Well, it's a trivial bet by Deeb because there's so many more possibilities of
Ace king.
no non-eights full than eights full. But
Show me a 5.
No, he said any bluff.
Five's not better than
Could have had a queen, an ace, or an 8 full.
oh wow, well then yeah. Before you see the cards, it's a no-brainer bet. But I think it's a great bet by Blesnik because he knows that his opponent's likely to have an ace, and by betting big on the turn, he puts him in a really, really tough spot, even with an ace. And he has a ton of equity against an ace as well, so a great bet by Blesnik.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
20 minutes.
I had a big hand, but you had the best hand.
Thank you, buddy.
You had a turn of flush draw, yeah.
I think Deeb might have won $400 on that. They upped the bet a little bit more. So not only did Dentale lose the hand, fold the best hand of kings, but he also lost the bet.
Oh, I would have bet a lot that kings was the best hand in that spot. And, Blesnik's not betting 2,700 with ace-10, so his range is a little polarized there between trips and bluffs.
That card might have been on the flop.
His range is super polarized between trips and bluffs, actually. But
Right, he's not playing ace-jack that
well,
way.
his opponent doesn't know that, so he's not going to be playing that way against Deeb.
Clearly, Deeb knew that.
Yeah, he's not. Blesnik's not going to make that play against Deeb, and that's what we talked about before, where you have to change so much how you're playing against better opponents. But he could get away with that, and so good for him for knowing how to adjust to every player. He's playing excellent poker.
Just say when the hand comes over, I folded kings. So many times with the
One thing I love about this Poker Night in America show, the players are having a good time. I kind of like that.
Doesn't matter what he had, though. Just find out if he was beat or not.
Yeah, and I think the stakes are right around that good point where it doesn't have to be too serious. I think when you see some of the other shows that are really, really high stakes, it's like so much money's involved that I mean, you can't afford to not.
Although, for a lot of people in the world, this is a really big game.
Yeah.
Well, he told him it was a hard show.
Yeah, I think for the people playing, though, they've played these games before.
Right, Blesnik with by far the best of it here.
I think that he bluffed me.
Deeb bets $200. Blesnik certainly not going to fold this. No, he calls. Turns a 3
He's
of
also
hearts.
going to be really cautious against Deeb here, out of position with a vulnerable hand.
I thought I had the best hand.
You're probably the only one.
He says, I thought I had the best hand. There's no chance in a million years Blesnik thought he had the best hand.
No.
Flop was ace, queen, 8. He bet the flop and got called. Then the turn was a queen.
Yeah.
He said something that was like.
There's just no way you thought you had the best hand there.
Unless he thought his opponent had a draw,
No.
which is possible, but I think he's being a little facetious
Yeah,
there.
I don't think so.
I mean, he's ahead of.
I think he
he's
actually
ahead of Jack 10 and flush draws.
Of course, but I think he thought he was getting a weak ace.
Yeah, of course.
Physical mind. I'm fine about it. Emotional torment.
He doesn't want to sound smarter than he is. That's not.
No, he's good at that.
That's not good for your image, for sure.
You got a favorable flop.
I hope you'll
Because if
forgive
not,
me
you would have the same read, and I would have clipped you so lovely. But you got a favorable flop. You had a good read, though.
No, I'm not going to sit here and be like Siegel and say that I had a live read on you. I had no read on you. I just think you play bad.
Fire away.
I'm not going to be like Siegel and say, oh, I had a, you put your chips in. I just think you play bad. That's it.
No, you know what it is, Jared? You
So what
don't
do
have
I get
respect
to
for my
do?
game, and you're a clown.
Do I
You
get
get a
back?
favorable flop.
Let me tell you something. I respect
And I would have
you.
clipped you if you didn't get that flop. Usually like 1,300 call, 1,500 call.
I
Oh,
respect
should I
you as a
lose?
person. I don't
You got a
respect your
favorable
poker game.
flop.
That's the truth. I don't respect
Just
your
keep
poker
betting away.
I'm starting
think
to
you're a
like.
good person.
I'm starting to
Betting
like you
away.
more and more.
Forget it. Listen, as
No
off the
one
table,
else does. So.
You might finally have your first friend.
Well, Dentali is talking about clipping Blesnik, and he might have the chance right here. Kings versus Jacks.
it's all good.
I love you too.
Let's hear this one.
It's very
Wow, this
funny,
is
Mike,
great.
because everyone thinks
scared.
you're a horror
Shut
on
up.
the table, and 95% of them think you're a horror off the table. And you're
Why do you got to raise like that when I limped under the gun and I could have a big hand?
nice hand, Jared.
Fucking clown. I'm all in.
Excuse me.
Yes!
Oh boy.
Oh,
boy.
Oh, wow. I was
Oh
gonna cheers
boy.
for that.
Well, sorry.
You're all in?
I'm all in.
All right. Deal.
Jill.
Call? You have to say call.
You gotta say
You gotta say
call.
call.
He does not have to show his hand. Slow rolls are encouraged.
I'm not slow. I don't slow. Go.
Mike's got to
Deal.
show his hand because he's first.
This hand I can't fold.
Blesnik does call the all-in.
10-9 off.
These two are at each other.
Dentali's going to love this if he wins.
Oh, let's hear it afterwards.
It's going to be great regardless.
They didn't say twice, right? You guys
Well, there's a king. Blesnik needs running cards.
Go.
Oh my God, this would be the end of it.
Queen, a queen, the table flips over.
It might take a minute and a half to see these hands on the river.
No. Let's hear it.
Who's first, Mike?
I call that a
Oh.
Jared Blesnik, ladies and gentlemen.
Please have 4K.
If you have 4K,
Ship, buddy.
show 110 first.
With my image, I can't fold.
Ship. Ace King is never good
I
there.
have ace guy worse.
Yeah, Queens.
Jacks or queen?
Queens.
Huh?
Queens.
Oh my
You're playing good.
I
Don't
had
worry.
worse than
You
queens.
played good. Don't. What everybody said, you're still playing good. I just got lucky.
You did. That's true.
How much is it?
72, 75.
You got
That's usually how my luck runs.
That was
As soon
the
as
worst
you said
fake
don't
on
touch
the
it, I was
flop.
fairly confident you had 3 kings.
Okay, you can pick the flop up and the deck. You can shuffle the deck, Bill.
How much is
Shuffle
it
the deck
total?
while waiting him to count.
It was 72, 75.
You're gonna get a total here,
Yeah, Mike.
and we could not have drew that up better.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the two of them, they battle it out. They're kind of going back and forth. Blesnik telling him, no, I didn't have a read on you. This is quoted. I didn't have a read on you. I just think you're bad at poker. I have no respect for your game. Dentali going back at him, and they pick up jacks versus kings. And in a straddled pot, they basically get, what, a little bit over 75 big blinds in.
Oh, yeah.
That's it?
Wow,
Pretty
you
standard
want him harder than
hand,
you want
but
me, 'cause when you double
it's
for me and get it
just
back.
great the way it happened right after the berating.
I straddle. Are we still doing these tip pot things?
I'm glad we didn't have that bad.
Oh, yeah,
Fuck,
yeah.
that would have been scary. Yeah, this is a tip.
Tip pot,
Like
guys.
an even sign. Yeah. No, 6 of spades.
It's only a tip
And by the way,
pot.
Dentali now, by far our big winner. He only bought in for 5,000. He's now up to nearly 15K.
Yeah.
If you're coming off that on TV, I'm coming off
That's what's
that.
so great about poker is so many people can think that they're better than other people.
I thought that was.
Well, that's why poker's
Such a brilliant game. I mean, you don't have this in other sports.
I think you should have taken.
It's so
it.
obvious
He
where
didn't
the
say a
talent
word.
is,
Can you
but in
imagine this
poker,
guy
it's so
being-
easy
Right,
for
I mean,
people to
He
convince
fold every
themselves
hand,
they're better
he
than
was
other
just like,
people.
shaking.
If I play tennis against somebody, if I play chess against somebody
Yeah.
who's better than me,
Really obvious real quick.
yeah, really, really quick.
It's also really obvious to the casual observer where the talent is. Whereas in
I
poker,
think he'll admit he didn't play as good.
the only way you could really know if someone's as good as you or better is if you have an ability yourself to comprehend, their logic. So it's really is a brilliant game.
When do you make the decision? Why do we?
So Deeb down about 6,000. Blesnik down about 6,000.
Tell you guys,
McCally's having a nice day. He's up about 4K. Dentali up almost 10K now. Those are our two winners. Abernathy basically even. Glance down about $1,200. McKeon down about $900.
So I'm one volunteer.
We got a request for the bio of the players. It's been a while since we talked.
Play tomorrow.
A little hard to talk about everybody.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, Sean Deeb won his first bracelet this summer. Joe McKeon, he's a November 9er.
Yeah.
He is the chip leader, the massive chip leader going into the November 9 World Series of Poker main event. That's the guy in seed 8.
Matt Glantz, the big limit player.
No, sir. Christian, the guy who won online, qualified online or something.
Yeah, well, you know I can't play them.
Blesnick plays PLO. PLO is his game. Has played online a lot. Plays high stakes PLO online.
Ruddock looks like a solid pro.
Ruddock's, he's actually, I was looking up Ruddock.
Although I don't know
Ruddock
where.
writes for poker as well.
Kings back-to-back.
Clearly has a mind for the game.
No, yeah, he writes
Tight,
for
solid
poker.
player, but plays well.
Abernathy, an up-and-coming pro. Been making a name for herself lately.
She plays tournaments online, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, she plays a lot of tournaments, I think.
There you
I
go.
expect that from somebody else, not you.
Okay, get them both if you can.
What is Dentale's background?
Got him.
I believe he plays a lot of tournaments.
Okay.
That's
Incinerated peak.
That's you.
I believe Abernathy tried to steal this one pre with a big raise.
Wow, surprising.
And
You
McKeon
would not
goes,
expect that from her.
Yeah, well, she understands her image. I think she
Good for
understands
her.
how people see her.
Good for her, and she
Used it.
knows that McKeon is going to know that about her and not going to play back at her.
He told me what he asked. I can't say. I know you'll see him, but if he told me privately, I can't say it. It's not right.
No, the rule is if someone finds out, you all find out.
No, but he told me. It's not like I found out.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, let's hear this.
You had some cards.
I'm not embarrassed to say. I'll be honest, I have 2 checks.
That's what he told me.
I actually don't think my play's that bad.
It's not bad.
Is it, Chuck?
It's not bad considering that I'm a
What's
little
the
bit
raise?
tilted.
Not bad for
I'm a
Mike.
little bit tilted. I'm a little bit angry at you, so it's definitely a call.
He's also an idiot.
I'm not
You
going to
have to
argue.
factor that in.
Sean, be honest. Is my play? I don't think my play's that bad, right?
It's not that bad.
I understand you have made those calls with the same image, and he's been waiting to trap you. He's only trapping you. He is not going to show up with 2 7s. He'll limp call those
we're
hands.
talking about when
he's
you
calling
went
all
all
his
in.
worst
Right, you're
hands.
so good, man. It's insane. He's
it's
right,
bad,
and
Yes.
I agree with you, but he's much smarter.
Oh, you're talking about when he went all in. Oh, I thought you were talking about when he had the Kings the first time.
Why do you think he wanted me to bet on me for an IQ test?
500. Wait, what?
Saying that you think I'm smart. He's like surprised that I actually know what I'm doing.
He's smarter than you. No,
really
no,
bad.
he's good at poker, but he's smart.
Why?
People smart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What is
He's
his
smarter
range?
than you.
Just people smart.
He's smarter than you in everything.
My name ain't Earl. Says Dentale plays the alternating Parks and Borgata tournament circuits.
But I'm
That's what I
still
thought.
saying Sean is smarter than
More
you.
not as bad.
I still think Sean is smarter.
Appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about
We are, though.
observing people's behavior besides poker.
So Siegel with a raise here to 150.
Part of the
He
thing.
mosely limps here if you've been watching, so a raise
And that he is a
should
smart
completely
person. And I think
signify a
he's
lot
smarter
of strength
person
from
than
him.
this gentleman.
Has nothing to do
And I
with
think
poker.
I
Glantz,
use the term gentleman very loosely.
even though Siegel plays really
Smarter in what
straightforward,
Poker table, yes, but I don't know about everything.
I think it's hard to 3-bet him here light just because he never, ever, ever raises pre-flop. He always
Maybe
limps.
20 years
So
older. I know you're up
Very
there.
observant and just
that being said, I wonder how he's going to react with Ace King. I mean, he might just like call and check fold the flop. Who knows? Especially against someone as tight with as tight of image as Matt.
How you
Ball's right
how you
here.
figure? I don't think so.
I think you're small.
You keep saying Matt's got a tight image. I've seen him raise at 6'4", 7'8".
I know, but I don't know if the other players know he's doing that. Maybe they
Right.
do. I just feel like his image is generally tight, but he hasn't been playing that way at this table. But he hasn't shown any of those hands either, so it still seems
Keep
like
track of which one was the second.
he might have been tighter than he is.
Glantz just bombed the
I don't
flop.
know where her mouth
And
is.
a quick
And
fold
in
with
fact-
Ace King.
And in fact, I think in this
Why are you
spot,
telling
he
me
shouldn't be
life
showing
story?
that hand, Matt. Matt should just let the other people think he has 2 queens or something there, I think.
It's a pretty tight laydown. With the ace of spades in your hand still, too.
Yeah, especially Siegel just
No,
allows
he just
people
slashed on the ball
to,
first, fourth, fifth.
even though he never raises pre-flop, he still allows people to successfully 3-bet him with pretty much anything if he's just going to flat call out of position and check fold when he misses, because more often than not, he's going to miss the flop, especially out of position. So
So first or second.
It's hard to make a hand.
credit to Matt. Yeah, you got to just be aggressive. You got to compensate for the times you don't make a hand with aggression.
Your buddy DJ's a piece of
I don't know. DJ has no percentage.
You should ask him. You should tweet at him and ask.
Stack Jack and asking if McKeon is a pro. Joe McKeon. McKeon is a pro. He actually got to start playing here at Turning Stone. Played a lot of poker early on in his career here at Turning Stone. And of course, well known now as the overwhelming chip leader in the November 9.
You guys just missed that hand that we just played. You missed you guys missed
I saw the
that
6-3.
hand. I bet 500 out of the flop with ace king. He dropped me.
Yeah, Blesnik does not play a lot of no limit hold'em. Plays mostly PLO.
It was a good flop for me.
Kings are cheap. We've had kings a lot last 20 minutes, and now it's Ruddock with them.
And if you remember this history between Siegel and Ruddock, Ruddock's been 3-betting Siegel. It's probably the 4th time today.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, this is the spot where
Siegel might finally take a stand, especially because Siegel's been getting bullied around by everybody.
Great
he
point.
might make that stand against Ruddock, especially.
It's a great point. The fact that Siegel was just 3-bet, the fact that Siegel was 3-bet numerous times by Ruddock, there's no way that I'm trying to trap here with kings. And wow, D picks up ace king. How do you play ace king now? You got to raise, you got to 3-bet.
What did Abernathy do?
Abernathy called.
Well, you have to 4-bet here because Abernathy's range is capped. She always has strong playable hands, but never premium hands because she would shove
like something like 9s, 10s.
Exactly. Her range is always
exactly king queen suited. Something like that.
Always top 20% hands, but never the top 5%. So it's too easy to 4-bet here for Sean. I wouldn't necessarily bluff here that often. I might, but with ace king, you've got to 4-bet here. And
top 4.
And what's the play?
It's really tough when he shoves, depending on how much he has.
Let's go back to Ruddock now. What's the play if you're Ruddock?
I mean, Ruddock's got to shove. I mean,
do you think it would be top 4 if she gave a top 4?
Calling, he can't have a bluff in his range, and it doesn't really make sense to call and let Abernathy in the pot.
But if you, I want to play devil's advocate.
He could easily think that Sean's bluffing here and decide to bluff. So shoving here doesn't necessarily implicate strength.
Okay.
Sean could still be bluffing post flop, especially with his image, and how often Sean's been 3-betting pre-flop today. Sean hasn't showed monster hands when he's 3-bet, so.
A character on Woody Woodpecker.
I think you're the best looking guy at this table, but
I don't think that Sean thinks that Ruddock only has premium hands here, if he shoves.
Yeah, but you hear what Sean said? She likes older men.
Not that old.
That's a joke.
If Ruddock were to 5-bet this,
I know, that's what everyone
going back to what you were just saying, I want you to reiterate it.
Yep.
If Ruddock 5-bets, can he get called by worse?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think Sean's. I don't know how deep he is, so I'm assuming he has 10K. And if he has 10K here, I just don't think that Deeb's ever folding ace king. I think it's pretty much a snap call. But I think that's because Ruddock could think that Deeb is light here and shove with hands that are still strong enough to 3-bet, but not necessarily kings. He could have jacks that 3-bet preflop and then just doesn't believe Deeb with the 4-bet because Deeb knows that Abernathy's range is capped at something like 9s, 10s, or jacks, and he knows that she's going to fold all those hands if he 4-bets. So it makes 4-betting a really lucrative spot. Ruddock's smart enough to know that, which makes his shoving range weaker, and Deeb might call it off with ace king here, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, Abernathy gets out of the way. We don't know the exact size of Ruddock's 5-bet yet. We'll get that up for you in a second. Once we do, we'll know. But the question is back to Deeb, and Deeb's got to decide, do I want to play for stacks or not with ace king?
Sean always thinks there's at least 10% chance of somebody's bluffing, but I don't know if he actually thinks
number 1 or 2 is good looking.
He always factors that into that.
There's no.
And I don't know.
0%. Yeah. Siegel says
Like
0%.
Ivory, 99.44.
We're talking about the top 4.
Yeah, and you pointed at me.
I know.
Is that good or bad? Talking about his hands over the hands. He's got to sit there and get tortured.
Personality.
First time in my life.
Doing.
First time in my life, I'm in a top 4. You know?
So the raise to 3,000.
She just put Joe in the top 4.
That just,
It's pretty smart.
it just kind of screams strength from someone like him. I guess
It does, but can I throw something at you?
Yeah.
could be bluffing.
Can you just call?
Too.
I'm telling you, you guys
getting-
would be a great match.
I mean, you're getting 4.5 to
Yeah,
1.
you could definitely
You're in
just
position
call.
with ace king.
Oh, I thought you were
The
just
question
talking
just
about
is like, what are you going to do post flop? Are you going to call?
Like his personality.
You don't really want to let him in the pot with his equity.
Then Tally, she doesn't like you.
And Deeb went all in here, I think, right?
She's like a 9.5.
What's he doing?
You got to know what I have.
I actually don't think he's slow rolling.
I don't think he is either, but I think this is insane.
So I'm going up.
Blesnik just laughed at him.
I know.
Blesnik and Glanch just straight out laughed at him.
It's like the 6-bet, too.
I knew it.
This is a really trivial call, in my opinion.
Well, I'm saying if you're 5-betting, you're not 5-betting the fold kings, are you?
I mean, that's just crazy.
You could show Sean your hand and get a read from him.
Yeah.
If I'm going to fold kings, I'd rather 5-bet with ace-4 suited.
He's already all
right.
He can't get an advantage, but he's already all in.
This is like, this is kind of crazy that he's.
Unless they can glance, just laugh.
It can only help you.
This is what I tell so many
Absurd they're
people that I work with, that they get in situations like this where they like don't have a plan for how they're going to play the hand, and they find themselves in precarious spots.
Yeah, let's hear him.
Oh, he's trying to ask me some questions. Let him talk. Hold on, Sam.
He's a,
Definitely show him to get a reaction. It can only help you. He's already all in. He can't make any more decisions.
he knows what I have. He knows, yeah.
You have kings?
Here's a picture of me when I was these guys' age. Here's a picture of me when I was their age.
He was good looking back then.
I've seen that
You're
picture.
which one?
Which one? Not the girl. The one that's not.
He's the first ever transgender of his generation.
Not the girl.
I actually think he's trying to talk himself into a
Straight from
fold.
Georgia with a joke.
Right here?
Yes, that would be the one that's not a woman. The other one is my wife.
You want to bet a glass of wine on it?
He has pictures 27. I might
Your wife? You were with when you were 7?
I've been with my wife for 30 years.
I'll bet you a bottle of wine.
I'm not going to look at the TV because I don't want to.
That's like 150 pounds, though. It hides all the
Bottle of wine?
I only got caught 5 years.
I'll do a glass. I say
One glass of good red? I say call. He's gonna talk himself. Eventually he will say
I
call.
was 27 years old.
He's playing a big pot. Let's give him
I was a
some.
movie star.
You look like Donnie Osmond.
I was a movie. No.
And Dee will berate him for it.
I think Deeb started laughing when the guy said he had 2 kings because Deeb's like, really? I mean,
Yeah, he does. A lot.
Let me see if I can find a picture of me when I was
Bad
young.
news for Josh.
I got a picture of me.
this is something that happens when people play outside their comfort zone. The money, I don't know if the money means a lot to him. I don't know if he's not used to playing this game or whatever, but definitely him aside, this
I don't want to
happens when
influence your
people play
actions. I
outside
feel
their
bad
comfort
if
zone.
I made you make the
They
wrong
find it harder to
decision.
make decisions that they otherwise would make. If he was
Well,
playing a
I
1-2
know what the
game,
right decision
he would
is,
call
but-
here, and that's something that you always have to encourage people to do is play
Have
how
you
they
found
would
yourself
play.
in situations where you would fold kings pre-flop?
Because
I don't think this is the situation,
Yes,
obviously, but
yes, I have. They're few and far between, of course, but there are times when they come up.
It's like the biggest pot he's played in his life. You got it.
stuck.
He hasn't played.
Come on, Roddick.
You don't re-raise to induce action to fold kings. You know, like it's a different
Come on,
overall
Roddick.
plan.
Daddy needs a glass of wine.
You should let him see the flop first and then make.
Somebody just said that I'm much better commentating when I'm drunk, so let's go. Daddy needs a glass of wine.
Sean does look pretty confident here, to his credit. I mean, he knows that he's up against.
Yeah.
He knows
He's such an
wants to fold.
experienced. He's such an experienced poker
Yeah, he
player,
is.
though. I'm not
He's
gonna
really good.
Boom! You have kings? Hold on, let's hear this.
What are we sitting here for? What the fuck? Guy that here?
This is insane.
Stop!
My watch.
I think showing that.
But he knows I've either got aces or
The worst thing is that it's terrible what the rest of the table is doing, by the way. From an ethics point of view, poker etiquette, Deeb can't do anything because he can't give away the strength of his hand. But by everybody else basically saying, are you crazy? Are you an idiot? How can you not call this?
I know. I know I'm supposed to call,
But what?
Okay, let's play another one.
it's a big pot. It's a big pot for me.
Nah, really. I'm going to say something
Shut
that's
up,
very
Mike.
good.
What?
Just everybody stay quiet. Let him make his decision.
Which I tried to say 7 minutes ago when you guys were all talking
No, he's
loudly.
100% correct. I think no one should make another comment.
I could have
Take
sex
your
3
time,
times
Steve.
already.
I mean, the comments have already been made, though. Etiquette-wise, it's really poor. Like I said, I mean,
Oh my
Classic.
God. I saw one of his cards.
Should've been
It
a
was a
flop.
paying card. Yeah.
What am I doing?
Can we see a flop one time in poker night history?
I have a glass of wine here. How did I lose that?
It's a flop. It's a flop one time.
Please.
It's
No
great
flop.
TV.
No.
I hope an ace flops just to make it feel
Look
better.
at that. Look at that. See that?
Makes you feel better.
One out after
Yo,
Kings, I think.
No,
There's an ace.
See that?
No, I'm saying I hope an ace doesn't come. I think he deserves a little
You
bit.
see that?
He's got to
Makes you
learn
feel
from that
better.
one, you know?
That was insane.
If it wasn't the 6th bet, I would have snapped.
I almost didn't do it with ace king, but I thought you'd fold that hand. And I thought you were clicking it back to
I knew you had to put me on aces or kings.
I didn't think you had aces. I thought you.
you gotta stop looking
yeah.
your chips, by the
Stop
way.
stealing from me, bro.
They consistently
I think it's a
come
good
over
fold.
here.
Regardless of me having ace.
It's like 4 times. I'm gonna start taking them out of
Yeah,
my
it's a good
stack if they
fold.
want.
There's some
Wow.
soft feeling
Yo,
there.
do you
that-
understand that no one's folding that hand and you
I
just
know.
would have lost all your money?
If we were playing in a normal game, I
Matt,
would have called.
everybody's quiet, but everybody would have called. He would have just lost all his money.
And it would have been glorious.
Put all your money in this.
It would have been glorious if he lost the hand.
Bro, do you understand
It was
that
a
you would have just
50-50
lost all your
chance you
money?
had
That's
two
so
aces.
sick.
Yeah, that's it.
I would have put my kids, my grandmother, everybody in the middle with kings. Cool.
Yeah, we saw you do that already a few times.
How'd that work out for you?
I won.
And that's the
So
problem
sick, this kid
sometimes
just hit
that
all his money. That's amazing.
it's something that you really have to overcome.
When you
I thought
fold
in the
it,
Macau games, there's
not
just
in a
times
bad way.
that
I'm
you're
like,
playing
what a horrendous fold.
Not in a bad way.
I know it's
big,
I know it's
and
the
you have to be
wrong-
outside the
I
comfort zone.
disagree.
It's
I
like
don't. Regardless
it
of me
changes
showing
the
up in
dynamic of the
ace-king,
game so
can't shove
much.
ace-king
Who's
with
able to
20.
handle that sort of pressure? And you could see here in a spot where he even
it
admitted he
wasn't.
would call normally
You bet 10.
in a game where he's inside his comfort zone.
Yeah,
And when you put
it
someone
was-
outside of
it
their
wasn't like
comfort
a
zone, you
straddle
can
raise
I
see
made a
He could definitely show to it.
how they're going to play. And it's sort of like the poker equivalent of a player playing at, let's say, the Wimbledon final in tennis. It's easy to play good tennis when it's you and your trainer, but when you're playing against someone for all the money in front of a huge stage where the stakes are raised, you really see who's capable
I knew everyone
of
wanted
shining.
Entirely flops the stones here. He's got the queen high flush and a redraw to a straight flush, but not going to get much action. Yeah, that was an interesting hand because obviously the stakes, he even said, he goes, you know, this is a big pot for me.
Right.
I'll be straight.
There have been plenty of times, there are plenty of players that I've played against in 5-10 where the 6-bet is 100% always aces.
Right.
And I can actually make an argument for not 5-betting kings because I'm going to get everything worse to fold, and I'm obviously never getting aces to fold.
Right.
So you can actually make an argument for not having a 5-bet range in that particular game against that particular player.
Right.
When he does, he plays for it all.
But in this particular spot, with Deeb on the button, with the
other
dead money
girl
in
the
between,
pot,
with
yeah.
Abernathy had called in between, the way that the way the dynamic was, you made it quite clear that Deeb didn't need to have a better hand, and obviously he didn't as he shoved with ace king.
Yeah, absolutely.
An unfortunate situation for Ruddock, and he's going to be thinking about that for a while. The question now is, how does he react to the adversity, and how does he come back from this? Because this is tough.
Yeah, and I think that
4,500.
Oh my God. You get a fist bump for that one. Wow. He didn't have a straight.
Wow.
Please be slow rolling.
No,
He does have a straight. You can check back the
6,
nuts.
7 of diamonds.
All right.
Blesnik actually,
Is there a fire
wow.
extinguisher close by so the chips are on fire?
Wow. Okay, so Blesnik, Dentali's got Blesnik
What is
a little
it?
rattled
He
here.
made the bet. He had to ask what.
Dentali bet 1,000 on the river, finally. Almost no money went in the pot before that. Dentali bet 1,000 on the river. Blesnik bluff raised to 4,500.
I kind of
And Dentali obviously snap
I
called.
just wanted to bet them that you
Yeah.
And Blesnik, obviously couldn't beat anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in love
So
with
he's
that
a
play.
liar.
I think that
On his kid.
Blesnik's going to get called even by a 10 there, and this is a time where
Straight would have
Blesnik
won as well.
kind of
We
maybe
know
let a
that.
little ego get in the way and didn't have as much of the reins on the horse with the selective aggression as we've seen in the past. And that has been his forte. And
Is he
that's
getting a
what
6 to fold?
Face after just like
what?
6 was a one-liner as well.
it should fold, but I don't know if Dentale would fold it, you know? So I think that was the wrong player in the
Do you
wrong
have a cool
spot to
card?
bluff.
She says everyone over 70 she knows has
I think that, back to the deep hand really quick, I think with the ace-king, he's thinking that Ruddock could be 5-betting for information or something like that. 5-betting it because he doesn't know what to do, and I think he probably would go to the 6-bet.
Wow. Hey, you're Straddle. Oh, you
Kings is
moved
just
it.
too strong.
What do you think
I
he
even
is?
said,
She thought he was 75, not
no,
just
I
low
didn't.
70.
He said that you were, and I said no.
And say what you will about Dentali's
Goes in the top
chat.
four. That's awesome.
It is working, though.
It is.
You can say what you want, but when it's
There's only
working.
3 left, guys.
Yeah, I mean, he chatted, he moved all in with kings. I don't, by the way, a lot of talk. I don't think he does that light, ever.
Yeah, maybe you're, yeah, that's another thing
Top two.
to keep in mind. That's a great observation you made. With
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, we're looking at the cards. It's easy
Right.
for us. But I don't think he's doing that light. And if he's not doing that light, then, you know, you got to – I know Blesnik's got that reputation. And
he definitely talked Blesnik into a $4,500 mistake there. So
Yeah,
the table talk
clearly.
is working to his advantage, especially against Blesnik, who's clearly a little steamed, especially against
Blesnik now down 10K.
Yeah.
Starting up at 14.
And I believe Blesnik actually is our big loser right now.
Yeah. And with his playing style, it's very easy to let that selective aggression get mismanaged, and that 10K turns into 20 really quick, because then you start trying to force those 8x, 10x raises, but without the selective aggression, and that's when things just spiral out of control.
Ruddock raises to 150 with ace-king here, and this is really where I want to see how he reacts. McKeon immediately attacking Ruddock.
I like that. From
immediately attacking the player who made the who made the mistake. Second guessing himself at this point.
3-bet by McKeon.
I mean, unfortunately,
playing the player, not
probably
the game.
won't work, but this particular spot. But
what's Ruddock going to do? He's going to flat call out of position and check fold the flop, so it doesn't even make a 3-bet with any 2 cards bad. As crazy as that is.
Or is he going to 4-bet and then fold to a 5-bet?
Yeah.
The 3 of us are basically the same age.
And I think that what happens here is when players just face a big hand that they lose, they go back to ABC overly conservative poker. So look for a flat call here from Ruddock, whereas other times in a smaller game, he knows that the correct play here is probably to 4-bet, but intimidation might lead him to flat call instead.
Oh, he called out turn. Oh, okay.
That's why it was messed up. You got Mikey acting. You're thinking of
And there it is.
He just calls.
I think that's a mistake.
Here. You want one?
Especially with Siegel dead in the pot, you should be... Oh, no, Siegel's not in the pot. Siegel is in the pot.
Yeah, pot is 15-50, and McKeon actually outflops both of them. Siegel with a straight draw. He's got the ass end of it. Ruddock with the Broadway draw. No clubs in Ruddock's hand. McKeon with a pair of 10s.
What a legend, Siegel, with the overcall.
He felt it, man. 7/8 of lucky hand. Interesting point, by the way. Moosin DK on in the chat room at Twitch says position does not matter one bit doesn't matter one bit when the 6-bet is all in. The one thing I will say though, Moosin, is that you have to realize though where did the 4-bet originally come from though, and then the fact that Abernathy called in between certainly does matter.
Of course, it changes the ranges of the players, and Deeb could be a little lighter there with Abernathy's cold call. That's the point, is that it doesn't confine him to only top 5% premium hands there, just because there is so much dead money in the pot. He's getting such a better price on this 4-bet.
I'm going to just knock him down.
But yeah, you're right in the sense that it doesn't matter when you're all in because you only have one decision, call or fold.
You're supposed to be young.
You only get 1 card.
But Ruddock now is just, I feel like,
Here, I'll do it more then. Oh, shit.
kind of putting his head up and getting beat back down. You know, he's a little outside of his comfort zone here. And I feel like he's just going to play even more fitter fold than he already played.
It was not.
Luckily, there's no candle.
It's going to be tough to come back from that beat. And I think that ace-king hand is sort of just cementing in.
We're having fun.
Yeah, you can see. I mean, you can see when we see Ruddock again, you'll see body language. It's funny. I interviewed a mental coach on my Crush Live Poker podcast, and we talked about this, and we talked about body language at the table. And earlier on we talked about presence.
Right.
And look at Ruddock right now in seat 4, and you can see. I mean, he's down. He's slumped over a little bit. He's second guessing. He's thinking about this. I mean, if Deeb has aces there, he feels like a king. But when Deeb shows ace-king, he's down on himself. Then he loses with ace-king. How do you, as a professional poker player, how do you settle yourself, or have you been through this so long that it's just second nature to you now?
I think that experience helps, but I think that experience without work doesn't get you to where you need to be to compete at the bigger levels. And I think that experience without discipline, training is sort of just like playing a lot of basketball without training your technical skills. I've worked with several mental coaches and things like that in my career as well.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Abernathy's got another deuce in her hand because she just called 900.
I think it looks like his bet is 10,000, right?
I hope so.
I mean, the ace of spades is already dead. So
it's still a questionable call.
Yeah, I don't think she's deep enough to call for set odds.
Yeah, I think fundamentally here she's made a few mistakes pre-flop.
So Siegel with the 3-bet,
not
900.
quite as fluent with the positions and the stack sizes as
By the way,
as are needed.
Siegel's 3-betting range. Is it like aces and kings?
Yeah.
Every time we sweat your cards, you've lost.
Abernathy is Jack Deuce suited. Is that correct?
And you sweated the Queen 10 suited.
Come on, Siegel.
Wait, did she cold call here? I'm so confused.
She just called 275. I mean, she called another 625.
There are some really special pre-flop plays here.
I've got to ask her if that's indeed what she had, or if it's maybe the RFID is not working.
She snap folded. She couldn't have had 2 jacks.
How much?
No.
I have 13 or 14.
He doesn't have much more. Either you're all in or you're not. Come on.
Don't strategize. Yeah.
Matt actually might play that.
He's not folding, so let's go.
Could I think for a second? It was like 13.
No, hold on. That's not fair. He can call, and if an ace is 30 to fold.
How much money is he shipping?
The mental aspect's really interesting. With the kings there, I think he knew what the right decision was. It just couldn't bring himself to do it.
I'm not going to show you unless you pick
Those kind of things you got to make preparations for before you go to the game.
I'll show you one. I'll show you one.
Those are all things that happen before the game even begins. You know, those things happen the days, the weeks, the months before, and definitely the day of the game. I mean,
Later. Queen?
I like my hand better than his.
Siegel is just, I mean, from what we've seen, and we've only seen like 3 hours of play, Siegel is almost always nutted there.
yeah, you know enough to you know all you need to know based on what we've seen about Siegel, how he plays pre-flop, his propensity to just call with everything except absolute nuts and check fold flops, never opens, never 3-bets.
I don't think he realized he asked us to sweat his cards there.
I would bet the world.
He gave me and Sean his cards to look at. I think he's like,
I was sweating him too.
I'm going to make a statement. I will never let Sean and this fucking clown sweat my hand again. Ever. I haven't won a hand. You guys
I just sweated the queen 10 suited. You just took 4,500.
Oh, you sweated the queen?
You gave me the queen 10 suited.
My sweats have been 0 for everything.
Hey, fine.
I retract my statement. It's true.
We'll pass each other back, all right?
You would have never folded an 8.
I'm not going to show him an 8.
That's true.
He would have folded if an ace came on the turn.
Yeah, right.
How do you get aces there?
Shit, that would have been awesome. Like,
This one for sure.
She's Mike Siegel.
Straddle, Jared.
He waited for him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not.
Especially leading with
He said he had to get unstuck. He almost
You
did.
have enough money.
What? No,
Mikey.
What are you talking about?
7,500.
What about it?
I'm not trailing anymore.
Are you not behind anymore?
I will be after.
After what?
After he sees his cards. I don't know what's after, right?
After he sees his
The only thing Jared's behind is, I can't say that on camera.
You can, just
It would be
inappropriate.
disrespectful,
I apologize.
as you should. That's okay. That's good.
Got him.
This is really tilting me.
Him actually winning?
Yeah.
It really is
Tilting
shocking.
all of us.
You're playing good, though. That's all that
It's
matters.
funny because you're the only one that's tilted because we're all fucking thrilled.
I'm not thrilled.
You're not
Because-
thrilled?
No,
that
when he has
that's how it is?
10,000, he's in way more. Now he's fucking counting his chips. He's like,
Yeah, Matt.
I'm up. You
You're not
know,
taking
this
him
is
up.
day camp for my girls.
Matt.
I'm never
I know how he thinks. Lance
Yeah,
is the same.
Yeah.
electric
Lance,
television.
Mike's on lockdown the rest of the day. Just make him one on the
I'm
floor.
never on lockdown. That's one thing about me, bro.
It's
I'm
all
never
in play,
on
Tom.
lockdown.
And Abernathy with some
It's all in play, baby.
Guys
ambitious
like us, it's never
pre-flop
lockdown,
hands
bro.
here.
It's all about having a good time.
Maybe
man.
the maybe the
Can't
glass
take
of wine
money
got
to
to
the
her.
grave, bro. As long as I'm enjoying
No, you're
myself.
on lockdown, Mike.
Kid, I've
I
never
kind of wonder if she's, I mean, she's been picking up a lot of garbage. She's not getting many hands.
No, I was like,
We've seen that.
I was
Right.
stage fright.
You know, we see the cards, obviously.
would be
And I
lockdown.
kind of wonder if she's just getting bored. Because we saw her open up with Jack 4 earlier on.
All right.
Um,
No reason look in your eyes. He's just calling the flop.
She might be getting bored, but if you are, you should take the lead in the hand, you know, so you give yourself more chance.
Well, she did it earlier on. I mean,
Right.
she tried to with the Jack Deuce, but then she called and she did Jack 4. Here she's got a flush draw, Blesnik with top 2.
Put a heart out there.
You have a straight draw too?
Heart. Please, dealer.
I had the straight draw. I flew away, Jack.
And here the money's going in. Yep.
Yeah, there's the all-in. It was a check all in, and Abernathy goes broke. She was looking for a heart, didn't get there. Blesnik felt her.
I think that's his brother. He's
Jill,
Douche.
Jill, rebite.
The Bag brothers. He's Douche's brother's stuff.
Yo, why are you taking all her money like that, bro?
Yeah, you just killed the game, Jared. What the fuck,
You
dude?
just killed
No, the
fucking.
game-
And you didn't straddle either. It's so
Sam.
disrespectful.
Sam. It's bad.
It's bad.
All right.
I
pause.
call top 2.
Sam, we're breaking in 10 minutes.
I bet you don't keep your money in a pretty little bag like that.
Oh, you mean.
We're breaking.
No, but if I was that cute, I might.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
It does go well.
They
Yo,
were
you're
breaking in
so
10 minutes.
evil, bro.
There's nothing evil about it.
I vote she stays.
If you were that cute, we'd be
I also
making
vote
out right
Natalie
now.
stays for life. So.
We'd be totally going at it.
All I know is
I mean, we're not, but I'm just saying, if you were.
No, we could see her in the booth.
Yo, I hope you're proud of yourself.
I think she is going to rebuy. But just an interesting, like I said, I mean, I've seen players do that. And I'm sure your students sometimes get into this where you just don't pick up hands for a while. And like you said earlier, live poker, sometimes you can not pick up a hand for 30 minutes and it feels like
Oh my gosh.
forever.
And it's what's worse is that feeling is exacerbated when you end up folding to 3-bets because you're in tough situations. It feels like you're getting picked on. It feels like you've just been so disciplined. And what I tell them all the time is that you have a discipline meter. In other words, if you look at your discipline level like you would a video game, your life in a video game when you're playing an action game, the more times you make disciplined decisions, the more times that meter depletes. And eventually it goes back to 0, and then that's when you snap.
How hard is it as well, and Abernathy is going to revive for 5K, how hard is it
yeah, just give me 10,000 a day.
to stay disciplined in the face of other people picking up big hands and money flying around?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really tough, and it's
You're being way too serious right now. This is allowed.
it's even tougher when you add to that losing. You've been playing a long time. It's late at night, and you're tired. I mean, those things all make it more and more difficult. So it's important to keep those things in mind and you know, have strategies to combat them.
I raised.
Main event chip leader?
Debatable.
Soon to be 7th place.
That's debatable.
Do you know if I go to
So we got a raise here from McKeon, the November 9er.
Oh my God, that's the
Gets called by a lot of players. Jack 9, 4 flop.
Like, and Hastings for player of the year.
And in fact, he's only called by 3 players. I thought he was called by 5.
Europe matters.
McKeon with the top pair,
like
queen kicker. Should get through,
One win
and it does.
I have it.
Thanks, Stack Jackin, for the compliment. Appreciate that.
Gordo's is leading, right?
My bad, Mike.
Gordo really.
Discipline meter is gold.
He liked my analogy. All right.
That's
It's true. They've done studies on that. I'm not just making it up. They've actually done studies where, like, if you, I use this a lot with people with diet and health too. Like, if you start off the day, if you'll notice your own behavior, it's so easy in the morning to be like, I'm going to go to the gym and eat healthy, and you don't feel the need to cheat on your diet necessarily when you're trying to eat healthy till like 5, 6 p.m. And that's because you've made those decisions from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. that you're going to eat healthy, and that's when it creeps in. And it's not because you have cravings; it's because you lack the discipline you need to make those sacrifices. It's the same with anything.
Well, it's funny because I folded to you. So what does that say about me?
I've been like goading her like an hour. I've been working on that until she finally said it out loud. The car thing. I was like, it's subtle, you know.
Wait, what? The car?
He's like, I look good for 75.
No, he even. I said there's no way. And he even said it.
I mean, he still colors his hair, so.
At least.
No, he knows I.
Believe it.
You didn't believe it the first 30 minutes. Like I said, it took an hour to get you to actually say something to the table about it.
I do have grandchildren.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know if he was only 50 either. I would have taken the over. All right, he's not drinking anymore. He's out. He's going into lockdown. It's over.
Hello?
All right. No more games.
Yes.
Wow, you folded 2 straddles to me. That's respectful.
There's
3 of us, right?
What's that? They were awful.
I'm aware of that.
Jack still in the lead.
That's part of having Mike.
McKeon with a gut shot. Checks through.
1,000.
Lesnick bets 1,000 into 1,200, and that should get a job done.
Good bet sizing on the turn. Should be bigger here. There's so many draws.
Dentale, by the way, by far our big winner so far.
Yeah, when you showed me your hand and I threw out the straddle chip, it's going to be
You know
hard
what I
to
love
blow.
about this kid? 2 checks, he just bets.
Where's that?
Doesn't matter what goes on, he just like checks, bets.
He also had the best hand because I
It's
saw
so
your
easy
hand
to
and I
play
saw
against.
mine.
It's so easy to play against.
He's rich.
Cry of fun. The studies about the discipline meter.
I raised without a premium holding. You're going to be beat.
To be honest, I forgot where I read about that.
Really?
How rich is the guy that's back? Was it Donald Trump?
You could probably just Google like
Best friends with-
studies on discipline, and you'll find something about it. I wish I remembered the actual source I read about it. I read a lot of things like in passing, but
You said you're ready for a nap.
if you ask me on social media, I'll try and look up where I found it and send it
4-year-old
to
men
you.
can't handle it.
Here you go. Can I smash
Yeah,
one over
don't
your
hit on
head?
the 4 p.m. nap.
Smash this
Seriously.
over your head.
It's how I get through my
Oh
life.
shit,
All right,
that was wet. I'm sorry.
I just wake up at
Naps
4
are-
p.m., so.
Like actually, like
A lot of people on Twitch are suggesting that maybe her
naps are really nice.
the fact that she plays so many more hands recently has been because of the alcohol. She had like what, 1
I
glass
know.
of wine?
I was joking with that. I think they,
Europe, they do it all the time.
She had 3/4 of a glass of wine. Now she doesn't weigh much, but still.
yeah, I don't think it's that.
50's coming out.
All right, Glancy.
McKeon straddling. Glance raises with King X.
My father taught me a long time ago, guys.
McKeon calls.
50's a big shot hand price.
Famous last
Flop comes out 10-9-3. So regardless of what Glance's other card is, he does have the best hand right now.
It's the truth, though.
He just took all humble.
Yeah, and I still did that.
She's such a good
Why did I do
person.
that?
She has good vibes. You see how nice she is towards you.
Well, McKeon's got a plan, and this is one thing I like about this guy's game. He makes some questionable, I mean, he makes some speculative calls pre, and some interesting 3-bets, but he's got a plan.
Yeah, and I think that to justify playing these hands here, you have to play them for more than just
More alcohol.
the equity that you're going to flop something. Otherwise, it's just not profitable. It looks like Glance has kings here.
That would be the guess. I mean, either kings or king 10, right?
Yeah, but I think it's kings.
After the chips are in.
Hawks,
I'm happy that you caught
Ambassador
after
Matt Glantz against Joe Luckbox.
Glance obviously has rebought. Those aren't those purple. I'm sorry, he actually doubled up earlier on with the ace queen.
That's a good card for Matt. I called it. That's a good card for Matt.
Smash that turn.
Did you?
Wow.
Should let me know now because I'm probably gonna.
Glance just, I'm sorry, Glance called with king jack, dude, and he turns the nuts.
Wow, what a legend.
2,500.
It's not fair.
Wow.
I got 5Ks here, too.
Wow, I want to be Matt Glance when I get older.
We remember the pumpkin. We played those.
Oh, here comes the acting job. Look at it.
No, they were sick.
1530. The pumpkins run play.
1530 limit?
Yeah.
McKeon continuing on with the bluff.
These are awesome. They're oversized, right? Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is that McKeon puts a ton of pressure. If Glance actually has what he's supposed to have here, which is kings,
Is this where they're supposed to?
a lot of pressure on kings.
That's true, but
Okay,
I don't think he's going to fold it. I mean, I don't think he's deep enough to fold it here. He has a little over a pot-sized bet left.
I played up in the VIP lounge last year.
I'm getting a better read on
everyone
everyone.
circulation in the casino.
Did you
So
say
when
all
I gave
in?
it to, like, we just count down
Should
the
I
max.
call for
Sorry,
rolling?
sorry.
I would call.
You would call? I can't do it, he says. He's an idiot.
You showed Mike your hand.
Yeah, all right, so I'm going to do it.
What? You're an idiot. You can't get nothing from it. You
calls,
just call,
bro. He
you
calls,
moron.
guy.
What are you, idiot? That's the worst play I've ever saw in my life.
Who's getting picked up?
So I think Glance is going to go on
We don't
the
know
turn
yet.
with two
Let's see
kings,
what's
too.
here.
So
There's like a whole conference going on back there.
How do you not just call it and bluff
Tell
his
you right
chips
now.
out?
Oh, they were asking for a chip count. We get it up there. So Dentali, who bought in for only 5K,
crushing it.
now up
It's
almost
basically the
14,000.
crew that's been filming and watching and
Abernathy
figure it out.
in for 10K. You saw she lost 5K.
You had nothing.
Our
Joe?
big loser, though, I believe.
Oh my God, he was right. I should have just.
Oh,
called.
Blesnick was our big loser, but he felted Abernathy, so he's only down about 7K
He
now.
has something. He's not folding.
That's the real, of course.
And I believe he is our big loser
By the way, I
today.
didn't look at your hand. Did I tell you that's a good card?
But we'll get
Hey
the
guys, turn off your mics and
we'll get an
leave the
updated
bottom
plus minus
page
later on.
You're right. You're right.
How big were you?
I believe the players are going on dinner break right now.
Matt, how big were you?
Either that or they're just undressing. I hope it's dinner.